grip the longsword with both hands, and deliver a ferocious downward strike. The combination of absolute gravity and the blade's sharpness finally breached the spectral owl's defenses, embedding nearly half the blade into its back. A piercing cry escaped the owl as it was mercilessly thrust toward the ocean by the immense force of nearly 2,000 tons. Chapter 285. The owl meets its demise. A bountiful night, the spectral owl now found itself in dire straits, feeling utterly wretched. Nevertheless, despite enduring such a harrowing blow, it did not succumb to despair. After all, few were aware that it could still fight even submerged in water. Injured though it was, the owl resolved to temporarily retreat from the depths, intending to return once healed and exact vengeance on the human who dared challenge it. That life was as good as forfeit. Not even Jesus could save him, mark my words. Yet, just as these thoughts crossed its mind, the spectral owl plummeted into the sea. Its once impenetrable feathers suddenly faltered, pierced by a long, sharp stinger, akin to the sting of a scorpion, inflicting excruciating pain. Another anguished cry erupted from the owl as it flapped its wings violently, managing to dislodge the stinger which had penetrated over 30 centimeters deep within its body, executing several aerial spins. However, it felt utterly drained, its body numb and lethargic, teetering on the brink of unconsciousness. Just as it was about to succumb to slumber, a wild figure descended from the sky, wielding a thick, elongated bone, and struck down upon the owl's head with tremendous force. This blow bore the weight of an assault nearly on par with an S-class terrestrial creature. The impact sent the spectral owl into a daze, its eyes rolling back, and its brain likely reduced to a pulpy mess within its grotesque skull. Sluggish and defeated, its head drooped lifelessly. It was over. Following the dolphin's attack, the fated horn dissipated into nothingness as it gracefully carried the colossal ape back to shore. Yichuan and Friday then returned, glancing at the body of the spectral owl retrieved by the dolphin, and hurriedly made their way to the bountiful fortune that awaited them. Yichuan then realized that one of Wang Yun's wings had been injured by the ghost-faced owl, and at that moment, it lay pitifully in its nest, lonely and frail. Yichuan immediately took out 100 milliliters of S-grade fresh water and gently poured it over the injured wing, followed by feeding it 200 milliliters of S-grade fresh water. Finally feeling a sense of relief. All right, this should do it. A good rest, and it will be better by tomorrow. Wang Yun called out to Yichuan, seemingly trying to comfort him. After entrusting Wang Yun to the care of Wang Kai and the others, Yichuan hurried to the corpse of the ghost-faced owl, urging Saturday, now that you've just finished playing, hurry up and pluck the feathers. Once the body stiffens, the meat will lose its flavor. Don't worry, Brother Chuan, I'll start right away and have everything ready in no time. Saturday replied confidently. Congratulations to the host for the first successful kill of an A-grade aerial creature. A lucky gift pack has been awarded. Would you like to open it? At that moment, the system's voice echoed. Yichuan promptly responded, open it. Opening successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of medium nutrient solution, a manufacturing blueprint for a 4-room 2-hall upgrade, and a manufacturing blueprint for a large cannon. Yichuan's expression changed. He hadn't expected such a generous reward from the system, although he did not receive the launch base he desired. The upgrade blueprints for the 4-room 2-hall and the large cannon were satisfactory. Currently, with the large cannon in hand, he could proceed with the upgrade to a heavy artillery piece. Yichuan quickly examined the requirements. 1 large cannon manufacturing blueprint, 1 large cannon, 2,000 metal sheets, 200 fabric pieces, and 800 stones. Upon upgrading to a heavy artillery piece, the range would extend to 2,400 meters, with immense power, an explosion radius of 100 meters, a burning range of 200 meters, equipped with a sight, capable of rotating 360 degrees, and able to continuously fire 12 shells, with potential for further upgrades. This was indeed promising. Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle. The range had increased by 800 meters, while the explosion radius had surprisingly decreased by 12 times. And a burning range had emerged, albeit limited to 200 meters. Nevertheless, the power of the heavy artillery would undoubtedly surpass that of the previous large cannon by a factor of 2. At that moment, Yichuan glanced at the 4-room 2-hall upgrade blueprint and inquired, System, what can this manufacturing blueprint upgrade the house into? The system promptly responded. The current 4-room 2-hall will be upgraded to a 400 square meter 3-story villa, featuring 8 rooms, 6 bathrooms, and 3 halls, complete with exquisite decoration. The host may choose to retain or discard existing furniture and appliances. Note, if any item is retained, the corresponding upgraded item will not be available. This was indeed a momentous occasion. Yichuan was utterly astounded. While many were still residing in stone houses, He was about to move into a villa. Although workers would be brought in once the novice area opened, the number of construction workers, apart from the combat soldiers, would depend on the size of the island. If your island spans merely 1,000 square meters, it accommodates but a solitary construction worker. For an expanse of 10,000 square meters, it allows for 10 laborers. Hence, even with the novice zone now accessible, unless you reside on a luxurious cruise ship, the prospect of erecting a villa on your island, despite ample space, remains futile in less than a few months. The system proves to be quite user-friendly, at least ensuring a modicum of comfort for its inhabitants. Yichuan promptly delved into the upgrade for a 4-bedroom, 2-living-room configuration, which necessitated 4 rooms, 2 living room upgrade schematics. 10,000 nails, 5,000 stones, 3,000 planks, 1,500 metal sheets, 1,000 plastics, and 500 glass panes. However, as the hour was already late, Yichuan resolved to postpone the manufacturing until the morrow. After indulging in a warm bath and issuing reminders to Friday and Saturday, he refrained from perusing the public chatroom messages and succumbed to slumber. System detects that you have yet to check in. Would you like to do so? At 6 o'clock in the morning, the system's voice resonated punctually. Check-in. Yichuan yawned, sitting up while drooping his eyelids. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host, you have received 1,000 evolution points and the schematic for a bomber. The system's voice continued. Goodness, what now? A bomber schematic? Yichuan smirked slightly. A launch pad or an evolution value gift pack would have sufficed. What use is a bomber? Which may well possess less power than the fiery arrows of the 3 little ones. This system is utterly nonsensical. Shaking his head slightly, Yichuan glanced once more at the public chatroom messages. I am awake, a bit dazed. I Haven T found a supply crate in 2 days. I'm at the juncture of the novice zone and the ocean world, and I've noticed more cracks in the barrier, as if it could shatter at a mere touch. I suspect the novice zone is about to open. Is that true, my friend? Such matters cannot be trifled with. Deceivers will wet their beds. Come on, who do you think you are? Why would I deceive you? Besides, that colossal octopus is lurking nearby. Today, I must sail as far away as possible to avoid being devoured when the novice zone opens. Chapter 286, Building a Villa. Encountering a Tyrannosaurus, it seems indeed as the system foretold. The novice zone is set to open tomorrow, which is quite exhilarating. After breakfast, Yichuan turned to gaze at the bungalow and proceeded with the upgrade. However, prior to this, he ensured to retain the fully automated intelligent flushing toilets and similar items he had previously acquired. This time, perhaps due to the villa upgrade, a full 10 minutes elapsed before the entire structure was completed. Moreover, a garden of over 200 square meters emerged, adorned with lush green grass and an array of unknown blossoms, presenting an extraordinarily beautiful sight. For this villa, Yichuan could only describe it with 4 words: grandeur and magnificence. Beyond its beauty, he found himself at a loss for words. The grand hall on the first floor was opulent and resplendent. Indeed, the exquisitely decorated villa is nothing short of magnificent. It is estimated that such a residence would cost no less than 10 million on Blue Star. What astonished Yichuan even more was that the 80-inch television could actually receive a signal. He promptly switched to the central television channel, where the news was being broadcasted, almost bringing him to tears with the overwhelming sense of familiarity. The first floor comprises a reception hall, dining area, and kitchen. The second and third floors each feature a living room and dining area, approximately 30 square meters each, along with 4 bedrooms. However, there are 2 restrooms on each floor, conveniently not located within the bedrooms. In any case, Yichuan could only describe this villa as perfect. While lounging on the sofa in the living room, a sudden voice from the system interrupted him. Island upgrade complete. Congratulations, host. Your island has upgraded to level 15. You have received an upgrade package. Would you like to open it? Open it, Yichuan exclaimed, his expression shifting with excitement. Opening. Congratulations, host. You have gained 2,000 growth points, 5 A-grade bananas, 9 medium nutrient solutions, and 1 portable super tablet. What on earth is a portable super tablet? Yichuan was taken aback, scratching his head as he examined the item that had appeared in his hand. Wasn't this just an electronic watch? This is a product of the evolution of the super tablet, which can be worn on the wrist and allows the user to control its various functions to achieve their objectives. The system provided a direct answer. The watch integrates with the eyes and brain, thereby optimizing the super tablet's processing capabilities. Yichuan immediately donned the watch on his wrist, and upon pressing a button, the content from the super tablet appeared before him. Notably, the dialogue function no longer required manual input. Whatever he thought would directly display in the dialogue box. This means that wherever Yichuan goes, he can carry the super tablet, now more accurately referred to as a super watch. The convenience and speed it offered left him at a loss for words. The super tablet in the bedroom had also vanished correspondingly. Wow, this is simply exhilarating. Yichuan felt an overwhelming rush of excitement, particularly because the virtual screen before him resembled the system's virtual panel, visible only to himself. This bug is too delightful. After sipping on a cup of S-grade goat milk, Yichuan stepped out of the villa. Turning around, he noticed that the small mountain had grown nearly 200 meters long overnight, and its height had increased by approximately 30 meters, now standing over 150 meters tall. The entire island was lush and green. Unlike before when stones outnumbered greenery, now, the small mountain was adorned with verdant foliage and scattered trees, transforming it into a true mountain. That's more like it. Otherwise, if an island master were to visit my island and see a large rock, I would have no answer to provide. Yichuan remarked with a smirk as he confidently strode towards the small mountain. It is uncertain whether this is a benefit bestowed by the system, but a remarkably convenient path, over a meter wide, leads up the small mountain. At the summit, heavy artillery and crossbows are meticulously arranged, spaced about 5 meters apart, ensuring that none obstructs the other. Gazing ahead, what was once a mere grove has transformed into a veritable forest, covering roughly 1/3 of the island. This woodland spans approximately 5,000 square meters, with towering trees soaring over 40 meters high, creating a verdant spectacle that is quite astonishing. Summoning the BUP's giant ape, I gestured towards the forest and remarked, "Old Boo, last time we encountered an A-grade ancient monitor lizard in the woods. What formidable creature do you think we might find this time?" The BUP's giant ape remained silent, yet its gaze upon the trees was grave, as if aware of a truly terrifying presence lurking within. After all, we were dealing with A-grade terrestrial creatures. Any further discoveries could only be A or S-grade. Given the seriousness of the BUP's giant ape, the likelihood of encountering an S-grade terrestrial creature seemed significantly higher. "Shall we venture in?" I chuckled, nudging my head towards the dense foliage. The BUP's giant ape, without further contemplation, nodded slightly, producing a massive bone as it walked alongside me into the woods. The rustling sounds echoed ominously, akin to some dreadful beast gnawing upon its prey. After traversing about 150 to 60 meters, the BUP's giant ape suddenly halted, its expression somber as it fixed its gaze in one direction. With a thunderous roar that reverberated through the air, a creature towering 12 to 13 meters appeared before us. Its forelimbs were diminutive, almost non-existent, while its powerful hind limbs bore its weight with ease. On its colossal head, 2 eyes, no larger than fists, stared coldly at us. I could not help but swallow hard, struggling to ask, "System, is my conjecture correct?" The system promptly responded, "Tyrannosaurus rex, S-grade terrestrial creature, adult peak, 12 meters tall, weighing 8 tons, bloodthirsty and brutal, with an astonishing biting force and a tail like a whip." Damn it, I was right. It truly is a Tyrannosaurus rex. I gritted my teeth. During the Cretaceous period, the Tyrannosaurus was the apex predator, an almost invincible entity on land, and to find it now residing in our forest, elevated to S-grade status, was utterly bewildering. "Old Boo, this fellow is no trifling matter," I whispered urgently. "We should attempt to confront it. If it proves too formidable, we can lure it out of the woods and utilize our firearms against it. Do not take unnecessary risks." Perhaps not fully grasping my intent, the BUP's giant ape grinned at the Tyrannosaurus rex, showing no fear. It leapt high, the bone raised menacingly, and struck down towards the dinosaur's head. With a resounding roar, the Tyrannosaurus charged directly at the BUP's giant ape. Chapter 287, A Battle Between Man and Ape Against the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In an instant, the Bu Clan giant ape let out a thunderous roar, hurling a massive bone towards the Tyrannosaurus Rex. With a resounding crash, the bone struck the Tyrannosaurus's head, yet it appeared to inflict no damage whatsoever. The Tyrannosaurus maintained its aggressive stance, and after enduring the blow, it sent the Bu Clan giant ape flying. The ape's expression shifted dramatically as it performed several somersaults mid-air before managing to land its feet on a tree, uprooting it in the process, and finally coming to a halt. Remarkable. Truly an S-class terrestrial creature. Its defense is astonishing. Yichuan couldn't help but marvel silently. After all, the full force of the Bu Clan giant ape could compress a 1-meter-thick iron slab into a gossamer-like sheet, yet it seemed to merely scratch the surface of the Tyrannosaurus. Such formidable defense is unparalleled. As the Tyrannosaurus sent the ape soaring, its gaze shifted towards Yichuan, letting out a furious roar as it charged at him. "Wonkai?" Yichuan had no intention of confronting it directly. He shouted and swiftly leaped to the side. In a whoosh, Wang Kai had already lifted Yi Chuan high into the air, while 3 feathered arrows struck the Tyrannosaurus's head, igniting into flames. However, the Tyrannosaurus violently shook its head, effortlessly dislodging the arrows and extinguishing the flames. The enhanced Sand Eagle, upon Yi Chuan's ascent, fired 7 shots at him, but predictably, it was of no consequence. The creature's defense had become the most formidable Yi Chuan had encountered since entering the ocean world. Should I attempt absolute gravity? Yi Chuan pondered quietly, prompting the Bu clan giant ape to attack the Tyrannosaurus once more. Seizing the opportunity, he descended with great force, unleashing over 2,000 tons of gravitational pressure as he gripped his long knife, delivering a powerful blow to the Tyrannosaurus's back, akin to battling a ghostly owl. Having just thrown the Bu clan giant ape away, the Tyrannosaurus heard the sound of air being sliced above. As it turned to face the source, the overwhelming force came crashing down. That indescribable gravity forced the Tyrannosaurus to the ground, causing minor fissures to form in the earth. Then, standing atop its back, Yi Chuan struck down upon its head with a fierce blow. Clang! It resonated like a knife striking stone, producing a crisp sound. And the Tyrannosaurus's head drooped downwards as Yi Chuan felt a tingling sensation in his hands. Suddenly, the Tyrannosaurus's head jerked upright, its entire body rising with it. Taken by surprise, Yi Chuan found himself flipping in midair, landing on one knee several meters away from the Tyrannosaurus, his face a mask of astonishment. His earlier full-force strike had merely grazed its skin, revealing that this creature's defense was beyond terrifying. Even the absolute gravity long knife could not inflict harm upon it. How then could one engage with such a creature? Roaring with fury, the Tyrannosaurus Rex unleashed a thunderous cry directed at Yi Chuan, as a foul wind swept past him, nearly inducing nausea. Shaking his head slightly, he murmured, "It seems the only option is to lure it into the sea." With that thought, Yi Chuan beckoned the Tyrannosaurus with a flick of his fingers and swiftly made his way towards the shoreline. The simple-minded Tyrannosaurus remained oblivious to Yi Chuan's intentions. All it desired was to crush this little being, disregarding the possibility of a trap, and pursued him relentlessly. The forest, situated near the ocean, was merely 200 meters from the beach, and within less than 10 seconds, both man and beast had arrived at the sandy shore. However, as the Tyrannosaurus stepped into the water, it suddenly halted and began to retreat slowly. It appeared to possess an innate fear of water, perhaps a shared trait among all terrestrial creatures. Just then, as the Tyrannosaurus was cautiously backing away, the Bu clan giant ape advanced with formidable strides, unleashing its full strength upon the back of the Tyrannosaurus. The force exerted was comparable to Yi Chuan's absolute gravity, and over 1,000 tons of power struck the creature unexpectedly, propelling it into the sea. Momentarily stunned, the Tyrannosaurus spun around, intent on returning to shore. Its massive feet flailed in the water, unaware that a sea turtle had unleashed its absolute impact, with the fateful horn now manifesting. The 3,000 pounds of force drove the sharp, slender horn into the rear of the Tyrannosaurus. Although the formidable defenses of the creature prevented the horn from penetrating more than 10 centimeters, it was sufficient to elicit a reaction. In agony, the Tyrannosaurus let out a roar, propelling a dolphin far into the distance. It then dashed back onto the beach, hastily retreating into the forest. "Old Bu, hurry!" Yi Chuan shouted, urging the Bu clan giant ape to act swiftly as he tossed the long knife to it. Having been struck by the dolphin, the Tyrannosaurus would only be paralyzed for 4 seconds at most. This was the prime opportunity to finish it off. Feeling slightly dazed, the Tyrannosaurus yearned to return to its lair for a restful slumber. In its stupor, it noticed the Bu clan giant ape charging towards it, abandoning the bone and wielding a large knife aimed directly at its throat. It attempted to muster the energy to confront the ape, yet the effort only deepened its drowsiness. In the next moment, the Bu clan giant ape summoned all its strength, wielding the long knife to strike at the Tyrannosaurus's throat. At last, the Tyrannosaurus lay on the ground, eyes closed in defeat. "Damn it, this creature is indeed formidable." With a grim expression, Yi Chuan gazed at the Tyrannosaurus and shook his head slightly. Fortunately, the Bu clan giant ape had delivered that crucial blow, otherwise, bang. In the next moment, the Tyrannosaurus Rex abruptly opened its eyes and lunged fiercely at the Gigantopithecus, pinning it beneath its massive bulk. With its colossal jaws, it aimed for the creature's head. The Gigantopithecus instinctively dodged to the side, yet the bite landed on its shoulder. Yi Chuan distinctly heard a cracking sound. Astonishingly, the T-Rex had severed the creature's scapula. Yi Chuan's expression shifted dramatically. He had initially believed that the previous strike had dealt a fatal blow, only to realize that the Gigantopithecus had merely succumbed to the effects of its fateful horn, thus allowing this oversight. Observing the Gigantopithecus relentlessly pummeling the T-Rex, Yichuan finally inquired, "System, where lies the weakness of the Tyrannosaurus?" Chapter 288 System, do you dare to threaten me, host? Am I foolish enough to be deterred? Yet, it seemed the system had no intention of revealing the information. Yichuan snorted coldly, "System, you must consider this carefully. If I relinquish my resistance and allow the Tyrannosaurus to end me, then regardless of your purpose for appearing, your plan shall be utterly thwarted. You threaten me?" The system seethed with anger. "Do as you wish." Yichuan plunged his sword into the ground and prepared to sit down. The T-Rex's vulnerability resided within its regressed forelimbs, where its heart was located and its defenses were weakest. After a brief silence, the system promptly provided the answer. "If you had disclosed this sooner, it would have benefited us both. At this juncture, one must exploit their advantages, no?" Yichuan declared, swiftly lifting his long blade and delivering a powerful kick to the T-Rex. Clad in battle armor, the T-Rex could only snap the Gigantopithecus' scapula but could inflict no further harm. Upon receiving Yichuan's kick, the T-Rex slowly turned, fixating on him for several tense seconds before unleashing a thunderous roar, followed by a savage charge. "System, do not deceive me," Yichuan hissed, standing his ground and charging forward. The T-Rex intended to open its jaws to bite him, but Yichuan did not flinch. He collided fiercely with the beast, gripping his long blade tightly as it aimed directly for the vulnerable region between the T-Rex's forelimbs. To Yichuan's delight, the blade easily penetrated the T-Rex's flesh. With a roar, the T-Rex, which had been on the verge of catching Yichuan in its jaws, convulsed violently before collapsing to the ground, its body trembling as it seemed to succumb to the strike on its heart, its eyes gradually dimming. Had he not known its weakness, it would have taken a considerably longer time to bring it down. Yichuan turned and sat against the T-Rex, taking a moment to recover before looking at the Gigantopithecus. "Old Boo, do not worry, your body will soon heal." He then produced 300 milliliters of S-grade fresh water, administering 200 milliliters for drinking and using the remaining 100 milliliters to clean the wounds. "We shall return. I will secure you with steel plates, and by tomorrow morning, you shall be restored." With that, he dragged the T-Rex back to their dwelling. "Saturday," Yichuan shouted loudly. "Brother Chuan, what is the matter?" Saturday rushed over, exclaiming, "Oh my, is that a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Please assist me in skinning it, and if its meat can be transformed into culinary delights, let us prepare a feast." Yichuan commanded directly. "Of course, Brother Chuan." Saturday eagerly took on the task, shouldering the responsibility. "Why have I not received any reward for my first kill of an S-class terrestrial creature?" Yichuan furrowed his brow and inquired while crafting steel plates. No response came. Yichuan began to grasp the situation. It seemed that his earlier threat to the system, demanding it disclose the Tyrannosaurus's weaknesses, had resulted in the creature not being recognized as his kill, thus nullifying any reward. As Yichuan secured the broken bones of a giant ape, he solemnly addressed the system. "Although you have aided me, assisting another ultimately serves your own interests. You cannot withhold the reward that is rightfully mine, can you? To motivate my enthusiasm, it is only fair that you grant me this reward. Wouldn't you agree? Moreover, this is essential for me to complete the hidden task. Otherwise, I might perish at the hands of an SSS-class tentacled octopus. What do you think? Congratulations, host. You have achieved your first kill of an S-class terrestrial creature. Would you like to claim your reward of a lucky gift pack?" The system finally responded. "Truly, it is the most formidable system. I am quite pleased." Yichuan chuckled and promptly declared, "Open it." Opening successful. "Congratulations, host. You have received 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of nutrient solution, 1 inner essence of an S-class marine creature, 1 experience point gift pack, 1 resource gift pack, and 2 absolute defenses." Yichuan was momentarily stunned. After waiting for several seconds without a sound, he asked in disbelief, "Is it truly so stingy as to have eliminated my miraculous pills?" Nevertheless, accepting the situation, Yichuan refrained from further complaints. Voicing discontent might risk losing these rewards altogether. At noon, Saturday prepared a stir-fried dish using the meat of a ghost-faced owl and skewered bird meat. Yichuan relished the meal, for the flesh of A-class aerial creatures is indeed delectable, particularly the stir-fried meat wrapped in pancakes. Simply divine. As dusk approached, Saturday presented Yichuan with a massive hide. "Brother Chuan, this skin was exceedingly difficult to peel. It took me quite some time to complete. Its toughness exceeds that of the last catfish hide by at least threefold." "Excellent, excellent." Yichuan beamed upon hearing this. He recalled the incident when a little dragon had provoked a phantom leopard, whose sharp claws had effortlessly shredded the summer attire crafted from catfish skin. With the S-class Tyrannosaurus hide, he surmised it would surely withstand any encounter with the phantom leopard. Without delay, Yichuan took his clothing and shorts to the tailoring machine for a one-to-one replica. Soon, a set identical to the summer outfit made from catfish skin emerged, complete with the same functions. Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle. After changing his attire, he immediately posted a message in the public chat room. I have a summer outfit crafted from A-grade oceanic creatures, specifically the skin of the catfish. It is impervious to all forms of attack, even bullets. Is anyone interested? Feel free to message me privately. Whoa, I know about catfish. But A-grade oceanic creatures are said to be impervious even to missiles. Have you truly defeated one? That seems implausible. I find it hard to believe it's a hoax. The Superflat has an automatic authentication feature. If it were counterfeit, the transaction could not proceed. Indeed, this individual must be extraordinarily formidable to have slain an A-grade oceanic creature. I bow before your prowess. This is indeed a remarkable item, but alas, I possess nothing of value to trade. In Blue Star, it would certainly cost millions. Once the message was sent, a flurry of discussions erupted among various island masters. One island master, however, directly messaged him. Friend, what do you require? I have many needs, but I must first know what you possess. Yichuan replied with a smile. Offer me something you believe is worthy of my summer outfit. How about an anesthesia needle? The other party inquired instantly. Are you serious? Do you truly believe that is sufficient? Yichuan responded, taken aback. This is no ordinary anesthesia needle. The other party then intriguingly paused. Is there a hierarchy among anesthesia needles? Yichuan asked with calm curiosity. He was aware, having previously acquired an anesthesia needle, albeit used on a mermaid. If it were merely designed for subduing mermaids, Yichuan would not be particularly interested. The other party quickly replied. This particular anesthesia needle can combat S-level creatures. Given that you can handle A-grade oceanic beings, you must comprehend the terror of such creatures. With a serious tone, he continued, there are 3 needles, each containing 50 milliliters. Even a mere 1 milliliter of this anesthetic can lethally incapacitate an elephant. Yichuan frowned slightly. He indeed needed something to counter the cunning tentacled octopus. And while confronting this SSS-level behemoth, he also aimed to sever a segment from its 12th tentacle. Yichuan pondered, the cunning tentacled octopus being an SSS-level creature. Yet one of its tentacles could rival the strength of an S-level oceanic being. If all 3 needles were injected into the 12th tentacle, might there be a chance to obtain a segment? With a plan forming, Yichuan reluctantly replied, given your earnestness, I shall part with this defensive outfit to you. With that, both swiftly listed their items and completed the transaction. Gazing at the 3 anesthesia needles, Yichuan took a deep breath and murmured, I hope you prove effective in temporarily incapacitating the cunning tentacled octopus. Subsequently, Yichuan sought out Friday and Saturday, gravely inquiring, Gentlemen, are you aware that we are about to confront an SSS-level marine creature? Indeed, we have seen it. Saturday promptly nodded, that colossal octopus. Tomorrow morning around 6. I anticipate the barrier of the novice zone will completely collapse, merging the novice zone with the ocean world, and we shall no longer be shielded. Yichuan stated solemnly. Thus, at that moment, we must be prepared to fight. Brother Chuan, we are all in this together. Excessive discussion is futile. Just tell us what we ought to do. Saturday directly asked. I merely wish to inquire if you are capable of engaging in underwater combat. Yichuan chuckled. It will undoubtedly be a fierce battle. It would be unwise for just myself, along with the sea turtle and dolphin, to face it alone. Rest assured, our bodies are not merely titanium alloy. We can withstand depths of 3,000 meters without issue. Saturday boasted confidently. We will lend you our assistance. Do not worry, Brother Chuan, since Saturday has expressed such confidence. I shall not hold back. Friday took a deep breath and stated resolutely, as long as there is life, there shall be combat, just as I expected from you. Yichuan's expression shifted as he immediately handed the tang knife to Friday. This long blade is now yours. As for Saturday, he proclaimed, I have what you need. With a swift motion, his right hand transformed into a gleaming sword over a meter in length, shimmering under the sunlight. Seemingly sharper than the tang knife crafted by Spider Step. Weren't you merely a cooking robot? Yichuan exclaimed in astonishment. Yet, during my programming, a combat code was inadvertently integrated. Saturday nodded. I can assume a combat form. Friday, you wouldn't happen to possess such capabilities as well, would you? Yichuan turned his gaze towards Friday. Friday appeared utterly bewildered. Brother Chuan, I assure you. Yichuan smirked slightly. Now understanding why Saturday had been so decisive during his previous trial with the long knife, while Friday had merely claimed to possess a basic understanding of combat. Although unsure of Saturday's true combat prowess, it was undeniable that he would be a formidable ally. At this juncture, Yichuan could only await the barrier's rupture, preparing for a confrontation with the enigmatic octopus. As night enveloped the surroundings, Yichuan felt the gentle breeze and gradually turned his gaze towards the direction of the enigmatic octopus. Tomorrow shall likely witness a fierce battle. Yichuan sat upon the stone until after 10 o'clock that night, before washing up and retiring to bed. He glanced at the messages in the public chat room. Tonight's moon appears particularly full. Could something significant be about to transpire? The cracks in the novice zone's protective barrier are multiplying. If left untouched, it shall inevitably crumble on its own, heralding the end of our peaceful days. Perhaps these days of tranquility are drawing to a close? Regardless, at least my family can come to my aid, and I shall soon possess the beloved phone I desire, alleviating my tedium. As if you were the only one with a mobile phone. Everyone seems to be boasting, and it feels like a sleepless night. However, Yichuan paid little heed to it, closing his eyes. After tossing and turning for more than an hour, he finally drifted into slumber. This seemed to be the first instance of insomnia for Yichuan since entering the oceanic world. The cunning-armed octopus had been quietly waiting outside, having already lingered for 5 days. At this moment, as dawn broke, the octopus suddenly retreated, one of its tentacles rapidly thickening and elongating, extending several hundred kilometers just like last time, before smashing down fiercely against the novice zone's barrier. A thunderous roar erupted, and the entire novice area faced yet another calamity. The barrier began to emit crackling sounds, fragments cascading from above as the structure slowly crumbled. Fortunately, Turtle Island was situated at a safe distance from the barrier. Although Yichuan felt his eardrums painfully throb from the deafening blast, Turtle Island itself suffered no significant damage, aside from a few chickens that perished from the shock. Yichuan abruptly sat up, his expression drastically changing. The moment had finally arrived. It was only 5:30. Gritting his teeth, he hadn't anticipated such a situation. Everything was too abrupt. Brother Chuan, has the cunning-armed octopus arrived? Friday approached as he exited the villa. The barrier is collapsing. It won't be long now. Yichuan's face darkened as he spoke gravely. Detected that the host has not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? The system's voice echoed half an hour later. Yichuan took a deep breath, silently praying before he replied, Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points, 1 super missile launcher, and 1 super missile launch pad. Wow, yes. Upon hearing the system's announcement, Yichuan leaped up in excitement. He hadn't expected that, at such a critical moment, both the super missile launcher and the launch pad would arrive. What a delight. Chapter 290, Missile Clash, Defeat. Without further thought, Yichuan hurried to the beach, crafting both the launch pad and the launcher, and placing the super missile upon it. To his astonishment, the super missile was tracking capable. How impressive. He quickly located the position of the cunning-armed octopus, which was currently over 800 nautical miles away, likely to arrive swiftly once the barrier was fully breached. Brother Chuan, the blue steel essence has melted. At that moment, Friday suddenly shouted in excitement. Another formidable weapon. Yichuan's expression shifted as he rushed over, observing the freshly melted blue steel essence, and promptly crafted the forbidden gun. However, he was taken aback. This forbidden gun measured an astonishing 13 meters in length, with a diameter of around 10 centimeters. While it appeared remarkably striking, its current form seemed rather unwieldy for practical use. The system seems to have made a mistake. This does not resemble the forbidden gun I desired. Yichuan remarked with a disdainful curl of his lips. Yet, the system remained silent, as if it were paralyzed with fear at the impending arrival of the cunning-handed octopus. Damn it! Yichuan cursed under his breath. After some contemplation, he hoisted the weapon onto the summit of the towering super crossbow, acknowledging its slightly excessive size, but recognizing it was the only option available at the moment. Perhaps, with the aid of the super shockwave, it could inflict significant damage upon the adversary. At 6:30, the tentacles of the cunning-handed octopus struck forcefully against the novice zone's barrier for the second time. In the instant the barrier crumbled. Even the rules of the oceanic realm could no longer hinder the octopus. With this attack, the novice zone's barrier finally vanished. The novice zone and the oceanic world merged into a singular entity. Surprisingly, some of the early rising novice island lords, while browsing through their super tablets, noticed a new world channel had appeared. Shortly thereafter, the world channel was inundated with a flurry of messages. Lu Ming, are you still alive? I'm your dad. Brother, I'm Zhang Haixia. Please reply. The family's funds and resources are ready, just waiting for your response. The world channel is finally open. I can connect with my child. I'm Chao Yin. Sun Xiaoqing, are you there? Mommy loves you. Mom. The novice island lord quickly added Chao Yin as a friend and initiated a private chat. The surviving island lords within the novice zone were fervently searching for their loved ones. However, fewer than 1/10 of the island lords remained. It was clear that the ensuing events would bring both joy and despair to many. Yi Chuan had long since targeted the cunning-handed octopus with missiles. As fragments of the barrier rained down, he decisively pressed the launch button. In an instant, a colossal super missile soared into the sky, reaching an altitude of over 100 meters before hurtling towards the cunning-handed octopus. The cunning-handed octopus did not merely rely on its tentacles to attack Yi Chuan. Rather, its entire body surged forward like a speedboat, racing towards Turtle Island at an astonishing velocity of nearly 1,000 nautical miles per hour, intent on obliterating the island into smithereens. Soon, the super missile approached the cunning-handed octopus. Although the missile was diminutive in comparison to the octopus, it still emitted a sense of danger. As the distance closed to less than a kilometer, the octopus quivered slightly, unleashing a terrifying pulse that reverberated outward, striking the super missile. Instantly, the missile lost its control and target, its electronic propulsion faltering as it began to descend toward the ocean's surface. Damn it! Yi Chuan, witnessing this spectacle from Turtle Island, slammed his fist against the launcher. However, if the super missile were to conclude its journey in such a manner, it would surely tarnish its illustrious name. Yi Chuan quickly commenced calculations. Though the cunning octopus temporarily halted its movements, wary of the super missile, the force of the buffer allowed the missile to remain approximately 700 meters from its target, with an explosion radius of 100 kilometers. Even if it did not directly strike the octopus, it would unleash a terrifyingly destructive force. Contemplating this, Yi Chuan hesitated no longer and pressed the mechanical detonation button. Fortunately, the wave of pulse energy had subsided, and the super bomb detonated instantaneously. With a thunderous roar, the terrifying shockwave radiated outward, striking the cunning octopus, which was only 700 meters from the explosion's epicenter. In less than a second, the force slammed into it. The octopus immediately closed its eyes, thickened its numerous tentacles, and braced itself against the onslaught, being propelled dozens of nautical miles away by the sheer power. Despite the ongoing ferocity of the explosion, the octopus's 12 tentacles struck the ocean simultaneously, effectively neutralizing the incoming force. Towering waves, rising over 10 meters, crashed against the shockwave, producing a deafening sound. Yet the destructive force of the super bomb dissipated thereafter. In a fit of rage, the octopus surged forth with its most terrifying speed, rapidly approaching Yi Chuan. Having employed a super locator on the octopus, Yi Chuan felt a sense of helplessness as he witnessed the colossal creature advancing swiftly. The super bomb, capable of obliterating even a super aircraft carrier, had failed to harm the octopus, truly affirming its status as an SSS-level marine being. Zhao Tiexiong, Wang Zhongyang, and others had been dispatching drones to monitor the octopus's every movement. Upon noticing its swift approach towards a specific destination, they sensed the gravity of the situation. When the drones detected a massive missile launching from deep within the novice zone, they collectively gasped in astonishment. Such a missile could likely only be equipped on super aircraft carriers that human ingenuity could currently produce. Surely, those novices could not have already constructed a super aircraft carrier. Although the pulse energy had rendered the drones inoperative, the explosion of the super missile still imparted a palpable sense of terror. The waves on the sea even caused noticeable fluctuations aboard their warships. They were now certain that a truly formidable novice island master resided in the novice zone. And the octopus's reckless assault on the novice zone's barrier was a desperate attempt to engage this island master in a life-or-death battle. What a fierce individual. Even the SSS-level cunning octopus dared not provoke. At that moment, this formidable being was keenly observing the octopus's position, preparing to unleash a super shockwave. Chapter 291, Life Endures, Battle Persists. Yi Chuan was beginning to feel somewhat overwhelmed. After all, this situation was utterly unexpected. Such a terrifying super missile had inflicted not a trace of harm upon them. Where could one even begin to reason with that? Commanding Saturday to ready the forbidden gun, Yi Chuan inhaled deeply, his face etched with determination. It was a matter of survival. Either he would perish, or he would prevail. Soon, the cunning tentacle octopus had approached within 100 kilometers of Turtle Island. However, in order to amplify the damage from the super shockwave, Yi Chuan refrained from immediate action, eager to witness firsthand whether this octopus was indeed impervious to blades and bullets. In that fleeting moment, Yi Chuan fortified Turtle Island with 3 layers of absolute defense. Though uncertain of its effectiveness, this represented the utmost potential of super defensive enhancements. It should suffice, he mused. The cunning tentacle octopus had now closed within a nautical mile, its pace finally decelerating, as it, too, wished to observe Yichuan meet his demise before its very eyes, in order to alleviate the deep-seated resentment it harbored. Gazing down upon Yichuan, who appeared as insignificant as an ant, the octopus hesitated no longer and raised one of its colossal tentacles. Saturday, Yichuan bellowed. Instantly, Saturday unleashed the forbidden gun. Yet, the weapon was so cumbersome that, despite being capable of launching from the island, hitting a target a nautical mile away was an insurmountable challenge. Just a few hundred meters after the forbidden gun was fired, the super shockwave erupted. The sheer force was at least tenfold that of the super missile, surging forward with towering waves that reached heights of over 10 meters, crashing towards the cunning tentacle octopus. Even the SSS-grade octopus felt an indescribable terror, a sensation it had never experienced since its inception. In that very instant, the forbidden gun roared forth, unleashing unprecedented power directed at the octopus. It seemed the creature recognized the forbidden gun, as shock flickered in its small eyes. Yet, despite its swiftness, it could not withstand the full force of the forbidden gun's assault. Fortunately, the octopus's reflexes remained intact, and its massive body instinctively sought refuge. Alas, its sheer size resulted in half of its form being pierced. Blue blood erupted forth, and coupled with the terrifying force of the super shockwave, the octopus was propelled away, caught in a tugging force that could tear even an S-grade marine creature to shreds in an instant. With a furious roar, the cunning tentacle octopus was rapidly thrust into the distance. Yet one tentacle swiftly expanded, thickened, and elongated, crashing down upon Turtle Island with fierce intent. Damn it! Yichuan's countenance changed dramatically. Despite having prepared meticulously, he had underestimated the creature's power. Even after enduring the dual assault of the forbidden gun and the super shockwave, it still did not relent in its malevolent strike against Turtle Island. In that fleeting moment, the sea turtle executed a levitation spell, ascending to a height of 1 meter above the surface, before unleashing a force of absolute gravity, causing it to rise once more, fiercely propelling itself towards the ocean's surface. At a height of 2 meters, the power of absolute gravity was effectively doubled, resulting in a colossal wave reaching heights of 100 meters, which surged skyward. With another application of the countercurrent technique, the force of this monstrous wave increased nearly twofold. In the next instant, over 5,000 tons of water crashed against the descending tentacle, momentarily halting its terrifying descent for just a second, before it came crashing down again. Boom, boom, boom. Heavy artillery fired relentlessly at the octopus's tentacle, flames soaring into the sky amidst a cacophony of explosions. Although the barrage inflicted some damage upon the massive appendage, it did little to impede its relentless fall. Without a moment's hesitation, the sea turtle swiftly swam to the side. Smash! The gigantic tentacle descended with immense force, shattering the 3 layers of absolute defense in an instant, and then ruthlessly pressed down towards Turtle Island. Kill! Yichuan roared, invoking absolute gravity. Soaring like an arrow into the sky, wielding a long knife as he charged towards the octopus's tentacle. Roar! The Buklan giant ape pounded its chest incessantly, seemingly asserting dominance over the octopus's tentacle before leaping into the air. The massive bone, glinting brilliantly in the sunlight, was hurled down upon the tentacle poised to crash into the forest. Bang! However, the Buklan giant ape, nearly at S-level strength, was effortlessly smashed to the ground, sinking nearly 10 meters into the earth, even colliding with the hard turtle shell beneath. Yichuan, summoning such power, managed to sever only a third of the tentacle before it retaliated, slamming him into the ground. Despair washed over Yichuan. Was this the terrifying might of an SSS-level marine creature? Despite expending all his strength, he had only inflicted minor damage upon the cunning octopus, which was hardly worth mentioning. And now, the Turtle Island he had painstakingly nurtured was on the brink of destruction. Just then, he heard a faint sound, followed by a blinding flash of white light. The tentacle, which had been poised to obliterate Turtle Island, suddenly became soft and powerless, ultimately collapsing upon nearly half of the forest. The tip of the tentacle merely grazed the fragrant grass, failing to reach the critical parts of Turtle Island. Yichuan turned sharply, only to see Saturday standing triumphantly atop the severed octopus tentacle, casually flicking the blue blood from her sword, exuding an air of elegance. Saturday, I adore you. Ha ha. In that moment, Yichuan was inexplicably moved, bursting into hearty laughter. Brother Chuan, as long as there is life, there is battle. Saturday sheathed her longsword, her expression serious. Don't ever give in to despair. Damn it, Saturday is mine. You already have 4 women. Why are you trying to steal my Elu? Friday interjected, seemingly annoyed. I can give you anything, but my beloved is off limits. Indeed, the battle is far from over. If I succumb to despair now, I would cease to be the Yichuan I know. With a hearty laugh, Yichuan rose once more, taking a generous sip from the S-grade freshwater before offering 500 milliliters to the Boo clan giant ape. Old Boo, guard the island while we charge ahead. With that, he commanded the sea turtle to advance at full speed, urging it to venture as far as possible. Yichuan and the two robots then boarded the three smaller vessels, hastening towards the treacherous tentacled octopus. The turtle island is the fruit of my labor. I cannot allow it to be destroyed so easily. The tentacled octopus seeks me. Once I depart from Turtle Island, it will be free from peril. The rest is up to us. As long as life persists, so must the fight. Chapter 292, Invincible. The terrifying SSS grade. The tentacled octopus is on the verge of exploding with rage. Even within the Forbidden Sea, it has never endured such utter humiliation. The last encounter saw its tentacle inadvertently intrude into the novice area, resulting in a portion being severed by that scoundrel. That was tolerable. However, this time, it faced this scoundrel openly, only to have its body perforated and another tentacle severed. How can it maintain its reputation among the SSS grade sea beasts after this? If it does not dismantle this scoundrel into pieces, it will not be worthy of the name tentacled octopus. At this moment, it has been blasted hundreds of nautical miles away, its body marked by numerous minute wounds from the immense tearing force of the shockwave. Nonetheless, such damage is trivial for it. It has already begun to heal slowly. To its astonishment, the tentacled octopus discovered that its prey not only did not flee, but instead came charging forward. While this saved it the trouble of pursuit, it felt more like a provocation. Its already simmering rage surged further as it charged towards Yichuan. Come on! Yichuan bellowed as the trio leapt from their vessels, colliding with the tentacled octopus. The terrifying tentacles relentlessly assaulted them, while the trio nimbly maneuvered between the appendages. However, their weapons were woefully inadequate against the tentacled octopus, inflicting only minor flesh wounds. Yichuan was astounded to realize that this creature possessed an astonishing healing ability. Any small injuries it sustained were visibly mending before his eyes. The damage they inflicted felt akin to mere tickles, utterly ineffective. Yet, at this moment, all their weapons had been expended. What means did they have left to inflict harm? System, I'm on the brink of death. Yichuan shouted, desperately seeking assistance. What weakness does this creature possess? The system remained silent, seemingly confirming Yichuan's suspicion that this creature feared SSS grade sea beasts. System, you fool. Curse you. Yichuan, in a fit of rage, uttered a curse. But he quickly regained his composure. Relying on the system was futile. Everything depended on his own capabilities. First, he resolved to sever the 12th tentacle of the elusive octopus, aiming to complete the hidden task of the system, hoping for some valuable reward, perhaps even annihilating it entirely. With this thought in mind, Yichuan summoned his three companions. Each of the three albatrosses was equipped with a tranquilizer dart, patiently waiting for the opportunity to incapacitate the enigmatic octopus. Upon hearing Yichuan's call, Wankai took the lead, soaring over the octopus's head before diving sharply, driving the tranquilizer deep into its skin. 50 milliliters of tranquilizer coursed into its body. The octopus let out a furious cry, its rage manifesting as it swung a massive tentacle toward Wankai. However, Wankai exhibited astonishing speed and agility, evading the blows with finesse, while the tentacle met with 15 of Wankai's arrows, igniting into flames. The creature hastily plunged into the sea to extinguish the fire, flinging the arrows away in the process. At that moment, the tranquilizer darts from Wang Fu and Wang Yun found their mark on the octopus's head. Thus, a total of 150 milliliters of tranquilizer, potent enough to render an S-class marine creature unconscious, was finally injected into the octopus's system. The octopus was nearly driven to madness, despite its formidable defenses. Impervious to the full-force assault of a super aircraft carrier, it had effortlessly destroyed hundreds of the strongest battleships. Yet, for such diminutive adversaries, it was not easily wounded or killed, even though they posed no threat to it. But in this world, who truly appreciates the presence of flies? Indeed, while the octopus could not be vanquished, the notion of them inflicting harm upon it was utterly preposterous. It would simply bide its time, outlasting them. 5 minutes had passed, and still, no effect was evident. Yichuan furrowed his brow. The two robots, brimming with energy, could engage for an entire day without concern, but he, despite having consumed over 100 liters of S-grade liquid, had his limits. If this high-intensity battle persisted, he feared he might collapse before he could deal with the octopus. Brother Chuan, Such a potent tranquilizer typically immobilizes an S-class creature within 3 minutes. Friday exclaimed loudly. Could it be that this one requires 9 minutes instead? Yichuan narrowed his eyes and, with agility, leapt around, eventually positioning himself atop the octopus's head with Wang-Sai's assistance. He plunged his large blade fiercely into the creature's massive head. In an instant, blue blood splattered everywhere, yet despite the blade's full penetration, it failed to reach any vital organs, merely piercing the surface. If only I possessed the true energy of those masters seen on television, wouldn't its brain be reduced to pulp by now? Yichuan remarked coldly. At that moment, one of the octopus's tentacles swung fiercely towards Yichuan, who promptly drew his sword and dodged, causing the tentacle to crash directly onto its own head. This singular strike finally allowed the tranquilizer to take effect. The octopus began to appear somewhat dazed, its small eyes drooping and seemingly on the verge of closing. 9 minutes had passed. It should be working. Friday exclaimed loudly. If it doesn't take effect, we shall ignite it. Yichuan shouted fiercely, summoning his dolphin. The dolphin, which had been lurking silently in the depths of the sea, awaited Yichuan's call. Now, with a loud shout from him, it sprang into action, charging towards the cunning tentacle octopus. As the fateful horn thrust deeply into the octopus's body, its previously sleepy eyes widened in shock, as if stung by an ant, and it shot upright with increased speed, flinging both Yichuan and Friday away. Damn it, it feels as if it has been given a stimulant. Yichuan was sent hurtling nearly 100 meters back, and fortunately, Wang Kai caught him. However, another tentacle of the octopus came crashing down. Even if it were not aimed at him, it would surely inflict severe injury. Yet, the octopus seemed to regain its vigor for barely 3 seconds before its eyelids drooped. On the verge of slumber. An opportunity. Yichuan's expression shifted. Chapter 293. The battle concludes. Mission accomplished. Saturday, sever its 12th tentacle. Yichuan shouted, directing his attention to the tentacle he had yet to utilize. Upon hearing this, Saturday immediately surged towards the 12th tentacle, striking it fiercely with the long blade just before the effects of the tranquilizer faded. The octopus let out a mournful wail, as if its vital essence had been harmed, while its 11 remaining tentacles thrashed violently against the surface of the sea, seemingly intent on annihilating everything in existence. Soon after, the octopus abandoned its vengeful thoughts of killing Yichuan and turned to flee. So close, Yichuan lamented, swiftly making his way towards the surface of the sea while piloting the rapid voyage speedboat, hurtling towards the octopus. Originally, the speedboat could reach 300 knots. But after applying weapon enhancement cards, which primarily amplified the weaponry, its speed had increased nearly by half, reaching an astonishing 450 knots, as if gliding effortlessly over the sea. You think you can escape without leaving behind that 12th tentacle? Yichuan grit his teeth and quickly closed the distance to the octopus, pulling the trigger aimed at its 12th tentacle. In an instant, the terrifying fire of the Gatling gun erupted, each bullet infused with Yichuan's boundless fury and determination to complete the hidden mission. After all, if the cunning tentacle octopus were to escape this time, the mission would truly be in vain, and the opportunity for hidden tasks would never arise again. The ferocious assault caused the octopus to writhe in pain, abruptly shifting its body, as one long tentacle lashed out once more at Yichuan. Yichuan furrowed his brow, unexpectedly realizing that after merely sprinting a few dozen nautical miles, this creature had halted its advance, seemingly intent on a mutual demise. The relentless barrage of the Gatling gun was undeniably formidable, and Yichuan's aim was remarkably precise. With each thunderous report, bullets struck the octopus's tentacles, reducing them to a sieve-like state. Yet, in the end, the tentacle came crashing down with tremendous force. In that fleeting moment, Yichuan leapt into the adjacent waters. Boom! A resounding explosion shattered the yacht into countless fragments. Fortunately, as Yichuan plunged into the sea, he swiftly swam away, evading the blast's impact. The elusive octopus, momentarily delayed, failed to notice the dolphin that had approached from below. This time, it eschewed the fated horn, channeling all its strength into a fierce collision with the 12th tentacle. The force, exceeding over 3,000 pounds, caused the tentacle to thrash violently, eliciting anguished cries from the octopus, which was now intent on annihilating the dolphin. In its excruciating agony, the creature overlooked the fact that a figure clung to one of its tentacles. It was Saturday, who spun in midair nearly 1,080 degrees before severing the tentacle just as the octopus was about to submerge. The trio of little ones, who had been watching intently, finally descended, their 6 claws firmly grasping the tentacle as they ascended rapidly into the skies. The relentless assault rendered the octopus in immense distress. particularly as its 12th tentacle was brutally wrenched away, akin to a vulnerable scale. Its entire body trembled in response. However, the creature's will to continue fighting had dissipated, and it turned to flee, even Yichuan refraining from pursuing it further. Yichuan finally exhaled a long sigh of relief. All things considered, he had exhausted every means at his disposal to drive away the most formidable foe he had encountered in his life. Having turned peril into safety, a few minutes later, the trio returned, swiftly escorting Yichuan and Saturday towards Turtle Island, having retrieved the severed tentacle. Yet, upon witnessing the devastated landscape, Yichuan felt a pang of helplessness. While Turtle Island had not been obliterated, the current state of disarray was disheartening. He wondered how long it would take for complete restoration. Would it require reaching level 16? Detected that the host has acquired the 12th tentacle of the elusive octopus within 7 days, granting a surprise gift pack. Would you like to open it? In the next moment, the system promptly inquired. This was precisely what Yichuan had been anticipating. He chuckled and promptly replied, "Open it. Surprise gift pack is opening. Congratulations, host has received Evolution Value Pack 1, Resource Pack 1, Absolute Defense 1, Island Restoration Card 1. The system's voice followed. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback. Was that it? It was worth noting that during this battle, super missiles were deployed, the yacht was wrecked, and a super shockwave was utilized. Yet, he had only received 1 Absolute Defense and 1 Island Restoration card. This felt like a significant loss. Yichuan was on the brink of despair. What in the world is this? He lamented, addressing the system with a hint of frustration. Yet, the system offered no further clarification on the matter. Shaking his head in resignation, Yichuan diverted his attention to the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus, which appeared even wider than its body and exuded a remarkable smoothness. Contrary to the octopus's inherent softness, this tentacle possessed a certain rigidity, producing a crisp sound when struck, reminiscent of jade. No matter how one looked at it, it hardly resembled an octopus's tentacle. With a growing sense of suspicion, Yichuan inquired, "System, what exactly is this 12th tentacle of the octopus?" The system promptly responded, stating it was something the multinational fleet alliance had desperately sought after. However, that was all it revealed, leaving Yichuan in a state of bewilderment. What the hell is this? He pondered, perplexed by the mention of the multinational fleet alliance. Once again, the system fell silent. Damn it, it only speaks when it's pleased and goes mute when it isn't. What a nuisance. Yichuan muttered to himself. Although he was uncertain of the tentacle's nature, its significance, as indicated by the so-called multinational alliance's interest, was undeniable. He promptly placed it into the system's inventory, planning to explore its mysteries when the opportunity arose. At that moment, Yichuan checked on his surroundings and, relieved to find no injuries among his companions, decided to utilize the Island Restoration card. Instantly, the entire Turtle Island began to tremble gently, followed by the rustling of the trees. Within mere seconds, the areas devastated by the octopus's tentacle were restored to their former glory, revealing no trace of destruction whatsoever. The Island Restoration card truly worked wonders, bringing everything back to its pristine condition. Yichuan chuckled heartily, but soon his expression turned serious. This battle had unveiled his shortcomings. Truth be told, it was perhaps the leniency of the system that had allowed him to narrowly emerge victorious. Had it not been for the super missile, the super shockwave, and the forbidden gun inflicting damage upon it, facing the octopus at its peak would have likely resulted in the obliteration of Turtle Island. Power, he realized, was what he desired most at this moment. Chapter 294. Have you gained weight in hell mode? The enigmatic octopus, though gravely injured, still managed to flee with remarkable speed. Its singular focus now was to retreat to its territory in the Forbidden Sea, to recuperate in solitude, and, once it had regrown its 12th tentacle, to return for vengeance. Any warships or vessels that obstructed its path were ruthlessly destroyed. Fortunately, Zhao Taifeng and Wang Zhongyang's fleets were positioned on either side, allowing it to slip through the gap between them and escape impending doom. An SSS-grade enigmatic octopus, gravely wounded? The vice commander, seemingly unable to comprehend the scene before him, rubbed his eyes vigorously. Good heavens, is this truly real? Zhao Tiefeng's expression darkened considerably. He would never believe it, that in the novice zone there exists something capable of injuring the elusive octopus, a being that even over 300 warships could not conquer. I wonder if that child Feiyu will be affected in the novice zone. Have we managed to contact him? Taking a deep breath, Zhao Taifeng inquired solemnly. We haven't reached him yet. Just as the officer began to respond, he glanced at the messages on his phone and immediately altered his statement. Let us go. A tremor coursed through Zhao Taifeng as he dashed back to the main battleship's super tablet. Not only had he managed to establish contact, but the video function was also activated. However, upon seeing Zhao Feiyu, Zhao Taifeng was momentarily taken aback. You've gained weight, young man. The food has been too good, causing me to put on a few pounds. Zhao Feiyu chuckled awkwardly, but I haven't really gained much, just about 5 or 6 pounds, uncle. As a soldier, one must always maintain their physique. Otherwise, it could adversely affect your combat capabilities. Zhao Taifeng was filled with excitement, yet he adopted a serious demeanor. Yes. Zhao Feiyu immediately stood at attention and saluted, then added with a smile, but rest assured, uncle. I have been treating the A-grade liquid as water and have consumed at least 20 liters of the S-grade liquid, having undergone a minor refinement process. My physical attributes have seen an inconceivable enhancement. Zhao Taifeng was astounded by this revelation. It is worth noting that even someone of his stature, a seasoned island master, had only consumed 20 liters of S-grade liquid over the years and had undergone just one refinement. This young man treats A-grade liquid like water and has consumed more S-grade liquid than I have. However, Zhao Feiyu, educated from a young age not to deceive superiors, had Zhao Taifeng entirely convinced of his words. Yet before Zhao Taifeng could inquire further, Zhao Feiyu became serious, stating gravely, Uncle, I have 3 matters to discuss. Firstly, a friend gifted me a phosphorus mine valued at over $1 trillion. However, I feel it is too precious and plan to symbolically give him 10 billion, as if to purchase the mine. Secondly, I require a fleet to rendezvous and fight alongside my friend. Thirdly, I have stirred up trouble with a pack of werewolves, and they are likely to come after me soon. I need support. What? Upon hearing this, Zhao Tiefeng's expression shifted dramatically. Although the novice zone is small and rich in resources, each asset is exceedingly rare, valued in the billions. To have a friend gift him such a treasure, what a wealthy companion. And the werewolves that he knows have already arrived, seeking my nephew. Damn it. As a soldier, Zhao Taifeng was quick to act. Within half an hour, 10 billion will be transferred to your designated account. I have brought a fleet this time, which will be at your disposal. Our objective is to scour the oceanic world for all mineral resources. You have already accomplished a significant feat by acquiring a vast phosphorus mine for a mere 10 billion. This fleet will absolutely heed your command, following only your orders. Even I lack the authority to redirect it. As for the Dracula family, although they were aware that the culprit resided within the novice zone, navigating the sea is vastly different from being submerged in it. Given your current position within a submarine, they would find it exceedingly difficult to detect you. Thus you remain temporarily safe. That is reassuring. Zhao Feiyu let out a quiet sigh of relief. I shall send you the coordinates of the phosphate mine. Have the fleet stationed there in anticipation of our construction team's arrival before seeking me out. I must now go find my friend. While it may be challenging for him to be located in the depths of the ocean, Yi Chuan, on the island, would have to confront the wrath of the werewolves alone. With the fleet occupied in safeguarding the mine, assistance could not be rendered. Thus he would have to engage alongside him in battle. The two momentarily severed their communication, and Zhao Tiefeng's expression turned grave. It is truly hard to believe that despite the deterioration of the novice zone in Jiuzhou to a hellish difficulty, he has managed to gain weight. We have been overly concerned for nothing. It is likely related to his friend, the very one he is now seeking, who provided him with the phosphate mine. Immediately investigate the identity of this friend. I wish to see his information post-haste. Understood. The aide straightened his posture and dashed off. Meanwhile, Wang Zhongyang, with a smile, embraced Wang Sanrui. You rascal, regardless of the circumstances, it is essential to stay alive. It is unfortunate that he has been severely mistreated. Not only did he lose his super tablet, but he also nearly lost his life. Wang Sanrui sighed ruefully. At that moment I vowed that unless I could utterly destroy that scoundrel, I, Wang Sanrui, would not be able to call myself a man. With Zhao Taifeng guarding the area, I cannot enter the novice zone. Thus this fleet is yours. Wang Zhongyang decisively declared. These individuals are formidable, capable of taking on 10 foes, and they are absolutely loyal to me. Seek your vengeance and bring back ample resources. Rest assured, father, having disappointed you once, I shall not let you down again. Wang Sanrui gritted his teeth. Although he was presently unaware of Yi Chuan's location, he was determined to find him eventually. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Outside, Yu Tian shook his head in regret. Alas, Zhao Taifeng has directly led the fleet into the novice zone. Our plans have been thwarted. We should return for now. The big fish murmured. The king must be exceedingly worried about you. Return home? The princess has only just ventured out, and you want her to go back without enjoying herself? Why don't you return home yourself? The gluttonous mermaid retorted sharply. The princess intends to join me in searching for my little brother and to share a drink. You glutton, aside from drinking, what else do you know? The big fish was incensed. Do you wish to spar with me, brother? The gluttonous mermaid scoffed. Are you seeking death? Enough of your bickering. Yu Tian interjected impatiently. Since we have arrived, let us accompany Yu Qi and see what unfolds. Very well, I shall lead the way. I guarantee your satisfaction. The gluttonous mermaid perked up instantly, laughing heartily as he charged ahead. Chapter 295. The blueberry jam is cast aside. From now on, all is settled at this moment. Blueberry Jam had successfully contacted the family responsible for adjudicating the wager, the Xia family. They had been attempting to reach another broadcaster for quite some time, but had been unable to make contact. In their eyes, the situation for that individual seemed dire. However, as for Blueberry Jam, who was perceived as incapable of bearing burdens or lifting anything, it was presumed that she had already met her demise in the Northwest. Yet, to everyone's astonishment, Blueberry Jam was thriving. Through the video, it was evident that not only had she gained 4 to 5 pounds, but her complexion had also improved significantly, and her demeanor exhibited a remarkable transformation. It was as though she had acquired the essence of a true goddess. Blueberry Jam, you are alive. Miss Xiao Wanqing gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief at the reality before her. Was she not merely a decorative vase, utterly devoid of talent? Miss Xiao, I appreciate your kind words. I am indeed doing well. As for the wager agreement, I must have emerged victorious, correct? Blueberry Jam inquired with a smile. Yes, indeed. You have won, Xiao Wanqing exclaimed, giving a thumbs up to Blueberry Jam. And what about the promised funding of 1 billion? Blueberry Jam continued to probe. Jam, perhaps you haven't scrutinized the contract closely. The 1 billion funding comes with conditions, Xiao Wanqing replied with a smile, adding that the prerequisite was for Blueberry Jam to locate a mineral site for them. Are you trying to deceive me? Blueberry Jam frowned. No, it is all clearly stated in the contract. Xiao Wanqing shook her head. Didn't I ask you to review the contract thoroughly? If you failed to notice the stipulations, that is not my fault, is it? Provide me with a video camera, and contact me in half an hour. Blueberry Jam's expression darkened, yet she spoke firmly. All right. Xiao Wanqing promptly handed her a camera worth over 100,000. We shall meet again in half an hour. Grumbling under her breath, Blueberry Jam swiftly piloted a submarine into the ocean depths, capturing footage of the flammable ice mineral zone below. As she ascended slowly, she uploaded the footage to her super tablet and sent it to Xiao Wanqing. Before 30 seconds had elapsed, Xiao Wanqing reached out to Blueberry Jam again. Jam, I knew you were exceptional. You've discovered such a vast flammable ice mine. I will honor the 1 billion. No, the agreement has changed. Blueberry Jam interjected immediately. Xiao Wanqing was taken aback. I demand 500 billion, along with the destruction of my contract of servitude. Blueberry Jam stated resolutely. Transfer 500 billion to my account within 2 hours, and I will disclose the coordinates of the mineral site to you. Blueberry Jam, are you negotiating terms with me? Xiao Wanqing's expression shifted dramatically. You must understand that you were the one who initially deceived me. You verbally promised 100 billion upon my victory, yet now you are reneging. Is this my fault? Blueberry Jam retorted sharply. A certain island lord once said that the value of this flammable ice mine is at least 300 billion. Xiao Wanqing's complexion paled significantly. The Blueberry Jam articulated a sentiment that indicated the other island owners were also aware of the mineral resources. If she did not make a prompt decision, she might indeed recklessly sell the mineral resources to others. While the monetary aspect was secondary, the potential of this mineral resource was immense. It could yield not only 300 billion, but even 500 billion if managed effectively. Originally, according to their family's strategy, this wager among streamers involved tens of millions of netizens, all betting on life and death, with the odds for Blueberry Jam set at 1 to 100. However, as the house, no matter how the bets were placed, it was always a guaranteed profit. Yet, should she choose to break the contract with Blueberry Jam, she would incur losses of at least 1,000 billion. After careful consideration, Xiao Wanqing said nothing and promptly retrieved a folder. After Blueberry Jam personally verified it was the original contract, she burned it right before her eyes. Subsequently, Xiao Wanqing instructed Blueberry Jam to observe as she transferred 500 billion into her account, before solemnly asking, "Is this satisfactory? I need confirmation." Afterward, Blueberry Jam contacted her most trusted second sister to retrieve a titanium alloy safe she had stored with her. Following the unlocking of the safe through fingerprint, numeric, and facial recognition, it was opened to reveal her previous phone, a super power bank, and some personal items like bank cards. After checking her account, she confirmed the details and relayed the coordinates to Xiao Wanqing. Blueberry Jam, you must think carefully. Should you provide me with false coordinates, you will face the wrath of the Xiao family. Xiao Wanqing stated emphatically. Rest assured, I am aware. You may send someone immediately, Blueberry Jam replied, severing their connection. Now, we owe each other nothing. Instantly, Blueberry Jam transferred the 500 billion, along with half of her earnings as an influencer over the years, totaling 300 million. To Yichuan, brother, I can no longer support your fleet. My family has deceived me. To reclaim the contract I signed with them, I must sell this mineral resource to them and have secured 500 billion, half of which I am sending to you. After a lengthy period of rest, Yichuan finally opened the communication panel and noticed the world channel, along with the new video chat feature. The elderly director of the orphanage called Yichuan every 5 minutes. Shortly after Yichuan logged onto the world channel, he noticed the director's persistent calls. Director, I am fine. Xiaochuan, is that really you? Exclaimed a kindly old man with graying hair, trembling with excitement as tears streamed down his face. Yichuan immediately initiated a video chat, witnessing the director's tear-streaked face, which stirred emotions within him. As an orphan, the director had once provided him with meticulous care, akin to that of a grandfather. The genuine emotion displayed now was a heartfelt outpouring of a grandfather's concern after 3 months of worry for his grandson. Director, I am perfectly well. Why are you crying? Yichuan inhaled deeply and smiled as he said, Moreover, I have successfully raised funds for our orphanage. Is it not your dream to establish orphanages throughout the entire Kyushu, ensuring that homeless children have food to eat, clothes to wear, and schools to attend? This dream is on the verge of becoming a reality, as long as you all remain safe and sound. The old director took out a handkerchief to wipe away his tears. The realization of dreams is indeed a splendid embellishment. By the way, this is the safe you entrusted to me before your departure. I have kept it close all this time, and it is now time for it to return to its rightful owner. As he spoke, the old director promptly placed the safe into the trading bar. Chapter 296, 600 billion. I'll sell it to you in a bundle. Yichuan immediately accepted the safe, opened it, and retrieved the phone inside. As soon as he powered it on, a flurry of text messages flooded in, all of which were notifications of bank account deposits. However, Yichuan had previously informed them that he would be receiving 5 billion. Yet, upon receiving 7 messages, the funds totaled at least 10 billion, with the highest amount exceeding 500 billion, transforming Yichuan into a billionaire with assets exceeding 600 billion. Nevertheless, Yichuan was not stingy and promptly stated, Director, I have transferred 500 billion to your account. This should fully support you in realizing any dream you wish. The old director responded firmly, Xiaochuan, I have calculated that establishing 1,000 orphanages throughout Kyushu would only require a little over 30 billion. Why would you give me so much money? Just give me 40 billion, and you should save the rest for yourself. Director, you also deserve to enjoy some comforts. Yichuan shook his head. Part of this money is meant for your enjoyment. You should take some time to travel. Aside from building orphanages, you surely have other personal dreams as well. If you still regard me as your director, you will only give me 40 billion. The old director, being quite stubborn, stated straightforwardly. Very well. In the end, Yichuan nodded in agreement. By the way, I may need to procure some items on land in the future. Could you help me find a contact person? Yichuan continued. I can offer him a salary of 1 million per year. Are you not returning to land? The old director inquired curiously. Not for the time being. I suddenly feel that the ocean is my true home. Yichuan replied with a smile and a shake of his head. When I do return to land, I will visit you at the earliest opportunity. All right, that child Zhang Haixia is currently assisting at the orphanage. She can help you, the old director decided promptly. If you have her contact information, I will inform her, and she will agree. Okay, Yichuan pondered for a moment. It was better to let someone he knew earn the money rather than an outsider. Besides, he and Zhang Haixia had grown up together, so she was entirely trustworthy. Yichuan, thank you for your donation. On behalf of the future children who will reside in the orphanage, I express my heartfelt gratitude. The old director took a deep breath, slowly stepping back, and bowed deeply to Yichuan. This is what I ought to do. There is no need for thanks. Yichuan, bowing to the esteemed old dean, expressed, You have often taught me to assist those in need, regardless of the circumstances. I have diligently adhered to your teachings, and shall continue to impart them to others. After a brief conversation, they concluded the video call. It was then that Yichuan noticed a message from Blueberry Jam, revealing that the over 500 billion was indeed transferred by her. As he had suspected, there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Promptly, Yichuan sent a message to Blueberry Jam. What's the matter? It appears you've been deceived. But the fact that you can reclaim the contract proves you are not foolish. From this moment on, you are a free individual. Upon receiving Yichuan's message, Blueberry Jam smiled and swiftly replied, I am already on my way to find you, and shall join you within 5 days at the latest. Hee hee. Welcome. Yichuan continued to converse with others for a while before turning his attention back to the global chat room, where he encountered a familiar ID, the old professor who had once persuaded him before entering the ocean world. Aware that the old professor had collaborations with several prominent families in Jiuzhou, he proactively reached out. "Professor, do you remember me?" Moments later, the old professor sent a video call. "My goodness, you are Yichuan. You are alive and well. What, did you think I was dead?" Yichuan smirked. No. It's just that those few students who agreed to collaborate with the major families have gone missing, and I'm afraid their prospects are grim," the old professor lamented, shaking his head. "I've heard that this novice period is akin to hell. You truly are my most outstanding student to have survived. So, have you reconsidered and agreed to collaborate with the families?" No. I am here to make you wealthy." Yichuan shook his head. "After this, you can retire." The old professor was momentarily taken aback, then smiled. "Well, I am quite intrigued, for you must know my goal is to earn 100 billion. I will send you a video, and you shall understand," Yichuan replied, sharing footage captured by a small drone while piloting a submarine underwater. The old professor's expression transformed from neutrality to astonishment, then from disbelief to overwhelming emotion, culminating in tears of joy. After a pause of 3 minutes, he inquired, "How much gold is contained within?" "Valued in trillions." Yichuan replied with a smile, "I plan to sell it through you to the family behind you, aiming for 500 billion. As for how you communicate this to the family, that is no concern of mine. Yichuan, you are not only my most exceptional student, but also the one who cares for me the most. To have a student like you is a fortune beyond measure." The old professor was instantly moved to tears, wiping his eyes as he spoke. "You are truly like a rebirth for me." Observing the ordinarily dignified old professor now weeping like a child, Yichuan couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion. Alas, he realized he was simply too soft-hearted. At present, Yichuan waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I have 2 other mineral resources here. Although they are not as valuable as this gold mine, 1,000 billion is still a modest sum. For 3 mineral resources, I can offer you a package deal of 600 billion. You may negotiate with them." The old professor trembled, immediately fumbling in his pocket for a handful of heart-saving pills, consuming several in rapid succession. "Yichuan, please do not frighten me. This is no jest. I am speaking seriously." "Take a look first," Yichuan replied, sending the videos of the other 2 mineral resources to the old professor. Fortunately, he had the foresight to record videos of those 2 locations beforehand. Otherwise, selling them as a package would have posed a significant challenge. The old professor glanced at the videos, nodding repeatedly. "Give me 1 hour. I will promptly negotiate with those families. I will ensure they enter the novice zone to prevent being usurped." Yichuan replied nonchalantly. Let us hope the old professor heard that. He then ended the video call. Yichuan returned to pour himself a cup of tea and quietly awaited the outcome. Within half an hour, the old professor reappeared on video, giving Yichuan an approving thumbs up. "How soon will the funds arrive?" Yichuan inquired, raising an eyebrow. "In about half an hour," the old professor chuckled. "Once their money is deposited into my account, I will transfer it to you after a few procedural steps." "Sounds good." Yichuan snapped his fingers in agreement. Soon, Yichuan received a notification on his phone. 600 billion was now in his possession. A subtle smile crept across his face as he shared the coordinates of the 3 mining areas with the old professor. The old professor was ecstatic. "Yichuan, I cannot thank you enough. I can finally retire. Haha. We have mutually benefited." Yichuan replied with a slight shrug and a beaming smile. Thus, the transaction was completed. Meanwhile, a warning from the dolphins caused Yichuan to furrow his brows. He promptly employed his psychic connection and was taken aback. Merfolk? A dense throng of merfolk was now merely dozens of kilometers away, led by the gluttonous merfolk and an exceptionally beautiful mermaid. Yichuan found himself puzzled. After all, the novice zone had already opened, and numerous ships and submarines were swiftly heading towards it. Their plan to abduct humans had clearly failed. What could they possibly want now? However, they seemed to harbor no ill intentions, and since the leader was the gluttonous merfolk, it was likely they had come for a visit. Yichuan decided not to dwell on it further. He promptly called Saturday to begin preparing a meal. Enlisting Friday's help to ensure that a feast for dozens could be ready by noon. Approximately half an hour later, the gluttonous merfolk, Fish Tion, and over 20 other merfolk came ashore. The gluttonous merfolk laughed heartily, exclaiming, "Brother, I have come to see you, huh? Brother, it's wonderful to see you." Yichuan responded, stepping forward to embrace the gluttonous merfolk warmly. Glancing at the woman beside him, he inquired, "Who might this enchanting lady be?" "I am Yutian, the princess of the merfolk." The gluttonous mermaid chuckled. "Now that we have arrived at the novice area, it would not be quite right to simply return. Hence, I thought it best to pay you a visit, haha." No wonder she is so beautiful. She is indeed the princess of the merfolk. Yichuan realized with a sense of enlightenment. Sir, you can actually speak our merfolk language? Tian exclaimed in surprise. It is quite a challenge for humans to learn our tongue. Just a bit. Really, Yichuan replied with a bashful smile. I picked it up somewhat haphazardly. What a curious affair. What is that delightful aroma? It is utterly enchanting. Tian remarked, scanning the surroundings. I have never encountered such a fragrant scent before. It is simply divine. Princess, this is the delicacy I mentioned to you. The gluttonous mermaid clarified. My brother here began preparing a feast for us upon our arrival. However, dear brother, our princess is particularly eager to savor the infamous monkey wine. Is it ready? Monkey wine is no more, but I have something even more exquisite, flower wine. Yichuan responded with a smile. Rest assured, it is far more fragrant than monkey wine, and there will be plenty. Splendid. The gluttonous mermaid immediately gave Yichuan a thumbs up. Princess, do exercise caution. This fellow does not seem entirely trustworthy. The nearby big but fish cautioned in a hushed tone. Humans can be exceedingly cunning. I say, my dear brother here is not deaf to your merfolk tongue. Must you babble on so? The gluttonous mermaid frowned. If you have the ability, then do refrain from indulging in the delectable food and wine later. Turning to Yichuan, she added apologetically, forgive me, brother. This fellow is simply foolish. Pay him no mind. I never claimed I wanted to eat. Big but fish scoffed, distancing himself from the group to wander about. Subsequently, the conversation resumed. The gluttonous mermaid was not only exceedingly talkative, but also seemed to harbor no secrets, divulging numerous aspects of merfolk life, which left Yichuan puzzled. You merfolk actually have two factions? Indeed. Tian nodded. This matter is rather unfortunate. Initially, the merfolk were a singular clan. Had it not been for the woman who, 3 centuries ago, forged a pact with an ultra S-class sea beast, becoming its eternal slave, our conflict would never have arisen. Warfare? Yichuan queried skeptically. My brother, you are unaware that ultra S-class sea beast craved our clan's treasured gem, the mermaid tear. However, since it is our treasure, how could we possibly relinquish it? The gluttonous mermaid promptly elucidated. Yet, as an ultra S-class sea beast, it is bound by the ocean's laws and cannot freely attack any marine life below S-class. Thus, it seduced that woman, leading to the emergence of the dark merfolk, who continually seeks to seize the mermaid tear from us. Consequently, we find ourselves contending with the dark merfolk, while simultaneously guarding against you humans encroaching upon our territory, truly caught between a rock and a hard place. At this, Tian fell silent. As the mermaid had just stated, the majority of humanity is indeed greedy. Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle awkwardly and remark, oh dear. Just then, a tremendous crash echoed through the woodland, suggesting a fierce battle was underway. Yichuan furrowed his brow, exclaiming, oh no, it seems one of your merfolk warriors has clashed with my friend. Hurry. We must prevent any harm from coming to your companion. Startled, Tian dashed towards the forest while exclaiming, only to witness a large fish tumbling out of the trees. A tragic sight indeed. The colossal gorilla, wielding a massive bone, emerged from the thicket, huffing angrily, seemingly eager to practice his skills on the unfortunate fish. Old Boo, that is my friend. It's all a misunderstanding. Yichuan quickly interjected, urging him to retreat. Little brother, you have such a formidable ally residing in the woods? The gluttonous mermaid inquired, astonished. Clad in battle armor, he is nearly an S-class being. Yichuan replied with a smile. Alas, my friend, it would be prudent for you to refrain from wandering about, lest you provoke forces beyond your reckoning and meet an untimely demise. Indeed, my dear brother is no ordinary being. Should you dare to provoke him, you will surely face dire consequences. The gluttonous mermaid asserted vehemently. Big fish, refrain from wandering aimlessly. This is, after all, someone else's territory, Tian added, her tone less than amicable. Humph. The big fish merely snorted in response, choosing silence. Meanwhile, the dolphin emitted a warning once again. Yichuan's brow furrowed further as he activated the simultaneous vision transmission, revealing 20 warships rapidly approaching, unmistakably hostile in intent. Yichuan offered an apologetic smile, saying, my dear friends, I regret to inform you that lunch may need to be postponed. Chapter 298. The merfolk value loyalty above all. What is the matter? The gluttonous mermaid inquired instantly. Is there a shortage of materials? We can catch a few whales. No, Yichuan shook his head. A fleet is swiftly approaching, and their intentions are clearly malicious. They aim to eliminate me. What? Is there anyone bold enough to strike at you? The gluttonous mermaid declared, thumping her chest with bravado. Do not concern yourself with that. You are now a friend of our princess. and she will not allow you to be bullied. Have you lost your senses? The big fish retorted angrily. They are a fleet. Indeed, 20 warships. Yichuan affirmed solemnly. While we merfolk may be classified as A-grade beings, do you truly believe that even with an army of 100,000, we could contend with such a fleet? The big fish continued to scold. The gluttonous mermaid fell silent, glancing at Yutian, who spoke gravely. We merfolk are not warmongers. We do not seek conflict. However, we are a loyal kin, and when our friends are in peril, we cannot stand idly by. Brother Yi, how long until they arrive? 200 nautical miles remain. Yet it is uncertain whether they will initiate an assault with torpedoes, missiles, or the formidable main cannons of their battleships. Yichuan spoke with a grave demeanor, asserting that this matter does not concern you. You need not intervene. As Yuqi has articulated, you are our ally. Yutian replied earnestly. We, the merfolk, have never turned a blind eye to friends in distress. Great fish, you must lead your kin to those warships at once. Should you encounter submarines or incoming missiles and torpedoes, obliterate them without hesitation. Although we cannot contend with those battleships, we still possess the strength to fight against the creatures of the sea. Very well. The great fish nodded solemnly before departing the island. Yichuan inhaled deeply, offering Yutian a brief embrace before commanding the tortoise island to set course for a specific location. After all, the gold beneath this seabed has already been sold. It cannot fall into the hands of this fleet, for that would tarnish the reputation of fair trade, jeopardizing future mineral resource sales. System. What course of action should we take against such a fleet? Yichuan inquired of the system. The system promptly responded. Face the challenge head-on and fight to the death. What? Yichuan was taken aback. Surely, the system could not be foolish. After all, they possessed 20 warships. Charging forth would be tantamount to courting death. Currently, he had only 5 instances of absolute defense remaining, sufficient to withstand their cannon fire, but not to endure beyond that. However, upon further reflection, Yichuan felt he had reached a critical juncture. The system surely could not lead him astray. After some contemplation, he commanded the tortoise to surge towards the fleet. Brother, have you lost your mind? The gluttonous mermaid gasped in astonishment. If we charge in, we are merely seeking death. No, no, no. I have suddenly grasped something profound. Yichuan chuckled. Despite the adversary possessing 20 warships, with your assistance, we can undoubtedly turn the tide in our favor. Pray, share your thoughts. Yutian inquired with keen interest. Yichuan handed each of the gluttonous mermaid and Yutian a flask of floral wine, gesturing for them to taste it before he spoke. When we are at a considerable distance from one another, we hold no advantage. However, if we draw sufficiently close, our chances of victory increase significantly. For instance, if you have 100,000 troops and the enemy possesses 20 warships, what do you think would be the odds if a single warship were to engage 5,000 merfolk against several hundred land creatures of the same rank? Although these werewolf foes may not match the combat prowess of A-ranked terrestrial beings, and might even struggle against B-ranked foes, Yichuan still categorized them as A-ranked terrestrial beings to ensure the merfolk recognized their potential threat and were not caught off guard. The odds are 100%. Yutian exclaimed, momentarily stunned, before responding. Moreover, this revelation opened a new avenue of thought. Previously, their battles had always unfolded beneath the waves, where they were undeniably formidable. Yet, against humans wielding warships, their chances were considerably diminished. However, if we were to charge directly at the enemy's warships in future battles and employ a strategy of overwhelming numbers, would that not be sufficient for victory? In that moment, Yutian's gaze towards Yichuan transformed. Could this human be a divine envoy from the merfolk sent to guide us? Without hesitation, Yutian decisively declared, Yuqi, let us descend and act according to Brother Ye's plan. All right. The gluttonous mermaid nodded repeatedly. Brother, let us first engage in battle, and once the fight concludes, we shall celebrate. No problem. Yichuan embraced the gluttonous mermaid, and together with a dozen merfolk, they returned to the sea. Without the merfolk, Yichuan believed he could handle a single warship, but facing 20 would spell utter annihilation for his forces. With the assistance of this grand army of 100,000 merfolk, perhaps, detected that the host has bravely faced a fleet battle for the first time. Commendable courage merits a special combat package reward. Would you like to activate it? Just as Yichuan prayed for this battle, the system unexpectedly chimed in. Yichuan's expression shifted, disbelief washing over him. Activate. In the next moment, he burst into joyful laughter. System, I truly adore you. Activation successful. Congratulations, host. You have received Absolute Defense 1, duration, 3 hours. Sonic Disruption Expander 3, 10 ground-to-ground missiles. 1 ground-to-ground missile launcher blueprint. one ground-to-ground missile launch base blueprint. The system's voice resonated once more. Fantastic! Yichuan exclaimed, immediately utilizing the absolute defense. Given both sides' speeds, they would soon meet in just over an hour. And even if the battle continued for another hour, the protective shield would render the enemy's artillery ineffective against him. What a relief! On the flagship, a middle-aged man with a bushy beard furrowed his brow upon hearing his subordinate's report. In the past, any vessel encountering our fleet would flee in terror. This fellow dares to charge head-on. This is quite amusing. Captain, shall we initiate an attack? The attack team promptly inquired. They have provoked us. If we do not respond, they will surely look down upon us. The bearded captain scoffed, issuing commands to launch 20 missiles at the adversary. Yes, sir. The launch team shouted in unison. Chapter 299. The captain's astonishment. Invulnerable? As the two sides closed within 100 nautical miles, 20 missiles launched from 20 warships, all aimed at Turtle Island. Meanwhile, Yichuan lounged in a beach chair, sipping tea with a smile as he watched the 20 missiles hurtling towards him, unfazed, even taking a sip of his drink. Boom. As one missile struck the shield, the ensuing explosions rocked the surroundings, sending towering waves crashing. Turtle Island stood resilient, unyielding. Even the turtles seemed to yawn in boredom, reflecting. Invincibility can be rather lonely. Undoubtedly, it is a superlative defense of timeliness, impressive indeed. Even though this wave of attacks has concluded, the shield remains strikingly pristine and indomitable, evoking a sense of melancholic heroism in Yichuan. Regrettably, it lasts only 3 hours. Had it been 3 months or even 3 years, would he not have become invincible? How exhilarating! What is happening? However, after launching 20 missiles and observing the targets still present on the radar team was left in utter disbelief. This is impossible. What? The captain's expression shifted dramatically upon hearing this. If 20 missiles could not obliterate the enemy, could it be that they were facing a super aircraft carrier clad in formidable armor? Captain, what shall we do next? The launch team inquired once more. Hold your position. I wish to ascertain the nature of our adversary. The captain replied solemnly. If it is indeed a supercarrier or a battleship of equivalent might, the enemy cannot refrain from retaliating. I must comprehend their intentions. Understood. In an instant, several departments simultaneously acquiesced to the command. Beneath the waves, 50 large submarines had detected the presence of merfolk and immediately launched torpedoes at them. Yet, these merfolk were exceedingly adept in underwater combat. Dozens of them coordinated to redirect the torpedo, turning it back to strike the submarines. This revelation caused the submariners' expressions to shift dramatically, prompting them to launch counterattacks, resulting in a chaotic underwater skirmish. Meanwhile, the captain was acutely aware of the situation unfolding beneath the sea, his countenance darkening. He could hardly fathom how the enemy possessed the ability to mobilize such a formidable merfolk contingent to battle on their behalf. It was simply unfathomable. The bombing squad was immediately ordered to dispatch 300 bombers to reduce the enemy to rubble. In the next moment, the captain issued another command. Each warship launched its 15 bombers, surging towards Turtle Island in a grand display. The trio of small aircraft that had been circling above promptly relayed this information to Yichuan, though they were unable to speak. Yichuan grasped their meaning. Fighter jets or bombers were en route. He let out a sigh and summoned the bushy giant ape, leading them up a small hill where Yichuan instructed it on how to operate heavy artillery, advising it to fire at the sky when the enemy approached. Once he ensured that the bushy giant ape comprehended his instructions, he descended, returning to his tea. Before long, the 300 bombers reached their designated position, poised to commence their bombing run when the bushy giant ape had already pulled the trigger, unleashing a barrage upon the foes with ferocious intensity. The terrifying power unleashed by the artillery at that moment sent shivers down the spines of all the bombers. The explosive force was utterly staggering. Each shell had a blast radius of 100 meters and a burning radius of 200 meters, with 12 shells fired in rapid succession. Instantly, several bombers erupted in chaos, plummeting towards the ocean's surface. Cursed fate, the aircraft is about to crash. Help, help. In an instant, numerous pilots erupted in fearful cries. What on earth is controlling the artillery? A primate. At that moment, some had already noticed the gunner and, upon realizing it was a creature of the ape kind, were struck with sheer astonishment. After all, this world is utterly insane. How could they be so ruthlessly battered by a mere ape? Bombs away, bombs away. With the commanding order from the lead bombardier, the remaining 200 bombers immediately pressed their buttons, unleashing a cascade of hundreds of bombs that plummeted toward the island. Meanwhile, Yichuan lay on a beach chair, wearing sunglasses and grinning as he observed the scene before him. The bombs detonated just 50 meters from the island. exploding like vibrant fireworks. Unfortunately, it was not nighttime. Otherwise, the spectacle would have been truly magnificent. What is happening? Why are we unable to drop bombs on the island? This defies logic. The bombardier leader, witnessing the scene, shouted in disbelief. Captain, it seems the enemy's island is enveloped in a barrier that intercepts our attacks. Much like the protective shield in the novice zone. A pilot exclaimed, explaining why the initial 20 missiles had failed to strike their target. Infuriated, the bombardier leader's face turned a shade of green. Just then, the colossal ape launched another offensive, and dozens of bombers transformed into wreckage, rapidly descending to the ocean. The enemy possesses a protective barrier. Our assaults are rendered ineffective. Nearly 100 bombers have already been shot down. Requesting return, requesting return. The bombardier leader, at his wit's end, shouted in desperation. Permission granted for return, permission granted for return. Following the command from the warship, the crew immediately altered their course, dejectedly heading back. The pilots who had landed in the sea were not destined for death. They had now transformed into werewolves, charging towards the island. However, they tragically discovered they could not breach the island's impenetrable barrier, an insurmountable obstacle for them in this lifetime. Meanwhile, the merfolk had returned in droves, witnessing the fearsome werewolves. Without offering them a moment to react, they dragged them into the depths of the sea, commencing their torment. Well done, old boo. Yichuan commended the colossal ape with a thumbs up and a cheerful smile. Identify the enemy, continue the assault. Roaring with enthusiasm, the ape pounded its chest, exhilarated by the recent one-sided attack. At this moment, both sides clashed, mere hundreds of meters apart. The captain had already issued the combat orders, and with a commanding shout, 20 warships and 100 main cannons simultaneously unleashed their fire upon Turtle Island. Chapter 300. A battle of unequal strength, with no room for doubt. Another wave? Each one smirked slightly. The bullets, resembling the scythes of death, rained down relentlessly upon the barrier, striking it with a sharp cacophony akin to a torrential downpour, reminiscent of a rousing symphony that elevated the very essence of one's spirit. It was infuriating. How could such a concentrated barrage fail to breach his shield? What on earth was this formidable defense composed of? The captain's countenance darkened as he clenched his fists, muttering to himself. With several young members of his family embarking on their first venture, he had received word of their demise and had promptly led 2 fleets to exact vengeance. He had anticipated a battle devoid of suspense, believing a few missiles would suffice to conclude the affair. Naturally, dispatching such a formidable naval presence was merely to convey a message. Anyone daring to provoke the Dracula family henceforth would face but one fate, death. Yet, astonishingly, 20 warships were rendered impotent against this modest island. If word spread, the established island lords would surely guffaw at his expense. Come, Yichuan laughed heartily, refusing to allow the behemoth to continue its assault, instead commanding the sea turtle to unleash absolute gravity. The turtle ascended 2 meters with the aid of levitation, only to plummet violently towards the ocean's surface. In an instant, terrifying waves surged towards the warships, towering at heights of 50 to 60 meters. But the sheer volume was staggering, as numerous colossal waves cascaded one after another. Is this truly a giant sea turtle? The captain finally beheld the island's true form, gasping in astonishment at the audacity of constructing a stronghold upon the back of a turtle. Yet, was it truly intent on summoning such a massive wave to capsize them? Wasn't he that wave a tad too modest? Regardless, he commanded an immediate concentration of all firepower to bombard the sea. With a slight shake of his head, he issued his 4th directive. He had just received word that thousands of merfolk lurked beneath the waves. Although the submarines were well equipped, they were overwhelmed by sheer numbers, rendering them nothing more than a collection of useless debris. Since this turtle island was temporarily impregnable, they would first annihilate the merfolk in the waters. Suddenly, a piercing cacophony shattered their eardrums, causing some to bleed, the indescribable agony akin to being stabbed by needles in the ears. What on earth had just transpired? The captain clutched his ears, overwhelmed by the shrill sounds, and shouted loudly. Just as he was about to inquire further, he witnessed merfolk surging onto the warships with the waves, each brandishing tridents and similar weapons, and upon sighting the humans, they immediately hurled their tridents. Some slower, weaker werewolves were struck down, while the more formidable among them transformed into their true forms, coldly fixing their gaze upon the merfolk. They required no orders from the captain and had already engaged in fierce combat with the enemy. Was this turtle merely orchestrating a wave to deliver the merfolk onto their warships? The captain has finally comprehended why this sea turtle has suddenly stirred such formidable waves. Yet it is too late for realization. Delightful. Witnessing this scene, Yichuan couldn't help but burst into exuberant laughter. Regrettably, there is no camera, otherwise, capturing this moment would be incredibly exhilarating. The system has completed the recording, and the host may download it at any time, the system remarked unexpectedly. To my astonishment, I believed recordings would only occur during battles with transcendent creatures, yet it has even documented the clash between werewolves and merfolk. How thrilling! Yichuan paused, feeling compelled to commend the system. Subsequently, he promptly shared the impressive scene, along with several previous segments, with Blueberry Jam and chuckled, "Old Boo. Shall we ascend and stretch our limbs?" Roar. The Boo Clan giant ape pounded its chest vigorously. At that moment, with Wang Kai carrying Yichuan, Wang Fu and Wang Yun grasped the shoulders of the Boo Clan giant ape, swiftly transporting them to the main battleship. Upon arrival, they found thousands of merfolk besieging the werewolves. Yichuan, smiling, approached the captain and greeted him. The captain, having transformed into a werewolf and having slain over 10 merfolk, glared at Yichuan with gritted teeth, exclaiming, "You are the culprit responsible for the demise of my Dracula family's novice island masters." No. It was primarily their provocation that compelled me to intervene. Yichuan quickly clarified, "But you can't dispatch 20 fleets to attack me over this matter. Do you realize how frightened I am now?" Damn you. The captain's words nearly drove him to madness. Leading thousands of merfolk to assault us, yet he dares to admonish us. What a hypocrite. Without further ado, the captain leapt high and fiercely charged at Yichuan. Yichuan refrained from retaliating, instead witnessing a colossal figure suddenly soar into the sky. A massive bone club aimed directly at the captain. One wielded a bone club, the other a spiked mace. Their collision resonated with a sound rivaling the sonic attack unleashed by dolphins using an ultrasonic expander. Subsequently, both sides unleashed their most powerful assaults. Yichuan was astonished to discover that the captain's combat prowess was remarkably formidable, nearly matching that of the Boo Clan giant ape, which approached S-rank strength. Now, Yichuan finally comprehended why the system did not classify werewolves as top-tier creatures. The classification of these werewolves is exceedingly ambiguous. The strongest are nearly S-rank, while the weakest do not even qualify as B-rank marine creatures. Brother, how do you find this battle? Is it magnificent? At this moment, the gluttonous merfolk and Yutian, along with the big fish, arrived beside Yichuan, laughing heartily. Magnificent indeed, but I fear your merfolk have incurred significant sacrifices, Yichuan remarked solemnly. Since we are friends, it is only natural for friends to assist one another. Yichuan spoke with a sense of certainty, stating that there was no need for him to feel any guilt. Although the merfolk were generally seen as adversaries by most humans, they held steadfast loyalty towards their human friends. Your words are truly touching. Yichuan couldn't help but take a deep breath and embrace Yichuan once more. It must be said that without the assistance of this group of merfolk, even with his absolute defensive capabilities and those 10 missiles, he likely would not have been able to defeat this fleet. At that moment, the system unexpectedly interjected. Quest detected. Would you like to accept? Chapter 301. Eliminate the werewolves, acquire the fleet. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback. Why was there a quest now? He hadn't even completed the previous one. Despite his confusion, he inquired, "What quest is it?" Quest. The host must slay the dark merfolk. Defeat an Ultra S-Class sea beast, and help the merfolk protect the tier of the merfolk. Upon completion, generous rewards will be granted. Will you accept? The system replied. Yichuan grimaced. It was already difficult to contend with a single tentacle of an SSS-class marine creature, and now he was expected to face an Ultra S-Class beast? Was this akin to searching for excrement in a latrine? Pondering this, Yichuan helplessly asked, "But I thought the last quest stated that I could only accept a new one after completing the previous? Since I have not finished the last quest, I cannot accept this one, right?" Principally, yes, the system promptly answered. However, the host has triggered a second quest and can only choose to accept it, otherwise, no further quests will be available in the future. Is this even possible? Yichuan's eyes nearly bulged out in disbelief. This was clearly a conundrum being thrust upon him. The power of an Ultra S-Class marine creature was likely comparable to mythical sea monsters. With this thought, Yichuan couldn't help but ask, is there a possibility to refuse and wait until the current quest concludes before selecting a new one? Apologies, the system regretfully responded. Damn it, the system is being utterly unreasonable. It clearly stated that one must complete quests sequentially, yet now it throws this impossible task at me. It seems that for a considerable time, I will be unable to accept any other quests. Yichuan was infuriated to the point of feeling faint. He had no choice but to declare, "I accept. The host has accepted the quest. Please complete it promptly." The system replied immediately. Damn it. Yichuan could only respond with a torrent of curses. It was evident that the system was deliberately complicating his situation, because he had previously scolded it. It had forced him into an impossible quest. If he couldn't complete this one, he would never be able to progress to the next. Sigh. Having a system with such a petty disposition is truly challenging. Hey, brother, what is going on with you? One moment you're elated, the next you're frowning. Have you encountered some other issue? Seeing the rich expressions on Yi Chuan's face, the gluttonous mermaid could not help but inquire. No, no, no. I was merely contemplating how I might assist you. Yi Chuan waved his hands repeatedly. As for the dark mermaids and the ultra-sophisticated marine creatures, I shall lend my aid when the opportunity arises. The large fish couldn't help but chuckle. Oh, come now. Big brother means well. You mustn't speak so thoughtlessly. Fish Tian immediately shot a warning glare at the large fish. The large fish merely pouted, falling silent. Brother, what shall we do about these fellows? The gluttonous mermaid asked with a smile, observing the werewolves under siege. Eliminate them all. Yi Chuan declared without hesitation, but exercise caution. Those with warships should be spared for the time being. After all, there are 20 warships. Acquiring them would save us nearly 2 trillion. How do we ascertain to whom the warships belong? The gluttonous mermaid was momentarily taken aback. Simply allow them to perish slowly, when I proceed to the next warship. Then strike. Yi Chuan gestured dismissively. Such a straightforward issue. The gluttonous mermaid, at a loss for words, chose not to respond further and rejoined the fray. Bang! At that moment, a dull thud echoed as the captain was struck by a club wielded by the Bu clan's giant ape, sending him flying several dozen meters toward their direction. Yi Chuan immediately unleashed absolute gravity, colliding forcefully with the captain. The combined force of the backward momentum and Yi Chuan's impact exceeded 3,000 tons. The captain let out a pained scream, blood gushing from his mouth as he slowly turned to face Yi Chuan. You scoundrel, are you resorting to trickery? All's fair in war. Yi Chuan shrugged slightly. You come in numbers to besiege me alone. Isn't that a form of deceit as well? Fuck you. Upon hearing this, the captain's desire to eliminate Yi Chuan intensified. However, after the previous blow had nearly ruptured his internal organs, he was left utterly incapable of fighting back. Yi Chuan chuckled softly, ignoring the captain, and began to make his way inside the warship in search of a tablet for transactions. Since the advent of the World Channel, distinctions between the Jiuzhou region and foreign regions had vanished. One could transact simply by locating an ID. Soon, apart from this warship, the captain's other possessions also became Yi Chuan's private property. This was undoubtedly a scenario the captain dreaded facing. Watching Yi Chuan exit the command room, his body trembled with rage. You thief! I shall have my revenge. Bang! Yet before he could reach Yi Chuan, the Bu clan's giant ape delivered a fatal blow to his head, sending him off in a rather peaceful manner. Princess, I must attend to some matters for a moment. Yi Chuan smiled at Fish Tian before swiftly charging toward the other warships, accompanied by the Bu clan's giant ape. Eliminate them all, leave not a single one behind. Fish Tian shouted in fury, commencing the slaughter of the werewolves aboard this warship. In a mere half hour, Yi Chuan successfully commandeered all 20 warships, while the slaughter by the merfolk was drawing to a close. After all, 100,000 mermaids easily dispatched a mere 1,000 werewolves. A scenario aptly described in 5 words, effortless and delightful. Princess, we are immensely grateful for your assistance. Yi Chuan proclaimed earnestly from the main warship, taking a deep breath. Without your aid, managing all these warships would have proven exceedingly challenging. Between friends, such formalities are unnecessary. Yu Tian waved dismissively. Moreover, did you not also pledge to assist us? Yi Chuan chuckled wryly. Their assistance was given voluntarily, while his own was compelled by the system. Were they truly comparable? Nevertheless, gazing upon the multitude of warships, Yi Chuan posed a serious inquiry. System, can these 20 warships fit into a single slot of the item inventory? Each inventory slot can accommodate only 1 fleet, and there are 2 fleets here, necessitating 2 slots. The system promptly responded. Please note, your slots are insufficient. Kindly make arrangements swiftly. Yi Chuan felt a slight exasperation at this. With a total of 18 slots, all filled to capacity, it seemed he had unwittingly become a minor magnate. Chapter 302, The Unparalleled Blueberry Jam. Instantly, Yi Chuan set about organizing the fleets and stored them in the system's inventory. Upon returning to Turtle Island, it was already around 2 in the afternoon. With the assistance of Friday, Saturday had prepared a feast for 50, including a lavish banquet for guests featuring over 10 exquisite dishes. Yu Tian's eyes sparkled with delight. Oh my, is this feast truly so sumptuous? I have never encountered such abundance. Do give it a taste. My chef is a national treasure, Yi Chuan replied, producing all the monkey wine from his inventory. Though there was not much left, just over 10 liters. Let's drink up. The meal was a veritable indulgence, with even the noble mermaid princess abandoning her regal demeanor as she devoured a large pork knuckle with fervor. Utian alone consumed an entire pork knuckle, 2 pounds of beef, and 3 liters of monkey wine. The prominent figures among the merfolk also feasted heartily, collectively downing nearly 20 liters of Baiwa wine. After all, these individuals had rendered each one significant assistance. Oh my, this food is absolutely delectable. It's my first time tasting such exquisite fare, Utian exclaimed, reclining in her chair and letting out a satisfied burp. How splendid human life can be. Princess, if it becomes too difficult, why not stay here? My brother is all alone. You two could enjoy life together. The gluttonous mermaid blurted out. Both Yi Chuan and Utian were momentarily taken aback by this statement. Utian shot a disapproving glance at the gluttonous mermaid. Fish Chi, refrain from speaking so freely. No one thinks you mute. Indeed, the noble mermaid princess has her own responsibilities. How could she casually remain in human territory? Although the large fish had consumed quite a bit, it cast a scornful glance at the gluttonous mermaid. If the clan leader were to discover this, do you think you would escape unscathed? Fool. The large fish regarded the serious expression of the gluttonous mermaid with disdainful amusement. Who are you calling a fool? The large fish's expression shifted. I'm calling you a fool. The gluttonous mermaid retorted immediately. You. What's the matter? Want to practice? The gluttonous mermaid brandished a trident. Enough. Utian frowned slightly. Can you two quiet down? Can't you refrain from talking while enjoying such delectable food? I'll let you off this time, but dare to continue your prattling, and I shall make you regret it. Pointing menacingly at the large fish, the gluttonous mermaid finally calmed down and then chuckled, saying, Princess, shall we depart tomorrow? We could enjoy 3 more meals tonight, tomorrow morning and tomorrow noon. Very well. Utian readily agreed. Yet, Yechuan felt somewhat exasperated. At this rate, wouldn't he end up impoverished from all the feasting? Thankfully, it was only a dozen of them eating. If all the merfolk partook, they would likely consume everything. Even the sea turtles. At that moment, Blueberry Jam received several videos sent by Yechuan, and her expression shifted. This was something her brother had promised her long ago, providing her with battle footage to upload to her account as a promotional gimmick for her return. To her delight, she discovered that these videos required no further editing. They could be uploaded directly. However, due to the termination of her contract with the Xiao family, she could no longer access her previous account and had to create a new one named Blueberry Jam Ox. Initially, she posted a video explaining her situation and soliciting followers, subsequently uploading one of the battle videos. Those who had been diligently following Blueberry Jam's account soon discovered this new account and learned the backstory. After following it, they clicked on the battle video, which featured Yechuan's fight with a D-class marine creature. Despite this, it attracted a massive audience. Within half an hour, over 1 million people had followed the account, leaving comments such as, Goddess, is that really you? I thought you had perished in the ocean world. My goddess, even ferocious beasts must pity you. How could you think the goddess was in peril? You really deserve a beating. Goddess, how have you spent the last 3 months? Were you in a submarine? I have been so worried about you. That shark was incredibly fierce. Fortunately, the goddess was quite lucky and managed to turn the tide. Goddess, when will you stream? I want to shower you with 100 rockets. Additionally, many prominent internet personalities privately messaged Blueberry Jam inquiring about her current circumstances. Among those with whom she had a good rapport, she directly added them as friends and responded. Everything was progressing in a favorable direction. At this moment, Xiao Wanqing had also noticed the small account and was astonished to discover that the fan count of the Blueberry Jam's main account was plummeting at an alarming rate. Originally boasting 30 million followers, it had now dwindled to just over 10 million and continued to decline. Blueberry Jam. This revelation filled Xiao Wanqing with both surprise and fury. Bang! Suddenly, the door was kicked open, and a middle-aged man stormed in, his face dark with anger. Xiao Wanqing, I entrusted you with the operation of this betting agreement. We could have profited immensely, yet what have you done? Dad, you can't blame me for this. Xiao Wanqing exclaimed, raising her hands in exasperation. I have always adhered to your teachings, valuing profit above all else. But to fulfill the betting agreement and then expect to take 100 billion from us? How could I possibly acquiesce to that? Now that you've seen Blueberry Jam's small account and that video, and you know her followers skyrocketed from 0 to 10 million in less than 3 hours, what do you think this new account is worth? The middle-aged man questioned, his expression darkening further. Currently, it's just 2 videos. It doesn't prove anything, Xiao Wanqing replied calmly. However, before she could finish, the man checked his phone again and scoffed. Just moments ago, she was battling a shark. Now it's a killer whale, and then a hammerhead shark. She's progressed from D-level marine creatures to B-level. Do you think this clarifies the situation? Xiao Wanqing's face turned ashen, and she fell silent. Regardless of the circumstances, Blueberry Jam's new account could easily net millions daily from live streams on an island, translating to 3 billion a month and 40 billion a year. And that was merely from tips. One must understand that once an account is established, there are myriad monetization methods available. Indeed, this was a significant miscalculation on her part. But who could have anticipated Blueberry Jam possessed such prowess? No matter the cost, we must swiftly reclaim Blueberry Jam, or I shall make you regret it, the middle-aged man declared before turning to leave. Damn it! Xiao Wanqing gritted her teeth, her once charming visage now transformed into that of a wronged woman. Chapter 303. Even the system could no longer bear witness. Brother, have you seen my account on the platform? I've posted the video of your battle, and my followers have surged to over 10 million in just 3 hours. That evening, after enjoying dinner with friends, Yichuan was about to take a break when a message from Blueberry Jam popped up. Upon checking, it was from her small account, which was still receiving a flurry of comments. Each video had garnered over 10 million likes, truly astonishing Yichuan. In the past, he had uploaded several short videos, resulting in a mere dozen followers and fewer than 50 likes per video. The disparity was infuriating. Before he could respond, Blueberry Jam sent a video request. As he opened it, she excitedly performed a lively dance for him, exclaiming, "Brother, this is a dance I just choreographed. If I perform it during the live stream, will it captivate the audience?" "Certainly. After all, you are the most exceptional among online celebrities," Yichuan encouraged. "I have a strong intuition that this time my followers will exceed 50 million. Blueberry Jam said with a grin. "In the past, I followed a cute, sweet, and playful style, but this time, not only will I be adorable and charming, but I will also incorporate thrilling scenes of battle at sea. This will undoubtedly attract a large number of devoted fans." "Absolutely," Yichuan affirmed. "There aren't many people on the island right now, right? How about I perform a dance for you without any clothes?" Blueberry Jam winked at Yichuan. "I will only perform for you. Others will only see my cute and sweet side, while you will witness my sexy and fiery side." "Who is this? She looks stunning." At that moment, the well-fed Yutian approached, looking puzzled. "Who is she? Oh my, how come there are other women on your island?" Blueberry Jam immediately became agitated. "This is the princess of the merfolk, Yutian," Yichuan quickly introduced. Yutian promptly took a few steps back and waved at Blueberry Jam, saying, "Hello, little beauty. I am Yutian. Without legs, does that mean?" Blueberry Jam paused for a moment, then relaxed. "That's fine, hee. Brother, I will be with you soon. And I want to take a photo with Sister Yutian." "Of course, if she hasn't left by then," Yichuan replied joyfully before ending the video call. "Brother, does she like you?" "Look, she's getting jealous," Yutian asked playfully. "Are you kidding? How could she like me?" "That's your misconception," Yichuan replied, rolling his eyes. "A woman's behavior never lies," Yutian said, covering her mouth with a smile. "I didn't expect you to have such a beautiful confidant. It's quite surprising. My younger brother is indeed a dragon among men, extraordinarily impressive." The foodie mermaid chimed in with a hearty laugh. "Please don't make jokes about my younger brother. It's getting late. We should rest early," Yichuan said, feeling a bit exasperated. He said nothing further and directly went to wash up in the villa, eliciting laughter from everyone. Lying in bed, Yichuan opened the panel and looked at the original public chat room. This was still the public chat room for the Jojo region. Despite the World Channel being abuzz with conversation, this place was still lively. "Oh my. I just realized that among the 15 million people in our Jojo region, only a few 100,000 remain. Isn't that a bit excessive? Hey, we're not even close to the entire ocean world. Do the veteran island owners even number 1,000,000? It has taken decades to accumulate this little. Yes, our numbers will surely continue to decline. I just wonder to what extent. Perhaps in the end, only a few thousand will remain, regardless of others. As long as I can survive, it's enough for me. My family has already sent a fleet to pick me up." Was it almost a brush with death in the novice zone? It seems there was little to show for it. One might say you've squandered your potential, leading you to toil for the family's island master. What a revelation indeed. With little else to discuss, Yichuan chose to remain silent and succumbed to slumber. The following day arrived swiftly, accompanied by the system's voice. "System has detected that the sign-in has not yet occurred. Would you like to sign in?" "Sign in." Yichuan stretched lazily and responded with a cheerful tone. "Sign-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points and 2 meal packages." The system's voice echoed in his ears. Goodness. Yichuan was instantly awakened, moved to the brink of tears. The evolution points had doubled from a mere 1,000 to 2,000, and he had been granted 2 meal packages? Surely. The system recognized that this group of merfolk had hearty appetites. thus providing him with 2 meal packages to adequately cater to their needs for both breakfast and lunch before sending them on their way. With a smile, Yichuan promptly exited his room. Observing the Saturday preparations, he immediately halted them. After all, he had meal packages in hand. Why bother cooking? Moreover, the subordinate island masters had already reunited with the family members, negating the need for his assistance. He called out to everyone, "It's time to eat." A flurry of sounds ensued as dozens of merfolk rushed towards him, startling Yichuan. He had never imagined that one day he would feed such a multitude of A-grade beings. With a grand gesture, Yichuan summoned forth an array of dishes, filling the courtyard with an abundance of food, hundreds of bowls, in fact. The sight left everyone astonished. "My goodness, brother, how did you manage to prepare so much food? Even if we summoned twice as many companions, it would suffice. Seeing as you all were about to leave after lunch, I thought it only fitting to treat you to 2 proper meals, which is why I arranged for the delivery from Blue Star last night. It arrived this morning." Yichuan explained with a smile. After all, as friends, spending a little money is no burden at all. "Brother," that simple statement moved Tian deeply. Without further ado, he declared, "Let us just eat, shall we? Can we truly eat you into poverty?" "Brother, no need for further words." The gluttonous merfolk inhaled deeply and enveloped Yichuan in a hearty embrace. Previously, aside from the princess, we refrained from indulging too much, fearing we might overwhelm you. But now that you've said so, we shan't hold back any longer. Indulge away. Yichuan's lips twitched. What more could he say? Fortunately, the meal package contained 50 liters of Mao Dai, and after serving them 30 liters, he reserved the remaining 20 liters for himself. Chapter 304. Is a person more important? Or is wine? A meal was enjoyed to its fullest. Yichuan truly witnessed the astonishing appetite of the gluttonous mermaid and the formidable fish. Consuming a staggering 1/3 more than the previous day, the sheer quantity they devoured, including 2 whole pork knuckles, was utterly astonishing. Fortunately, they departed after lunch. Otherwise, Yichuan would have faced considerable distress that evening. Since he had already completed all tasks in the novice area, he had no other obligations. Thus, he instructed the sea turtle to navigate towards the vast expanse of the ocean, striving to enhance his combat prowess swiftly to complete these 2 quest objectives. Lu Shuai, on the other hand, had successfully rendezvoused with his family's fleet. The family was quite pleased with Lu Shuai's acquisition of such a substantial mineral resource for a mere 15 billion. However, they were adamantly opposed to his status as a subordinate island master to another and his need for a fleet to accompany his independent island master in exploring the world. They intended to have him quickly bind several island masters to liberate himself from the constraints of being an independent island master. This situation infuriated Lu Shuai. After all, even in a joint expedition, discovering minerals would grant him a share in numerous benefits, far better than embarking on his own. After much contemplation, Lu Shuai sought out his grandfather. As the elder patriarch of the Lu family, Lu Guanzhong had retreated into the background over the years, with his greatest passion being the collection of fine wines. Showing little interest in other matters, Lu Shuai was merely one of his many grandsons. Despite having 5 grandsons venture into the ocean world, only he had survived. Though this was of little consequence to Lu Guanzhong. Observing his grandson, Lu Guanzhong inquired without much expression, "I hear you have become a subordinate island master to another?" "Indeed." Lu Shuai replied gravely. "This time, I wish to ask you to speak to the family on my behalf, allowing me to lead a fleet alongside my elder brother in exploring the ocean world. It is folly to relinquish our Lu family's assets to others, is it not?" With a dismissive sneer, Lu Guanzhong remarked, "Lu Shuai, among the younger generation of our Lu family, you are undoubtedly outstanding. Yet how could you fail to grasp such a simple truth? He saved my life and selflessly bestowed upon us this immense mineral resource for merely 15 billion. Taking a deep breath, Lu Shuai resolutely responded, "Let us consider this. You know I have always had a keen interest in wine." After a moment's thought, Lu Guanzhong continued, "I lack a bottle of Qilin Matai in my collection. Procure one for me. Why not let me obtain Han Emperor Matai instead?" Lu Shuai interjected. At this, Lu Guanzhong's expression darkened, and he retorted coldly, "Are you unaware that this is my lifelong regret?" No sooner had he spoken than Lu Shuai produced a bottle of Han Emperor Matai, causing Lu Guanzhong to tremble with disbelief. He rubbed his eyes vigorously, exclaiming in astonishment, "This is Han Emperor Matai. My elder brother possesses only 2 bottles, which he once brought forth for us to enjoy." Lu Shuai spoke languidly. "I have shared your remarkable deeds with him," and he immediately presented a bottle, claiming it as a gift for you. Lu Guanzhong's body trembled in disbelief. He could hardly fathom that the pinnacle of his lifelong pursuit, the Han Emperor's Matai, had been consumed by another, who, without a second thought, wished to bestow a bottle upon him. This wine was akin to his very essence. Before Lu Guanzhong could utter another word, Lu Shuai had already completed the transaction. Lu Guanzhong promptly opted to accept the exchange. Gazing at the bottle of Han Emperor's Matai as if it were a cherished beloved, his excitement manifesting in involuntary shivers. It is indeed the genuine article, my heavens. 5 minutes elapsed before Lu Guanzhong's exhilaration gradually subsided. He inhaled deeply and exclaimed with continued fervor, Lu Shuai, it's merely a fleet. You can take it with you directly. Moreover, you have already discovered a mine and fulfilled your mission, so feel free to venture forth with this fleet. The family will not question your endeavors. Really? Lu Shuai felt a stirring within. Though elated, a tinge of sorrow lingered in his heart. After such prolonged supplication, he found himself worth less than a bottle of Han Emperor's Matai, a disheartening realization. However, the personnel situation was quite tense. Each warship could only accommodate 3 pilots. Lu Guanzhong smiled knowingly. Additionally, when it comes to ammunition, you will need to devise a solution yourself. Our family lacks nothing, but is currently low on ammunition. That is not a concern. I will manage it myself. Lu Shuai responded nonchalantly. Is it feasible for me to take the fleet today? Even if you were to take the fleet right now, it would not be an issue. Lu Guanzhong laughed heartily. Your friend is quite commendable. Do extend my regards to him. Furthermore, should you come across any exceptional Fengju in the future, do remember to set some aside for me, regardless of the price. Certainly. Thank you, esteemed elder. Lu Shuai exhaled a sigh of relief and bowed deeply to Lu Guanzhong. Lu Guanzhong, choosing to ignore Lu Shuai henceforth, turned his attention back to savoring the exquisite wine. Lu Shuai, too, fell silent, promptly issuing orders to his family, awaiting the fleet's acquisition, with plans to depart that very night. Meanwhile, Lu Yue sent a message to Yi Chuan. Elder brother, quickly prepare a cup of spring water. I wish for our family to sample it. Fortunately, Yi Chuan carried a super tablet, allowing him to access the panel S messages simply by controlling his watch. He swiftly procured a wooden barrel, filling it halfway with water, adding a few drops of S-grade fresh water, and initiated the trade with Lu Yue. The family had also deliberated carefully over Lu Yue's proposal, considering the reliability of the individual who had directly gifted her a mine. At that moment, Lu Yue traded an entire barrel of water into the family meeting, prompting everyone to partake in tasting it. In an instant, expressions across the room transformed dramatically. An elder solemnly remarked, this mountain spring water is akin to the most rudimentary grade C water source. If consumed over an extended period, it will undoubtedly dispel ailments, avert disasters, and prolong life. Indeed, at this moment, Lu Yue's father, visibly excited, nodded fervently and inquired, Wei, how much of this water can your friend provide on a daily basis? This is spring water flowing down from the mountains, conditions permitting. Several tons a day would be feasible, Lu Yue pondered before responding. If you agree, once I reunite with him, we shall promptly commence production. This is no issue. Our focus is on ecology. The clan leader chuckled. As long as he is agreeable, we shall have no problems, and we can surely amass a fortune each year. Lu Yue nodded repeatedly, then asked, what about the fleet? Chapter 305, Childhood Sweethearts, Zhang Haixia. Upon hearing this, silence enveloped the gathering. Lu Yue's expression soured slightly as she queried, Father, you wouldn't possibly object, would you? We had agreed that upon my discovery of mineral resources, a fleet would be granted to me. The clan leader pressed his lips together. Clan leader, I believe the fleet should indeed be bestowed upon Wei. An elderly woman with graying hair smiled warmly. After all, we previously promised her a fleet upon her finding a mineral resource. We must not go back on our word. Furthermore, the friend she intends to follow holds great potential. It will certainly be easier for Wei to pursue mineral resources with him than on her own. I concur with Aunt Lu, a middle-aged man chimed in, nodding in agreement. Even if only considering the ecological water and this mineral resource, granting that individual a fleet would not be excessive. Moreover, it is Wei who is leading the fleet alongside him, rather than gifting it to him. What is there to lose? In a moment, the assembly echoed their agreement. The clan leader then nodded, very well, since all are in accord. The fleet comprising 9 warships shall be yours. However, they are currently stationed offshore, and it will require some time to rendezvous with you, approximately half a month. Thank you, Father. Lu Yue's expression brightened. I shall take my leave when my uncle arrives tomorrow. Take care. The clan leader remarked before abruptly ending the video call. Liang Hongying and Xiao Feilong had completed their handover and were now en route to Yechuan, while the fleet slowly approached them, expected to converge at Turtle Island in half a month's time. After a hearty midday meal, the merfolk prepared to depart. Before leaving Yechuan, embodying the hospitality of a good host, gifted Yutian several pieces of honeycomb, wrapped in parchment to keep them dry. In turn, Yutian presented Yechuan with a small conch shell, reluctantly saying, "Big brother, when you wish to find us in the future, simply blow this conch, and merfolk will appear by your side to guide you to me." "Not a problem." Yechuan nodded. "Take care, sister. Take care." A group of mermaids clasped their fists and leaped into the sea, gradually disappearing from view. What once was a lively scene now felt eerily quiet with their abrupt departure. In an instant, only Yichuan remained on Turtle Island, feeling a tinge of melancholy as he reflected on his solitude. Indeed, being alone carried a certain sense of loneliness. As evening approached, a notification chimed on his watch, indicating a friend request. Upon opening it, he discovered it was from Zhang Haixia, who immediately sent a video request after Yichuan accepted her invitation. This girl possessed fair skin and delicate features, her short black hair lending her a clean and crisp appearance. Her vibrant spirit radiated a charming, neighborly girl vibe. "Yichuan, it's been a while," she greeted with a smile, revealing two deep dimples and playful little canines. "It's been a long time." Yichuan chuckled in response. "The director has already informed me. I don't have much on my plate right now, so assisting you is certainly no trouble. However, let us skip the payment." Zhang Haixia stated candidly. "Whatever you need, just let me know and I'll take care of it." "That's simply one do." Yichuan quickly interjected. "Xiaxia, let us keep things separate. Our friendship is one thing, but remuneration is another. We can't mix the two. Your donation of 40 billion to the director to help fulfill his dreams is already a substantial contribution on my behalf." Zhang Haixia replied earnestly. "How about this?" Yichuan pondered for a moment before speaking plainly. "It won't be less than 1 million a year. I'll pay you 50,000 each month, totaling 600,000 annually. You know I'm not short on money, but I also recognize that you have your own dreams to pursue, and those dreams require financial support. Don't accuse me of being a fool or anything. My current pursuit is strength, and I don't place much value on money." "All right then, since you've put it that way," Zhang Haixia conceded with a nod, "let us go with that. For the first task, I need you to procure some mixed explosives, such as TNT or aluminum-based explosives." Yichuan's demeanor turned serious. "I'll give you 100 billion. Buy as much as you can." "No problem." Zhang Haixia immediately agreed. Currently, with 20 warships at hand and more expected to arrive with Zhao Feiyu and his crew, there were two critical areas that required attention: the munitions and the personnel. Regarding the personnel, recruitment could wait until necessary, but the ammunition needed to be prepared as swiftly as possible. If he were to purchase munitions directly, the various weapon models would be quite overwhelming. It would be far more efficient to delegate this task to the system. Once the explosives were delivered, he could manufacture the ammunition for all the weaponry on the warships, significantly simplifying the process. After dinner, while Yichuan was watching television, he suddenly heard the alert from the dolphins. Instantly, he utilized his shared vision to investigate, furrowing his brow as he noticed an aircraft carrier swiftly approaching from 100 kilometers away, accompanied by several reconnaissance planes that were already soaring into the sky, heading directly for Turtle Island. In the vast expanse of the ocean world, it seems improbable to encounter an island master directly, yet here I am, confronted by an aircraft carrier. Was it drawn to me intentionally, or was it merely a chance encounter? Yichuan murmured in disbelief, promptly commanding the three small creatures to ascend rapidly into the sky, heading towards the trio of reconnaissance aircraft. Given that the adversary had dispatched reconnaissance planes, their intentions were undoubtedly hostile. There was no time for hesitation. Action was imperative. The three reconnaissance aircraft, swift as lightning, traversed half the distance in a mere 10 minutes, while the three small creatures propelled themselves with remarkable speed, soon converging in the skies. However, the small creatures soared several dozen meters higher than the reconnaissance planes. As the aircraft approached, fiery feathered arrows erupted from the small creatures, piercing through the fuselage, even shattering the glass, igniting a slow but steady blaze. In the midst of this tempestuous wind, the flames escalated rapidly, causing the glass of the reconnaissance planes to shatter. The occupants were immediately assailed by the gale, rendering the aircraft uncontrollable, under attack by unidentified creatures. "We are going down," a reconnaissance officer bellowed, as an explosion erupted from the engine compartment, sending the aircraft into a steep descent toward the ocean. The other two planes could not escape the grim fate of crashing as well. Chapter 306. I demand to know who sank me on board the aircraft carrier. The voice of the reconnaissance officer sent a pall over the command room. They had long been aware of this mobile island and had dispatched reconnaissance aircraft to investigate, yet before any findings could be made, they were already downed, and by an unknown entity at that. "What do you think is happening?" the captain inquired, After a moment of silence, "I believe that island is up to something," a technician asserted gravely. "We have already surveyed the local fauna and found no unknown creatures. Thus, there remains but one possibility. The island is engaged in covert operations. It appears the situation surrounding this island is exceedingly complex." Upon hearing this, the captain chuckled, "Then let us strike decisively. Launch 20 surface-to-surface missiles to obliterate that island." "Understood." The launch crew responded promptly, initiating emergency preparations. Meanwhile, Yichuan, wary of any potential threats, had already activated an absolute defense and constructed a missile launch pad and launcher. Loading all 10 missiles, should the adversary make any move, he would not hesitate to retaliate. Yet Yichuan found himself at a loss for words when, almost as soon as this thought crossed his mind, the warning from the 3 small creatures arrived, indicating without a doubt that the enemy had launched missiles. Without further hesitation, Yichuan unleashed all 10 missiles, targeting the core of the aircraft carrier. "Captain, the enemy has also initiated an attack," the radar team member shouted moments later. "On a diminutive island, likely smaller than our aircraft carrier, how dare they initiate an assault against us?" The captain chuckled coldly and immediately ordered an aerial interception. "We must demonstrate our might." Indeed, the launch team promptly commenced their operations. As 20 missiles approached the island of Turtle, the turtle ascended gradually into the sky. Upon reaching a height of 2 meters, it suddenly plummeted toward the sea, unleashing a cataclysmic force of gravity that propelled towering waves over 100 meters high into the air, surging upward at a steep 60-degree angle. In an instant, a series of explosions erupted, illuminating the night like a stunning display of fireworks. This was soon followed by a chain reaction, as all 20 missiles detonated in midair, mere hundreds of meters from the island, without affecting it in the slightest. The missiles launched from the aircraft carrier, initially intended to intercept, transformed into miniature bombs upon collision, yet inexplicably malfunctioned, plummeting toward the ocean without intercepting a single threat. "Captain, our interception has failed," exclaimed the launch team in alarm. "Captain, the target remains. All 20 missiles have failed," the radar team reported urgently. "How is this possible?" The captain was taken aback, then shouted, "Activate the anti-aircraft guns immediately. Form a barrage wall to ensure no missile approaches within 300 meters of the carrier." "Yes." The launch team received the command and resumed their operations. 10 missiles, still a kilometer away from the aircraft carrier, suddenly exploded, each transforming into 10 smaller missiles that veered off their original trajectories, scattering in all directions. The radar team, having detected these missiles, furrowed their brows. "Captain, I believe you need to see this." "What?" The captain, filled with skepticism, approached, his expression shifting dramatically. "How can this be?" He beheld 100 red dots converging from all directions, some even submerging into the water, seemingly poised to launch an attack from beneath the waves. "What on earth is happening?" the captain exclaimed in alarm. Although the anti-aircraft guns could effectively counter missile attacks, this unprecedented situation rendered them nearly defenseless. The captain now realized the magnitude of the peril he had provoked. "Captain, how should we respond?" the launch team inquired gravely. This predicament was indeed dire. The captain shook his head slightly, ordering the mobilization of all weapons aboard the aircraft carrier to engage in a 360-degree assault, striving to down every missile in the shortest possible time. Our aircraft carrier, having undergone specialized modifications, was no longer what it once was, even if damaged. It could be swiftly repaired. Yes. In that moment, every member of the launch team began to operate swiftly, directing all weapons to unleash a relentless barrage. Meanwhile, the missiles continued to be struck, exploding in the skies above. If this scene were captured on film, it would undoubtedly ascend to the trending searches of any website in an instant. After all, a terrifying aircraft carrier unleashing all its weaponry in aimless assaults is truly unprecedented. Although such an onslaught succeeded in intercepting at least 70 missiles, over 20 still struck various parts of the carrier. The entire vessel trembled violently, alarms blaring incessantly from the command center. "Captain, the launch systems have been compromised. We are out of weapons." "Captain, the radar systems are damaged. We have lost our sight." "Captain, there are 2 large breaches in the hull. Seawater is flooding in at a rate of 1,000 cubic meters per second." "Damn it. What kind of missiles are these?" "They appear to be mere conventional warheads." The captain's face flushed with rage, his anger palpable. He could hardly fathom why such weaponry was so fearsome, having never encountered anything like it in his over a decade as a seasoned island commander. The analysis team swiftly reached a conclusion and spoke in hushed tones. "Captain, each of these warheads carries high-energy compressed explosives equivalent to 100 tons of TNT. which means our armor is utterly incapable of withstanding their assault. Over 20 missiles, each with 100 tons of TNT. The captain felt faint at the thought. Are you saying that this aircraft carrier is on the brink of sinking? Conservatively estimated, we have 2 hours left. After delivering this grim proclamation, the analysis team member stood up. Captain, I propose we retreat. Is it that simple? The captain scoffed coldly. We only know that our adversary is a small island, but we remain oblivious to the specifics of what lies there. Do you not wish to uncover the identity of the island that is sinking us? Captain, give the orders. The launch team urged solemnly. Non-essential personnel, evacuate on the large submarine. The rest of you, board the fighter jets. We shall meet this island again. The captain decisively commanded. In an instant, 5 fighter jets swiftly departed from the aircraft carrier. Meanwhile, under the alert of the Dolphin, Yichuan had witnessed the entire scenario through his shared vision. He promptly awakened Friday. Friday, the battle has commenced. Brother Chuan, why must we fight at night? Can't we let anyone sleep? Friday replied with impatience. Robots don't require sleep. Yichuan retorted sharply. Soon, 5 fighter jets will be approaching, and your task is to bombard them fiercely with heavy artillery. And what about you? Friday asked, somewhat defiant. I shall ascend into the skies. Yichuan declared as he mounted Wang Kai, swiftly soaring into the heights beneath the cover of his 2 small companions. In a mere 5 minutes, the 5 fighter jets had arrived at Turtle Island. Upon witnessing the mere expanse of over 10,000 square meters of Turtle Island, everyone was taken aback. Captain, do you see this? This is merely a small island, seemingly devoid of any remarkable features. Indeed, I too find this unexpected. I had anticipated the presence of formidable weaponry upon the island. Issue the command. Let us obliterate this island. The captain pondered for a moment, yet before he could articulate his thoughts, a series of fiery explosions erupted from the island. It turned out that the heavy artillery had commenced fire since Friday. In an instant, 12 shells were launched, although none struck the fighter jets. The shells, with a diameter of nearly 100 meters and a combustion range of 200 meters, formed a dense network of assault, catching 3 fighter jets off guard, causing them to sway perilously toward the sea. Enemy attack, enemy attack. The captain bellowed, frustration evident in his voice. How infuriating. I merely contemplated for a few seconds, and the adversary's assault has already commenced. Indeed, time is of the essence on the battlefield. Captain, what shall we do now? A female crew member from the firing squad inquired, her expression grim. At all costs, flatten that island. The captain declared resolutely. In an instant, 2 fighter jets pivoted sharply, initiating a new round of assault, launching 4 missiles with great force. Simultaneously, bullets rained upon the island as if they were of no consequence, forming a barrage in the night. Yet, regardless of the missiles' terrifying power, they proved ineffective, merely striking against a transparent barrier, rendering any further advance impossible. Ultimately, all the artillery fire was in vain, perhaps merely allowing the island's inhabitants to once again admire a display of brilliant fireworks. Boom, boom, boom. A new wave of attacks emerged from the island, with terrifying tongues of fire scorching the sky. Despite the considerable speed of the 2 fighter jets, one was engulfed by the flames and ultimately exploded. Captain, boom. The female crew member exclaimed, contemplating the 36 stratagems, deciding that retreat was the wisest course. Suddenly, a shadow appeared high above, descending with tremendous force to strike the aircraft. It was Yichuan, employing absolute gravity to forcefully bring the massive fighter jet crashing down into the sea. Damn it! The female crew member seethed, her eyes blazing with fury. It had been 6 years since they boarded that aircraft carrier, during which they had conquered numerous islands and warships, and even vanquished an entire fleet. Yet, she could never have imagined that the ultimate fate of the entire aircraft carrier would be sealed by such a diminutive island. It was simply unfathomable, the height of absurdity. In the next moment, the fighter jet collided with the sea, exploding into fragments, while Yichuan was retrieved midair by Wang Kai, watching the spectacle unfold from a distance. Upon returning to the island, Yichuan reflected on his experiences and lessons learned, recognizing that in the realm of the ocean, one must adhere to their own rules. Outside of familiar faces, virtually everyone else is an adversary. Feeling satisfied, he decided it was time for rest. After stretching and completing his evening routine, he succumbed to slumber. Unbeknownst to him, the day had dawned brightly while he remained ensconced in dreams, until he vaguely heard the system's voice. Detection indicates the system has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in. Yichuan yawned, his eyelids drooping. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points, a ground-to-ground missile set, and 3 exclusive nutrient solutions for special tree species, the system announced. Ground-to-ground missile set? The mention of this new term jolted Yichuan awake, prompting him to investigate further. The ground-to-ground missile system comprises a launcher, a launch base, and missiles. Each launcher can simultaneously fire 6 missiles, and the set includes 3 launchers and 18 missiles, allowing for a simultaneous launch of all 18. Unlike the 10 missiles received in a previous gift package, these can be manufactured anew. With the launcher and launch base already in his possession, he could produce more once the required gunpowder arrived. It seems the system has graciously bestowed this benefit upon him. Anticipating the increase in numbers of both warships and colossal sea creatures now that he has ventured into the open sea. How delightful. System, where would be the most suitable place to install this? Yichuan inquired, rubbing his hands together with a grin. Installation in the forest is recommended. The trees provide concealment. Evading reconnaissance aircraft and various surveillance devices, the system promptly replied. Very well, I shall install it in the forest. Without delay, Yichuan approached the forest's edge near the villa and carefully arranged the 3 launchers in sequence. Positioned to face the sky, the installation maximally safeguarded the surrounding trees, making it an ideal location for the launchers. As for the exclusive nutrient solutions for the special tree species, Yichuan directly entrusted them to Friday. The miraculous tree had already reached its 5th segment, and with Friday previously possessing a nutrient solution, the 4th segment had undergone transformation. The 5th segment was now nearly complete and would soon be ready for another infusion of nutrients. However, Yichuan was astonished to observe that the miraculous tree had grown to an impressive height of 150 meters, rivaling that of a small mountain. Yet it exhibited no signs of instability. It stood as a straight pillar reaching toward the heavens, impervious even to the fiercest gales. This prompted Yichuan to entertain the idea of climbing the miraculous tree to explore its summit. Chapter 308. The Return of Feiyu. Wang Sunrui issues a challenge. What initially began as a sudden whim soon morphed into an insatiable curiosity, accompanied by an irresistible urge to act. Ultimately, Yichuan did not ponder further and swiftly ascended the peculiar tree, following its protrusions. As he had anticipated, even with the burden of over 130 pounds, the miraculous tree exhibited not the slightest movement. Strangely, he could not discern whether it was merely an illusion, but upon touching the tree, he encountered a texture reminiscent of genuine leather, devoid of any hardness. Truly, this was an extraordinary tree, living up to its name. Eventually, Yichuan reached the 4th segment, a height of 120 meters. He brushed against the yet-to-be fully formed 5th segment, which felt notably soft, suggesting that the branch had not yet hardened prior to the protrusions developing. Gazing upwards, he posed a question once more. System, how tall can this miraculous tree ultimately grow? To what heights will it reach? 180 meters, the system promptly replied. This answer left Yichuan somewhat bewildered. Only 180 meters? Even with the exclusive nutrient solution for the miraculous tree in his possession, 3 vials remaining, capable of supporting growth up to 210 meters. What did it mean that it would only reach 180 meters? System, is this tree not meant to reach the Sky City? Yichuan remarked, a hint of exasperation in his voice. However, the system fell silent this time. Was his earlier speculation incorrect? Yichuan mused, descending from the miraculous tree. Regardless of the specifics, the Sky City was of no concern to him at present. He had yet to grasp the mysteries of the ocean world, let alone the Sky City. What a ridiculous notion! He exclaimed. Brother Chuan, Saturday, who was preparing breakfast, hurried over at his call. I see that the fruits on the miraculous tree have been harvested again? Yichuan inquired. Indeed, since the last harvest. We have gathered 5 more batches. I have joined the honeycomb and turned all of it into fruit jam. Saturday nodded vigorously, estimating around 6 kilograms. All stored in the refrigerator. Just hand it over. I need to consume 100 grams daily to enhance my strength. Yichuan declared. As for breakfast, I shall forego it and simply enjoy the jam. Absolutely. Saturday responded eagerly, placing 12 glass jars in front of Yichuan. Just as the system's inventory cleared 2 slots, one of them conveniently accommodated the jars of jam. The vibrant red jam emanated an extraordinary fruity aroma, even through the glass. Skipping breakfast, Yichuan poured out 100 grams and began to indulge, feeling his body's warmth intensify as waves of energy surged within him. He then settled into a lounge chair to rest. With a thunderous crash, a medium-sized submarine surged to the surface, firmly attaching itself to Turtle Island. Zhao Feiyu had returned. P.S. back, brother Yu. Yichuan exclaimed with a hearty laugh, rushing forward to envelop Zhao Feiyu in a warm embrace. I'm back, Zhao Feiyu replied, stretching languidly after spending 10 long days inside the submarine. Breathing in the fresh air of the sea felt utterly delightful. Of course, the oxygen produced by a submarine is no match for the purity of nature's own, Yichuan remarked with a shrug. Take a deep breath of the fresh air. By the way, I came here primarily to face the warships of those werewolf clans alongside you. At that moment, Zhao Feiyu's demeanor shifted to one of seriousness. My second uncle has noted that the Dracula family dispatched 20 warships to uncover the identity of the perpetrator who murdered their rookie island master. You, being on the island, are likely to be among the first to encounter them, so you need not worry about this issue any longer. Yichuan looked at Zhao Feiyu with deep appreciation. They probably won't trouble us again for a while. What do you mean? Have they encountered an even greater predicament? Zhao Feiyu inquired, puzzled. Without uttering a word, Yichuan produced a video of the mermaids boarding the ships and played it for Zhao Feiyu. Zhao Feiyu was instantly captivated. Countless mermaids surged forth on the formidable waves, launching an intense battle against the werewolf island masters aboard those 20 warships, ultimately annihilating the entire werewolf clan. Though merely a spectator, the scene ignited a fervent passion within him. Wow, this is incredibly thrilling, Zhao Feiyu shouted in excitement. Brother, did these mermaids really obliterate the werewolf clan's 20 warships? When they attacked me, my mermaid friends were visiting my island. Yichuan nodded. 100,000 mermaids sent them on their way, but I kept all 20 warships for myself, though they lack crew members. Brother, you must see the battle footage, especially of their captain, who, I hear, is an elder of the werewolf clan and nearly died from fury. Ah, how amusing. Watching Yichuan's uncontainable excitement, Zhao Feiyu fell silent, astounded. He could hardly fathom that the merfolk had nearly emptied their ranks for Yichuan, and that he possessed the strength to combat a fleet. Even if he were to support a fleet himself, it would merely be an embellishment rather than a substantial aid. As he had surmised, this brother of his was destined for greatness, potentially becoming the foremost sovereign of the oceanic realm. Impressive. Zhao Feiyu finally managed to give Yichuan a thumbs up. His gaze inadvertently drifting to the villa, his expression shifting to one of astonishment. My goodness, what a magnificent villa. After you all departed, I transformed the previous 4-bedroom, 2-living-room layout into a splendid 8-bedroom, 6-bathroom, 3-living-room villa. Isn't it stunning? Yichuan chuckled, envisioning a splendid arrangement where the boys resided on the 2nd floor while the girls occupied the 3rd, ensuring that none would feel aggrieved and everyone could enjoy a comfortable stay. Indeed, Zhao Feiyu could only concur. After all, the construction team operates differently from other trades. The number of workers deployed is contingent upon the size of the island. One need not even mention such a grand villa. Even a modest 1-bedroom apartment of reinforced concrete would require nearly a month before it could be inhabited. At the very least, regarding accommodation, Yichuan had already outshone at least 90% of both new and seasoned island owners. By the way, I wonder if you've seen the chat room in Ocean World. There's someone named Wang Sanrui who has been persistently seeking you out, declaring a desire to engage in a life-or-death battle. As they strolled towards the villa, Zhao Feiyu remarked. Wang Sanrui? Yichuan paused in surprise. Wasn't Wang Sanrui already deceased? He had witnessed his super tablet sink into the ocean with his own eyes. It was hardly conceivable for him to have returned from the dead. Chapter 309. I choose the final path, treasure hunting. As Zhao Feiyu commenced his tour of the villa, Yichuan accessed the public chat room of Ocean World. Generally, this chat room serves little purpose beyond locating individuals, given the vastness of Ocean World. Island owners could be separated by tens of thousands of kilometers, rendering distant assistance futile in urgent situations. Chatting casually? Please. Everyone is so occupied that there is scarcely time for frivolity. As expected, the chat room, which seldom saw much interaction, was inundated with messages from Wang Sanrui, who had posted repeatedly, Yichuan, my son, didn't he expect your old man to still be alive, right? If you have the guts, reveal your location. I, Wang Sanrui, will hunt you down. However, the ID did not belong to Wang Sanrui himself. It was likely that he had allied with some influential figure, utilizing their super tablet to send the messages. With 3 ground-to-ground missiles at his disposal, Yichuan was eager to assess their power. He promptly responded, This is Yichuan. Now that I've replied, you must know my coordinates. Aren't you eager to kill me? Then come forth. He also employed a premium locator to ascertain Wang Sanrui's position. Currently, he was over 10,000 nautical miles away, and it seemed that it would take him at least 10 days to catch up. However, Yichuan wondered if Wang Sanrui possessed a premium locator. The super locator could only track up to 5,000 nautical miles. In open waters, one would need a specialized locator capable of covering a radius of 100,000 nautical miles. Nevertheless, Yichuan did not consider this a significant threat at the moment. He smiled and asked Zhao Feiyu, Well, isn't it gloriously extravagant? Indeed, indeed. Zhao Feiyu nodded vigorously, adding, I've already chosen my room. It's right next to yours. No problem. Yichuan snapped his fingers, responding with great delight. Are you feeling a bit out of sorts now that we're in open waters? After lunch, the two sat on the sandy beach basking in the sun, and Zhao Feiyu inquired with a cheerful grin. It is indeed a little. Yichuan shrugged, feeling an unexpected sense of limitless possibilities stretching before him, as if he were momentarily at a loss for direction. In the realm of the ocean, both supply crates and mineral resources were exceedingly scarce, within millions of square kilometers. There might only be a handful of minerals. Zhao Feiyu nodded, explaining that under such circumstances, island masters would categorize themselves into several types. Some would become diligent laborers, tirelessly searching for supply crates and minerals. Others would resort to seizing resources from others, much like my second uncle, who had previously usurped a territory from the merfolk due to his formidable strength, leaving even A-grade merfolk powerless against him. The remaining individuals would embark on treasure hunts. A perilous choice, yet the discovery of a single treasure could yield a lifetime of riches. This dilemma was something our teacher had addressed in the past. Yichuan shrugged again, noting that every experience in the novice zone had been fraught with danger, increasingly thrilling with each encounter. Thus, his intentions were quite clear. He aimed to seek treasure. However, the teacher had not elaborated on what treasures might be found from the treasure maps. Most treasures resided on small islands, with a minority lying beneath the sea. Zhao Feiyu took on the role of mentor to Yichuan, earnestly explaining that he only knew that the majority of treasures were comprised of gold, silver, and jewels, along with some extraordinary fruits and powerful weapons. The outcome would ultimately depend on the luck of the island master. At that moment, the system suddenly announced, hidden task detected. Will the host accept? What hidden task? Yichuan inquired, puzzled, though he suspected it was related to treasure hunting. Hidden task. The host must locate a lost treasure within 1 month to receive a generous reward. Will you accept? The system responded. Treasure is treasure. But what do you mean by lost treasure? Yichuan questioned, his suspicion piqued. Is this akin to the difficult quest associated with the lost tribe? The host may choose to accept or decline. The system merely posed the question without further explanation. I accept. Yichuan replied, exasperated. After all, the system had made its declaration and the task had been issued. If he refused, would he even have the opportunity to undertake any other hidden tasks? He could only acquiesce. Detection confirmed. The host has accepted the hidden task. Please complete it promptly. The system promptly replied. I have made my decision. At that moment, Yichuan took a deep breath, stood up straight, and declared with utmost seriousness, I choose the third path, treasure hunting. Zhao Feiyu smiled, recognizing that he had correctly anticipated Yichuan's thoughts, for his initial inclination mirrored Yichuan's. After all, choosing any other path would merely render one a mediocre island master. Only the pursuit of treasure could unlock the greatest potential of one's life. Moreover, some treasures lay within the Forbidden Sea, even in life-threatening zones, particularly within these perilous areas. Legends spoke of numerous Super S-class sea beasts, posing dangers that could claim the lives of even SSS-class sea beasts at any moment. Shouldn't a man venture into such treacherous realms for the sake of adventure? It seems that few island masters possess the audacity to venture into the forbidden zone of life. The toxic mists that can materialize at any moment are sufficient to deter humanity. I eagerly anticipate this. Universe brother, do you happen to have a treasure map? At that moment, Yichuan inquired directly. You don't. Zhao Feiyu was taken aback. Indeed, treasure maps are elusive, as they are sought yet rarely found. If they were easily obtainable, wouldn't everyone become a treasure seeker? I possess an SSS-grade treasure map. But the location of the treasure lies within the forbidden zone of life, Yichuan stated solemnly. I have an inkling that we are not yet capable of entering the forbidden zone, are we? SSS grade, Zhao Feiyu exclaimed in astonishment. Treasure maps are categorized into 3 grades, S, SS, and SSS. The first 2 are challenging to find but still offer a reasonable hope. However, an SSS-grade treasure map seems not to have surfaced even in the entire oceanic realm. This brother is indeed extraordinary. He must have obtained it in the novice area. Is there a problem? Yichuan asked, puzzled by Zhao Feiyu's intense reaction. As it stands, we are unlikely to even reach the Sea of Taboo, a place teeming with S-grade marine creatures and SS-grade beings swimming all around. Zhao Feiyu said with a wry smile. To enter the forbidden zone of life, one must traverse the Sea of Taboo. Do you believe we can manage that? Do you at least possess the incomplete treasure map? Yichuan shrugged, suggesting they might as well seek a lesser treasure. I have 2 incomplete treasure maps. Zhao Feiyu nodded, promptly producing them. Yichuan called out to the group, brothers, Who among you possesses an incomplete treasure map? Big brother, I have two here. Are we truly embarking on a treasure hunt? Xiao Feilong excitedly placed the treasure map in the trading window while sending a voice message, exclaiming, "This is simply exhilarating." Chapter 310. This treasure map is ours. Currently, with your two maps, we still need two more to complete a single treasure map. Yichuan remarked with irritation, questioning what was so exhilarating about this. Brother, I do not possess such a thing. I do not either, the others replied with considerable regret. Yichuan made an okay gesture and dashed to the public chat room, asking, who has incomplete treasure maps? I'll buy two at a high price. Wow, this guy is impressive. Is he planning a treasure hunt? That's a one-way street with a high mortality rate. It's likely some reckless youth trying to show off. But such bravado can cost one their life. As for me, I neither have a treasure map nor an incomplete one. I'll simply be a diligent salvage worker. In an instant, the public chat room became vibrant. The woman who had previously sold Yichuan sulfur and nitrate privately messaged him again. Friend, what do you intend to use to purchase these two incomplete treasure maps? I possess nothing of particular value here. And it is likely that you have acquired some of it once the novice area is opened. Yichuan decisively stated, however, I have 500 milliliters of S-class fresh water, which I intend to exchange for two treasure maps. S-class fresh water is indeed exceedingly rare, yet treasure maps are equally scarce, making the two seemingly unequal in value. The woman responded promptly. I shall inquire with others then. I am not in haste, Yichuan replied directly. Never mind. Possessing these two incomplete treasure maps is of no use to me. I might as well exchange them for S-class fresh water to enhance my constitution. Seeing Yichuan's response, the woman did not persist further, placing the two incomplete treasure maps in the trading window and completing the transaction with him. On an aircraft carrier more than 20,000 nautical miles away, a girl who appeared to be merely 18 flashed a cold smirk. Beside her, a middle-aged man spoke gravely. Miss, we have plenty of S-class fresh water. Is it truly necessary to relinquish these two incomplete treasure maps for a mere 500 milliliters of S-class fresh water? Do you think I am interested in S-class fresh water? The girl scoffed. What I am after is the treasure map he possesses. His acquisition of two incomplete treasure maps indicates that he already holds 8, combined with my 2. We can form a complete treasure map. Are you suggesting we seize that treasure map from him? The man's expression shifted. The master allowed us into the oceanic realm not for minerals or gold and jewels, but for the lost treasures containing the great return pill, which can augment the master's cultivation for a century, directly enabling him to break through. Do you believe this treasure map holds such potential? The girl asked with a smile that was almost a smirk. It is indeed possible. The middle-aged man replied without hesitation. Very well, we shall set sail immediately, and let the 11 warships rendezvous with us. The girl commanded. Once we catch up to him, he will likely be nearing the treasure site. Yes, the middle-aged man replied respectfully. At this moment, Yichuan had acquired 10 incomplete treasure maps and could not help but ask, System, how does one synthesize these? You still wish to synthesize them? The system retorted, can't you make do with what you have? I said, System, you assign me tasks without providing treasure maps. And yet when I ask you to assist in synthesizing them, you complain? Yichuan's temper flared. Hurry it up. Synthesis of the treasure maps in progress. Please wait. The system announced. Accompanied by a faint glow, the 10 incomplete treasure maps began to converge, and in a matter of seconds, they melded into a complete treasure map, which detailed distances and precautionary notes. Beside him, Zhao Feiyu was left in awe. Wow, brother, this treasure map is annotated in extraordinary detail, even with distances? 15,000 nautical miles. Considering the sea turtle's current speed of 65 nautical miles, we should arrive in approximately 10 days. Yichuan spoke in a low voice. However, we must also account for unexpected circumstances such as encountering danger or engaging in battle. Let us consider a time frame of half a month. Shall we depart now? Zhao Feiyu, suppressing his excitement, inquired. No. Yichuan shook his head. I believe it would be prudent to wait for the other 5 to arrive. Otherwise, they might continually pursue us, and we may encounter other unforeseen dangers along the way. That makes sense. Zhao Feiyu nodded. In this case, we can take the opportunity to rest for a while, as if we are giving ourselves a holiday. Haha. Yichuan slightly nodded in agreement. Just as Zhao Feiyu had suggested, it was indeed time to grant themselves a respite. Since entering the oceanic realm, it seemed they had not had a proper moment of rest. Given the current safety of their location, along with the abundance of fish resources, and the fact that the sea turtles and dolphins were not in want of sustenance, they could afford a 3-day holiday. Meanwhile, 500 nautical miles away, Liang Hongying gazed coldly at the large submarines that surrounded her, her expression exceedingly grim. She never anticipated that she would become the target of sea marauders. After all, she was merely piloting a medium-sized submarine. Why would they bother with her when they could capture larger submarines or warships? Immediately, she sent a message to her comrades. Brothers, I am surrounded by 4 large submarines, currently 500 nautical miles from Turtle Island. What on earth is happening? Aren't you just operating a medium-sized submarine? The target shouldn't be that significant, came the responses. With 4 large submarines, it seems escaping is quite challenging. I am 1,000 nautical miles away from you. If I head over now, it would take me at least 10 hours. In an instant, everyone began to respond with urgency. However, Blueberry Jam furrowed her brow. She was piloting a large submarine and was only 100 nautical miles away from Lianghongying, having already detected the target on her radar. After a few moments of contemplation, she replied decisively, I am 100 nautical miles away. I have prepared tracking missiles and will launch them now. Let us coordinate to ensure your escape. You fragile vase, do you truly believe you can manage? Lianghongying frowned and swiftly responded, you should leave immediately and avoid danger. Do you really think that enhanced weaponry can contend with 4 large submarines? Enough of that. We have shared a bed for so long. How can I allow you to face danger alone? Biting her lip, Blueberry Jam took a deep breath and pressed the launch button. In an instant, 4 tracking missiles were launched. Chapter 311, Surrender? Feigned surrender. The 4 large submarines regarded the medium-sized submarine as if 4 great wolves were sizing up a lone lamb, a creature already devoid of any capacity for resistance. At that moment, however, all 4 submarines detected attack alerts on their radar, prompting immediate discussion. What is happening? Who dares to strike at all 4 of our large submarines simultaneously? Everyone, be vigilant. The adversary seems formidable, otherwise, they would not exhibit such confidence. Zhou Ting, you 3 submarines should deal with that fellow. I shall handle this small vessel. In an instant, the 3 large submarines swiftly maneuvered towards the Blueberry Jam. How infuriating. Lianghongying shook her head slightly, choosing not to engage in combat, but instead gradually approached the larger submarine. This individual, is he truly considering surrender? Captain Situ Ching's lips curled into a faint smile. Commander, shall we annihilate them? A member of the launch team inquired promptly. We are a formidable submarine, while they are merely a modest medium-sized vessel, half our size. Now that they intend to surrender, do you think we should obliterate them or convert them into our subordinate island lord? Situ Ching asked with a playful grin. Understood. Upon hearing this, the operator promptly redirected the vessel to initiate docking with the medium submarine. Attention everyone, the opposing crew may be armed, and this could very well be a trap. Situ Ching, not one to be foolish, continued with a grave tone, all soldiers, proceed to the docking chamber to prevent any unforeseen circumstances. In an instant, a dozen island lords armed themselves and made their way to the docking chamber. However, as the hatches slowly opened, they found the opposing crew entirely absent, leaving Situ Ching perplexed. No one. Commander, I sense this may be a trap, one individual remarked gravely. We should exercise caution, armed as we are. Even if it is indeed a trap, how could they possibly eliminate all of us in such a confined space? Situ Ching scoffed, therefore. Let us not bolster the enemy's confidence while diminishing our own. Now, everyone, follow me into their submarine. Should there be any resistance, show no mercy. With that, a dozen armed individuals immediately advanced toward the medium submarine. Situ Ching's intent was straightforward, to acquire the opposing super tablet and forcibly bind it as their own subordinate island lord. Even if they wished to resist afterward, it would be too late. Yet, what puzzled everyone was the eerie silence enveloping the entire submarine. Not only was there no super tablet, but also no sign of life. They scoured every corner, even the 2 launch bays, to no avail. How could this be possible? Situ Ching's expression darkened. Logically, such a vast medium submarine should not be devoid of life. Were they not human, but mere phantoms? Commander, what is happening? One individual asked earnestly. Surely, they could not have escaped through the torpedo launcher? This is the vast ocean. There are no islands within 300 nautical miles. Where could they possibly flee? Situ Ching shook her head slightly, her expression nearly ominous. We must return and seal the docking chamber. With that, the group swiftly retraced their steps. Suddenly, a deafening crash reverberated, and the entire medium submarine lurched violently. Situ Ching's complexion changed dramatically. This is bad. Quickly secure the docking chamber. With urgency, she headed towards the control room. As the seawater inundated the docking chamber and threatened to surge into the control room, the hatch was finally sealed. How did our submarine's docking chamber suddenly detach? One person questioned, bewildered. Do you still not comprehend? Another exclaimed, abruptly turning to glare coldly at the woman. We have been deceived. The adversary has infiltrated our vessel, taken control, and sealed the docking chamber. Situ-Ching, this is all your cunning scheme. Did you truly believe that because we possess a formidable submarine, the enemy would relent? Situ-Ching's complexion darkened, even more so than that of the accuser. After all, her super tablet remained aboard the large submarine. Other matters could be managed, but the critical issue was that her very own submarine was still in jeopardy. It is too late for words now. We must attack the large submarine at once. In that instant, Situ-Ching made a reckless decision, regardless of the consequences. They could not permit the enemy to prevail. With urgency, she urged several individuals to commence operations swiftly. Meanwhile, aboard the large submarine, Liang Hongying, with her super tablet strapped to her back, had already dispatched 5 crew members. Observing the trembling individual from the launch team, she decisively declared, if you wish to survive, dismantle the weapon systems of that medium submarine. But there are no buts. Liang Hongying's dagger sliced through the air toward the individual, severing her long hair and eliciting a terrified scream. The individual promptly began her task, just as the missile system of the medium submarine was not yet fully prepared. A torpedo from the large submarine struck with tremendous force, devastating the weapon and power systems of the medium submarine. Now, unleash all tracking missiles and torpedoes towards those 3 large submarines. Liang Hongying exhaled a sigh of relief as she observed on the radar that the 3 large submarines were a mere 50 nautical miles from Blueberry Jam. She coldly commanded, "Do you intend to annihilate all my companions?" The individual was momentarily stunned before turning to glare at Liang Hongying. "I have already wronged Situ-Ching and the others. How can I smack?" Before she could finish, Liang Hongying delivered a sharp slap to her cheek, gripping her hair tightly. "On that large submarine they intend to attack. There are individuals of great significance to me. If you do not comply with my orders, do you believe I will spare your life? I will do it. I will do it immediately." Terrified, the woman trembled and dared not utter another word, swiftly returning to her tasks. As she witnessed the 3 large submarines advancing toward her, Blueberry Jam was struck with dread, her countenance paling. She promptly launched all her tracking missiles and torpedoes at the 3 vessels. "Quickly, deploy the countermeasures," Zhou Ting shouted loudly. At 50 kilometers, the assault swiftly approached, but under the barrage of countermeasures and several missiles, Blueberry Jam's entire offensive turned to naught. "Oh my goodness, how could this happen?" Blueberry Jam despaired, her heart racing. In a moment of panic, she sent a message to the group. "I have exhausted my ammunition, yet they remain unscathed. What should I do now? I am so frightened." Chapter 312. Escaping Danger. Siblings reunited, what is happening? Why are they targeting you again? The little dragon inquired, bewildered. "I launched 4 missiles at them," Blueberry Jam replied, expressing her dismay. "I intended to strike them all, but I never anticipated this outcome. It is quite exasperating." "Do not panic." Liang Hongying had already sent a message. "I have occupied the submarine on my end, and the attack has passed. Just wait a few minutes, and they will be finished." "Really?" Blueberry Jam's expression brightened. "Hongying, I adore you. Do not let your guard down. Everything remains uncertain," Liang Hongying stated with utmost seriousness. "I have no idea who these individuals are. They are all women aged between 21 and 30. Ah, a female army." The little dragon laughed heartily. "If they were captured by a fleet of men, that would be quite amusing." "Little dragon, do not harbor such impure thoughts." Liang Hongying frowned. Already accelerating towards Blueberry Jam's location, Yichuan immediately initiated a trade with Blueberry Jam. "I will give you 20 tracking missiles and torpedoes. Let us annihilate them." "Thank you, brother. With these weapons, I will surely make them aware of my prowess." Blueberry Jam's expression shifted, and she hurried to load the torpedoes and missiles into the launch tubes. However, she refrained from launching them immediately, choosing instead to wait patiently. As long as they did not strike first, there was no issue. She merely anticipated Liang Hongying's attack to eliminate them all. What is going on? Why has there been an unexpected attack from behind? Zhou Ting was about to issue the command to strike when the radar suddenly began to sound alarms. She observed several missiles and torpedoes hurtling toward them, leaving her puzzled. She quickly messaged Situ-Ching. "Situ-Ching, what is happening? Why are you attacking us? It's possible that Situ-Ching is not on that submarine. We should evade quickly." Someone shouted urgently, prompting the 3 submarines to immediately maneuver to the side, rapidly turning around to prepare their weapons for defense against the incoming missiles and torpedoes. Boom. However, the enemy's speed was alarmingly swift, catching them off guard. 2 submarines had not yet turned around before they were struck by a missile, rendering their power systems, weapon systems, and radar systems completely inoperative. Fortunately, the last submarine reacted swiftly, managing to turn its body around before the attack arrived, and fired several missiles in succession. successfully countering Liang Hongying's assault. That was close. Zhou Ting swallowed hard. Commander, the submarine behind has launched 3 more missiles and 3 torpedoes. The radar team shouted once again, leaving Zhou Ting nearly unable to regain her composure. How is this possible? Zhou Ting's expression changed drastically. Logically, the submarine that had just been engaged should have already expended all its missiles and torpedoes, leaving it devoid of weaponry. Could it be that the island's sovereign has been continuously supplying it with arms? We are on the brink of an attack. I request your instructions. The radar team continued to shout fervently. Direct all ammunition towards the submarine at the rear. Zhou Ting stated coldly, even if we are struck, we must ensure that one falls as a scapegoat. I fear it may be too late. The radar team replied somberly. What do you mean? Zhou Ting furrowed her brow. The submarine at the back has launched 3 more missiles. A member of the radar team stated icily, it appears we are doomed. Damn. Zhou Ting, typically a gentle girl, changed her expression drastically upon hearing those words and cursed vehemently. Almost immediately after her outburst, 3 missiles and 3 torpedoes hurtled towards the submarine, obliterating it and sending it back to its origins. Yes. Blueberry Jam snapped her fingers, overwhelmed with excitement to the point of tears. I didn't realize I was this formidable. It's a pity I forgot to livestream. Otherwise, those big shots would have surely showered me with millions in rewards. Phew. Liang Hongying also exhaled in relief. She had initially thought they were trapped in a certain demise, but thanks to Blueberry Jam's intervention, they had turned the dire situation around. Truly, it was no easy feat. Liang Hongying immediately sent a voice message to Blueberry Jam. Jam. We are setting off now to rendezvous with the elder brother on the island. MHM, MHM, MHM. Blueberry Jam replied with a beaming smile. So I'm no longer considered a mere ornament, right? I'm quite impressive too. MHM, MHM, MHM. You're not just an ornament. I take back my words. Liang Hongying chuckled. Hours later, as night fell, the 2 large submarines finally docked at Turtle Island. Blueberry Jam and Liang Hongying emerged from the submarines almost simultaneously, greedily inhaling the fresh air, exclaiming in exhilaration. It's been ages since I've breathed fresh air. How nostalgic. Jam. Liang Hongying leaped onto the shore, calling out to Blueberry Jam. Ah, Hongying Jia. Blueberry Jam cheerfully exclaimed, rushing over to embrace Liang Hongying tightly. Yichuan and Zhao Feiyu also arrived at the shore upon hearing the news, observing the two and chuckling. You're finally back. It wasn't easy. Brother, brother, brother. Blueberry Jam screamed, diving into Yichuan's arms, clinging to him tightly like an octopus. I missed you so much. I've been away for over 10 days, boo-hoo. You're back now, why cry? Yichuan laughed heartily, pinching her delicate, doll-like face. You're already a 19-year-old young lady, and yet you're sobbing like a child. Aren't you embarrassed? I'm not embarrassed at all. Blueberry Jam pouted. What's wrong with being affectionate after such a long separation? Hongying, is this the large submarine you captured? Yichuan smiled, then turned to look at the large submarine. One cannot exactly call it a capture, as it was exchanged for a medium-sized submarine. Liang Hongying smiled and remarked, those dozen or so individuals have been sealed inside the medium-sized submarine. The power system is malfunctioning, and without a super tablet, they are likely destined to perish. It was worth it. As Yichuan spoke, the group promptly entered the submarine, traversing past the bodies of those who had been slain, and began to explore. The interior bore a striking resemblance to their own large submarine, yet it was filled exclusively with women's items, devoid of anything for men. This left the vessel imbued with a faint scent of blood, mingled with the fragrance of femininity. Look over there. What is that? Just as Yichuan was inquiring of the sole surviving member of the launch crew, Zhao Feiyu suddenly shouted. Chapter 313. Is it related to the 12th tentacle? Upon hearing this, the group rushed over to find a black box awkwardly placed in the center of the resting chamber, starkly out of place. What kind of box is this? It's even locked with a steel cage, Blueberry Jam inquired curiously, circling the cage. Bang! Yichuan wielded his long knife and struck down fiercely, yet the steel cage remained unscathed. This caused a shift in Yichuan's expression. Despite the heavy blade, enhanced by blue steel crystals, capable of cleaving through a meter-thick iron block, it was unable to breach this cage. Clenching his teeth, Yichuan employed absolute gravity and swung at the cage once more. Crack! A sharp sound echoed as one side of the cage was split in two. Zhao Feiyu immediately rushed forward to retrieve the box within, only to hear a mechanical voice state, fingerprint verification complete, proceeding to determine the suitable mode for the user. What does that mean? The group was taken aback. Zhao Feiyu instinctively retreated a few meters, observing the black box begin to spin rapidly. In an instant, it lunged towards him, transforming into a bracelet that fastened itself around his wrist. Subsequently, it fell silent. "What on earth is this?" Zhao Feiyu exclaimed, shaking his wrist and tugging at it, but it would not budge. "System, could this possibly be another system?" Yichuan murmured, "Is your status being threatened?" The high-tech intelligent battle armor represents the pinnacle of Blue Star's current technology. The system promptly responded, "Iron Man." Yichuan was taken aback and asked in astonishment. Yet, the system fell silent once more. After some contemplation, Yichuan declared, "Yuga, this is a high-tech battle armor, embodying the most advanced technology on Blue Star. You've stumbled upon a treasure, but I want to see it transform into armor. How can such a large box turn into a bracelet?" Zhao Feiyu protested loudly, finding it absurd. "Perhaps it requires a suitable trigger to activate," Yichuan suggested, shaking his head. "Hongying, is the communication system of that medium-sized submarine still operational? We might be able to inquire of its owner." "I fear it may not be possible." Liang Hongying shook her head. There were no super tablets left inside, rendering communication impossible. "We must inquire within the submarine," Yichuan remarked nonchalantly, suggesting perhaps a more casual approach. "Yet, we should still seek answers," Zhao Feiyu asserted solemnly, emphasizing the necessity of understanding their identities, the operational methods of the battle armor, and its intended purpose. "Then let us proceed to ask." Yichuan agreed with a slight nod. Under the protection of the booze giant ape, Blueberry Jam remained on Turtle Island, while the three of them directly piloted a large submarine away. Within the submarine, a factional conflict erupted. Situ Ching eliminated 2 individuals to restore order. Nevertheless, dissent lingered among some. "I truly do not wish to converse with you. The food supply here is limited, and remaining will inevitably lead to our demise. Eliminating those 2 merely spares them from suffering." "Food?" Situ Ching scoffed coldly. "Is it indeed scarce? I wonder if we can endure until someone discovers us." "An enormous submarine is approaching," a woman monitoring the radar exclaimed, "and it intends to dock with us." "Then let us dock," Situ Ching declared without hesitation. "In any case, we face death. A fight may yield hope." This time, everyone concurred with Situ Ching's proposal. The 2 submarines successfully completed the docking maneuver. As the docking hatch opened, 9 individuals armed with weapons swiftly charged into the large submarine. Their objective was clear: to eliminate everyone they encountered, commandeer the submarine, and escape. Bang, bang, bang. However, as these individuals entered the docking chamber, several gunshots rang out. 8 of them perished before they could even draw their weapons. Only Situ Ching remained, her expression shifting drastically as she immediately aimed her weapon at the emerging Yichuan. Yet, despite several shots fired, he remained unscathed, his clothing untouched. "How is this possible?" Situ Ching exclaimed in disbelief. As Yichuan advanced purposefully, she frantically drew a dagger to attack, only to be subdued by a swift elbow strike from him. "Who are you and what do you seek?" she demanded coldly as she lay restrained. "That submarine of yours, and that black box, contains high-tech intelligent battle armor," Yichuan stated bluntly. "Who manufactured it, and for what purpose?" "You." Situ Ching's expression shifted again. "You actually know it is high-tech intelligent battle armor. Is that so mysterious?" Yichuan retorted disdainfully. "This battle armor was developed by the Yin family at the cost of 100 billion. Situ Ching spoke gravely. "We are the Blood Phoenix mercenaries, contracted to deliver this battle armor to the edge of the Forbidden Sea, to be handed over to the Yin fleet." Yichuan nodded slightly. He was aware of the Yin family, one of the 4 major consortiums in Jiuzhou, with assets in the trillions. A dominant force in the maritime world. It was astonishing that they had invested so much in creating such battle armor. "What is the purpose of going to the Forbidden Sea?" Zhao Feiyu inquired immediately. "I am not entirely certain of the details, but I have heard that the Yin family's client mentioned something regarding the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus." Situ Ching shook her head. "What exactly is the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus?" Zhao Feiyu inquired with suspicion. "What purpose does it serve?" "The system has assigned the task of acquiring this item, and it is rather peculiar that the Yin family, one of the 4 great financial conglomerates of Jiuzhou, is also eager to obtain it, even going so far as to invest considerable resources into the creation of such combat armor. I am unaware of the specifics. Our duty is merely to assist in transporting this set of armor, and we have no authority to inquire further," Situ Ching replied with a shake of her head. "You truly are in a dire situation. Instead of dutifully transporting goods, you chose to provoke us," Liang Hongying teased. "Now only you remain alive. Does that bring you satisfaction?" "Humph." Situ Ching felt an overwhelming urge to devour Liang Hongying. Had she known that 2 submarines could annihilate her 4 large submarines, she would have certainly slapped herself a few times rather than provoke them. "One last question. Zhao Feiyu approached Situ Qing with measured strides, asking solemnly, "How is this high-tech intelligent combat armor operated?" Chapter 314, The Gathering of Companions, Setting Sail. Do you think a mere mercenary like me could possibly know how to operate the Yin family's combat armor? Situ Qing looked at Zhao Feiyu as if he were a fool. Are you overestimating me? A lowly figure such as herself could hardly possess knowledge of such classified information. Yichuan remarked with a smirk, "Let us depart. Allow her to return to the medium submarine. I have divulged so much information to you, and though you refuse to release me, must you also consign me to wait for my demise?" Situ Qing questioned loudly. "Not executing you directly is already a form of gratitude," Yichuan replied coldly, shooing Situ Qing back to the medium submarine before sealing the docking chamber and departing. "Brother you, for now, you may take it. Since the fingerprints have been matched, it will surely be open one day," Yichuan consoled, noticing Zhao Feiyu's disappointment. No, I am pondering the matter of the 12th tentacle of the enigmatic octopus." Zhao Feiyu shook his head, recalling that his uncle had mentioned that the coalition of multiple nations sent over 300 warships to the Forbidden Sea to acquire its 12th tentacle, only to nearly be annihilated by the enigmatic octopus. "Did your uncle not mention what purpose this item serves?" Yichuan immediately inquired. Zhao Feiyu shook his head. He was not entirely certain, only vaguely recalling that it was related to a certain door in the Forbidden Sea, but the specifics eluded him. "System, what door in the Forbidden Sea is it related to?" Yichuan quickly asked, adopting a tentative approach. "My inquiry is not specific, merely broad, so surely a hint could be divulged." However, the system remained silent. This left Yichuan at a loss for words. It seemed they would have to wait until they possessed the strength to enter the Forbidden Sea to uncover this secret. Upon returning to Turtle Island, they found Blueberry Jam in the living room watching television. Upon seeing the three return, she rushed over. "Brother, it is truly unbelievable. This villa is so large. It surpasses the previous one by 1,000-fold. It is inevitable. With the emergence of the novice zone, our residence must also undergo renovation and enhancement." Yichuan chuckled heartily, remarking that the 3rd floor is where the girls reside, featuring 4 rooms for their selection. "Hee, brother, you are truly wonderful." Blueberry Jam exclaimed with a giggle. "Enough now. It's already late. Let us retire for the night. After spending so much time in the submarine, a good night's sleep is in order." Yichuan affectionately tousled Blueberry Jam's hair. "We shall take our leave to rest," Liang Hongying chimed in, leading Blueberry Jam upstairs. A night passed in silence. The following morning, Yichuan awoke to the system's notification sound and promptly declared, "Check-in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 evolution points and a surface-to-air missile set." The system's voice followed. "Wow, this is fantastic." Yichuan couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Just yesterday, he had acquired surface-to-surface missiles, and today, he received surface-to-air ones, both in sets, seemingly another 18 missiles to add to his arsenal. Excitedly, Yichuan immediately positioned the newly acquired surface-to-air missile set near the surface-to-surface missiles, ensuring they did not interfere with each other, allowing him to manage both efficiently even alone. Though breakfast was not prepared for Yichuan, Saturday made 3 meals for Zhao Feiyu and the others. With nothing pressing at the moment, the 2 girls decided to explore the island, which now spanned 15,000 square meters. To thoroughly explore, it would require a considerable amount of time. It wasn't until after lunch that Xiao Feilong and his companions returned. They were all thrilled about the new villa. For Xiao Feilong, the contrast between his previous dwelling and the current one was like heaven and earth. An indescribable level of happiness. After some chatter, Xiao Feilong turned serious and said, "Brother, I've been followed by a tail throughout my journey. I fired a few torpedoes at it, but it evaded them all. What is its purpose?" Yichuan inquired, puzzled. "I'm not certain. It has maintained a distance of 50 nautical miles from me," Xiao Feilong replied, shaking his head. "It was this entanglement that caused my delay in arriving." Yichuan nodded slightly and immediately dispatched a dolphin, stating with gravity, "Regardless of who it is, if they pose a threat to us, they shall undoubtedly meet their demise. I have sent my dolphin to investigate. We shall assess the situation before proceeding." "Indeed," Xiao Feilong nodded, hoping they would not attract any formidable adversaries. "Let them come. We shall face them head-on. What is there to fear?" Yichuan scoffed, determined. "Let us proceed without hesitation." He promptly commanded the turtle to head towards the location marked on the treasure map. Meanwhile, Blueberry Jam uploaded the final video of the mermaid boarding the ship onto the platform. In recent days, the fan base of Blueberry Jam has surged by millions daily, now exceeding 40 million. Within less than 10 minutes of posting a video, it garnered over 1 million likes. with the comment section flooded with an astonishing 70 to 80,000 messages. Goddess, what kind of life are you living? The legendary A-class biological mermaid, effortlessly boarding the ship? My goddess must have consumed cuteness itself, even enchanting mermaids to fight on your behalf. How astonishing is that? I watched it on a 100-inch television. The spectacle is far more vivid and breathtaking than any current blockbuster. Simply astounding. Goddess, when will you go live? I must witness your stream. Please share your experiences in the oceanic realm. I simply must hear. The platform staff also reached out to Blueberry Jam privately. Esteemed Miss Blueberry Jam OX. May we inquire when you will host a live stream? We are eager to provide an official announcement and rally thousands of influencers with over 1 million fans to support you. Witnessing this, Blueberry Jam's excitement flushed her cheeks as she promptly sought out Yechuan. Brother, when shall we engage in battle again? The platform staff have been inquiring about it. Yechuan directly asked, what are your thoughts? I was contemplating hosting a live stream during our next battle. Such an event would undoubtedly be even more spectacular. Yechuan pondered a moment, considering that if a reconnaissance submarine trailed behind the little flying dragon, a fierce confrontation was imminent. However, such a combat scenario might prove perilously dangerous. Are you truly intent on live streaming from the front lines? Brother, you can't genuinely believe I'm merely a cute face, can you? Blueberry Jam pouted, asserting her ambition to transform into a formidable female streamer. I'll notify you when the time comes. Observing her playful demeanor, Yechuan felt a shiver of apprehension and waved his hand dismissively. Chapter 315, Little Flying Dragon, Fighting Beans? Soon, a dolphin sent a message to Yechuan. He swiftly employed the technique of synchronization to perceive a large submarine, currently advancing rapidly 50 nautical miles off Turtle Island. However, the specifics of the situation within remained unclear. In the final 5 seconds, as the dolphin passed a high-definition screen, Yechuan noticed several red dots on the radar, seemingly positioned 50 nautical miles from the submarine. Pursuing it closely, as the synchronization period concluded, Yechuan fell into deep contemplation. This submarine was trailing the Little Flying Dragon, its target undoubtedly the dragon. The numerous red dots following closely were likely companions of the submarine. Were their intentions aimed at the Little Flying Dragon or at him? Promptly, Yechuan called together a few individuals to relay the information. Little Flying Dragon frowned, initially believing there was only one submarine, only to discover there were more than a dozen lurking behind. However, they did not attack on the way, perhaps intending to ensnare us all at once. Brother, I think we need not speculate any further. Adhering to the principle of better to mistakenly kill than to let escape, we should obliterate these submarines. Liang Hongying said gravely, her expression dark. Come now, Hongying, your approach is rather ruthless, Blueberry Jam retorted with a pout. This is decisiveness in action. Liang Hongying shot her a fierce glare. Continuing curtly, we are in a perilous oceanic realm, not your virtual world. You just faced a battle yesterday. Have you already forgotten? If we do not strike first, the repercussions will surely befall us. With a slight grimace, Blueberry Jam fell silent. I find merit in what Hongying suggests, Yechuan stated resolutely. If they bore us no ill will, they would not merely follow us at a distance, but would extend a gesture of goodwill. He paused thoughtfully. Let me handle this alone. I shall seize that submarine and then ascertain the situation. For now, it seemed this was the only course of action. Zhao Feiyu nodded. Do you think you can manage it alone? Of course. If I were incapable, I wouldn't propose it. Zhao Feiyu laughed heartily, and without further ado, he plunged into the water, allowing the sea turtle to proceed ahead while he floated quietly on the surface, awaiting the right moment. Approximately an hour later, alerted by the dolphins, Yechuan dove into the depths. The submarine was a large vessel, moving steadily. Yechuan wasted no time. He located the docking hatch and unleashed absolute gravity, delivering a powerful strike that cleaved a massive opening into the hatch. The pressure of the water immediately forced Yechuan inside. Cursed be it. The docking hatch has been severely damaged. We must seal the entire docking chamber. A technician in the command room shouted urgently. This area should not harbor such terrifying creatures, nor have we received any forewarnings. Who would dare to launch a surprise attack against us? The captain's expression was grave. He could not fathom the situation. The radar had detected no large marine creatures, nor had any submarines engaged them in combat. This was an occurrence that should not have transpired. Captain, it seems something has infiltrated our submarine. The technician exclaimed again, his voice low but anxious. Do not frighten me. My radar has consistently shown no signs of any instruments in the vicinity. The radar team responded seriously. What manner of being could survive underwater without oxygen equipment and breach our docking hatch? Mermaids? The captain mused, but quickly dismissed the notion. Impossible. A mermaid could not have exerted such force to open our hatch. The power was immense, at least that of an S-class marine creature. But S-class marine creatures are typically quite large. The technician replied, shrugging. Everyone arm yourselves. We must conduct a thorough search. After contemplating for a moment, the captain could not help but speak in a low voice. Furthermore, the submarine must not halt. We cannot afford to lose track of that individual. With that, 7 or 8 people immediately sprang into action. The first few rushed towards the docking chamber, eager to uncover something. However, before they could enter, a series of gunshots echoed, and all 8 individuals were struck in the knees, collapsing onto one knee, cries of anguish escaping their lips. Who are you? If you have the courage, step forward and let us settle this in a fight to the death. The captain, drenched in cold sweat, shouted loudly. In the next moment, each one appeared before them. A human? The captain's expression shifted dramatically. He had only suspected the opponent might be human, but never anticipated that it was indeed true. How had this individual managed to penetrate over 200 meters beneath the sea and blast open the docking chamber door? Reacting swiftly, the island's lord launched an assault on Yi Chuan, yet all their attacks proved futile against Yi Chuan's terrifying agility and reflexes. Ultimately, after incapacitating several of them, only the captain remained. What do you intend to do? The captain demanded coldly, struggling to maintain his balance on one leg against the wall. I am the lord of the island you are pursuing, Yi Chuan replied with a smile. The question you just asked should rightly be posed by me to you. You. The captain was momentarily taken aback. I am aware that there are over a dozen submarines following you, Yi Chuan stated calmly. Now, tell me, what is your purpose? After staring at Yi Chuan for several seconds, the captain's bravado seemed to dissipate, and he slowly lowered his head. The island lord we are tracking belongs to a family that is our sworn enemy. We intended to abduct him and compel his family to surrender the minerals discovered in the novice zone. And why have you not acted until now? Yi Chuan inquired once more. We were uncertain whether he had allies or the true extent of his strength, the captain replied solemnly. Thus, we continued to follow him, waiting until we were confident he had no support or that his power was inferior to ours before taking action. However, there is one thing I do not understand. On what basis do you believe that the value of the little flying dragon is equivalent to that of the minerals? Yi Chuan articulated clearly, a lord supported by a family typically has dozens of successors. They would not find it necessary to compromise for the sake of a little flying dragon, would they? So his ID is indeed Little Flying Dragon. The captain nodded slightly, a cold smile creeping onto his face. You must certainly be unaware that his true name is the Dodo, correct? You may know that the Little Flying Dragon's family is quite powerful, but you must not realize that his family is the De clan. Chapter 316. What is there to contemplate? Take him down. Eating, sleeping, and playing the Dodo? Yi Chuan was taken aback. What a misfortunate child to have such a name. It is pronounced ding in 3 tones, not da. Are you not aware that this character has multiple pronunciations? 3 tones ding. The captain was bewildered. Is it ding Dodo? You foolish fool. You do not even comprehend their surname, yet you claim to be rivals? The lack of education is truly alarming. Yi Chuan sighed, remarking that they could only engage in such underhanded dealings. However, to be fair, the enemy was indeed formidable, while not on par with the Yin family. One of the 4 major financial conglomerates of Jiuzhou, they were still a significant force in the region. It was astonishing to discover that the Little Flying Dragon had such an impressive background. Nevertheless, he ought to eliminate these submarines and surface warships to demonstrate to the captain's family that they should maintain their distance, regardless of their surname. They had just descended with a large fleet, 11 warships and 13 submarines. The captain coldly declared that they were doomed. Perhaps, Yi Chuan shrugged slightly, before knocking him unconscious with a single punch. At this moment, only the launch team and the radar group, consisting of 3 members, remained at work on the submarine. Without hesitation, Yi Chuan approached and broke each of their legs, causing their faces to pale. In their agony, they understood a grim truth. The captain and his crew were likely in grave danger. I will not kill you, but you would do well not to signal your fleet for help or alert them. Just continue moving forward at a steady pace, Yi Chuan stated calmly. Since I was able to blast open your docking hatch and subdue you, I possess the capability to annihilate your entire fleet. However, I can spare your lives, but that will depend on your cooperation. The 3 men glared at Yi Chuan, reluctant to utter another word. After all, his prowess was evident. Despite having roamed the oceanic world for 9 years, they had never encountered such a terrifying individual. Ultimately, they had no choice but to concede. Yi Chuan then exited through the launch chamber, surfacing and returning to Turtle Island with Wang Kai. Big brother, what's going on? Little Flying Dragon and the others rushed over to inquire. Yi Chuan, however, looked at Little Flying Dragon curiously, and said, "So your name is Dododo? Eating, sleeping, and Dododo?" Blueberry Jam was taken aback, struggling to suppress a laugh. Liang Hongying and the others exchanged astonished glances at Little Flying Dragon. Dejia is no simple matter. My mother named me, and I also find it quite embarrassing. Little Flying Dragon admitted awkwardly. But now that you know my name, you must have come for me. They plan to capture you and threaten Dejia to hand over the minerals they find. Yichuan nodded, explaining that their families were archenemies. But are you the direct son of your family's patriarch? That's quite significant. No, I am the son of the old patriarch. My father had me late in life. The current patriarch is merely a temporary stand-in. After I gain experience in the oceanic world, I will take his place and become the rightful patriarch. My goodness, that's impressive, Blueberry Jam exclaimed. You are destined to become the head of a prominent family. Little Flying Dragon scratched his head awkwardly. If it weren't for Big Brother, I would have perished in the novice area long ago. What is so impressive about that? So what shall we do now? Zhao Feiyu inquired. At present, our fleet should arrive by tomorrow or the day after. When that time comes, shall we confront them directly? Yichuan replied nonchalantly. I believe it is merely a dozen warships and submarines. There is no need to wait for the fleet to take action. Jam, brother. Blueberry Jam promptly jumped forward. You can now announce the live broadcast. We will annihilate that fleet by 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yichuan declared without hesitation. Really? Blueberry Jam's expression shifted. Then I will rush to record a video announcement. Do we have the confidence to act ourselves? Lu Shuai asked, somewhat conflicted. Perhaps, but how can we know without trying? Yichuan shrugged slightly, and then burst into laughter. Blueberry Jam quickly approached the edge of the forest to record a short video, specifically allowing the colossal ape to pass by, flashing a peace sign towards the camera. Hello, everyone. I am Blueberry Jam OX. I am currently in Ocean World, planning to conduct my first live broadcast tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. This will also be my debut since becoming the Island Master. I hope everyone will support and encourage me. Upon release, the video caused an immediate sensation on the platform, as viewers eagerly awaited Blueberry Jam's debut in Ocean World. Within half an hour of its release, the video garnered over 3 million likes, with the count increasing by several thousand with each refresh. The comments surged at an exponential rate. Wow, what kind of life is our goddess living? Did I just see a giant ape giving a peace sign? They say this rookie period is hellish, yet the goddess navigates it so effortlessly and seems to be thriving. I can't wait to hear her stories from Ocean World. Honestly, the goddess must be living a very happy life. She seems to have gained a few pounds. I am a web novelist, planning to write a story titled My Goddess's Days on a Deserted Island. Meanwhile, the officials reached out to Blueberry Jam once again. Dear Miss Blueberry Jam OX, we are delighted that you are preparing for your debut broadcast so soon. We eagerly anticipate it. Currently, thousands of streamers with millions of fans on our platform will promote your live broadcast. Furthermore, we have discussed and decided that the revenue from this broadcast will be split 70-30 in your favor. Blueberry Jam was quite pleased with this arrangement, but chose not to respond. At the same time, advertisers began to privately message Blueberry Jam. Dear, we currently have a highly effective foundation. We hope you can mention it during your live broadcast, and we will provide you with a commission of 10 million. Miss Blueberry Jam, we have a pristine spring water that is perfectly suited for your consumption on the deserted island. We are willing to provide you with drinking water for your time in the oceanic world at no cost, hoping only that you might assist us in promoting our product. Boss, do you require cannons? We can supply you with 3, provided you lend us a word of support. Chapter 317, Live Combat, Enthusiasm Abounds. After a night of silence, the next morning arrived. Yichuan was awakened by the system's voice, detected that the host has not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in. Yichuan replied promptly. Sign in successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 2,000 evolution points and absolute defense 1, valid for 3 hours. The system's voice followed. What a boon. Yichuan opened his eyes, exhilarated by the rewards from signing in. He vividly recalled the power of the absolute defense from the last encounter. And knowing that the system anticipated his upcoming battle, it had graciously bestowed this treasure upon him. Would the fate of these warships and submarines mirror that of his previous adversaries? Delightful. After breakfast, Yichuan directed Turtle Island to return. At 8:30, under the gaze of thousands, Blueberry Jam finally commenced her live broadcast. Hello, my darlings. It's your old friend Blueberry Jam OX. I am thrilled to host this live session and engage with all of you face to face. The popularity of the stream surged from tens of thousands at the start to over 30 million in a mere 10 minutes, with many more joining continuously. Jam, where are you right now? This island seems quite beautiful. Goddess, Can you show us the ape from yesterday doing the peace sign? It looked adorably awkward. Blueberry, how have you been in the oceanic world? Are those videos of you in battle? So thrilling. Viewers commented fervently, showering gifts, especially the affluent patrons who frantically donated, eager to claim the top spot. Yet, even those who contributed hundreds of thousands within minutes found themselves quickly overshadowed. Blueberry Jam maintained a smile, sharing her recent experiences, particularly recounting the enigmatic brother Yi Chuan, whose identity piqued the viewers' curiosity immensely. Meanwhile, Turtle Island was now just a few kilometers away from the fleet of warships, visible on the horizon. This proximity bewildered the warships, as they wondered if the island had been stationary all along, and why the leading submarine had failed to report any situation. As the distance dwindled to merely 1 kilometer, all the warships came to a halt. The little dragon soared to the mountaintop, unleashing a barrage of cannon fire towards the warships, only to have it intercepted mid-air by the heavy machine guns of the leading vessel. Captain, this island has audaciously launched an attack against us. I request permission to retaliate. At this moment, the captains from other warships immediately shouted over the radio, urging to obliterate the island. Our objective is to capture Daudu. The captain replied sternly. If we destroy the island, our plan will inevitably be thwarted. The reconnaissance submarine has yet to report back. It is likely that Daudu is still advancing and not on this island. A captain promptly deduced, moreover, they must have already detected our presence. Daudu would not remain here idly. That makes sense. The captain nodded in agreement. Very well, launch 10 ground-to-ground missiles and erase this small island from the ocean's map. Understood. In an instant, everyone began to operate swiftly. Meanwhile, Blueberry Jam, who was engaging with netizens, had ascended a small hill and turned her phone's camera towards the warships. Darlings, do you see? There are 11 warships ahead. We are currently battling them. We just provoked them with our artillery, and I expect they will retaliate soon. Oh my goddess, how can you remain so calm? This is real combat, exclaimed one viewer. Will there really be a battle, Blueberry Jam? You are such a sweet and adorable streamer. How did you venture into this? Heavens, it's terrifying. This island might be leveled. The viewers gasped in astonishment, flooding the chat with comments. Yet Blueberry Jam remained remarkably composed, saying, Did you hear that commotion? Look, they have launched several missiles at us. Boom. In the next moment, 10 missiles struck the barrier, producing a deafening roar. Everyone in the live stream witnessed the scene, instinctively recoiling, some even tossing their phones in shock, exclaiming, My goodness, was that truly a missile attack? How frightening. But why did the missiles explode merely a dozen meters from the island, failing to reach it? Indeed, this was a battle. But the island possessed some form of protective shield. Otherwise, why would Jam remain so unperturbed? Did you see? They have begun bombarding us with their main guns and machine guns. We are now preparing to counterattack, Blueberry Jam declared as she shouted enthusiastically. Just then, Wonkai approached from a distance, allowing Blueberry Jam to mount it, soaring into the sky. This is my dear friend, the albatross. We shall fly up high to appreciate this battle from a more vivid perspective, Blueberry Jam joyfully introduced. I am at a loss for words. The goddess has transformed so much after 3 months in the ocean world. I can scarcely believe this is my goddess, riding an albatross. It has completely reshaped my worldview. Just for this albatross, I must shower Jam with 1,000 gifts. How exhilarating. I yearn for Jam-esque lifestyle. I will make a donation. All the spectators were rendered speechless by astonishment, particularly the influential figures who could only express their excitement by casting hundreds of votes. At that moment, Zhao Feiyu had already aimed 2 ground-to-ground missile launchers at the 11 warships ahead and promptly pressed the launch button. Lu Yue and the others had ascended a small hill, observing the missiles soaring towards the vessels. The captain's expression changed dramatically as he bellowed, Activate the close-in weapon system immediately. Hurry. In an instant, a barrage of artillery fire erupted, attempting to intercept the missiles. However, these missiles, akin to the 10 ground-to-ground missiles previously acquired by Yi Chuan, disassembled into 10 smaller missiles each, converging from all directions towards their targets. What on earth is happening? The captain exclaimed in shock as he witnessed the missiles breaking apart. Chapter 318. Warships disabled. Underwater battle commences. Is this the sensation of soaring on an albatross? How I wish to possess a bird that could carry me aloft at any moment. The thought alone is exhilarating. Did you see that? Those missiles have disintegrated into smaller warheads. Wouldn't that significantly reduce their destructive power? By my word, we are about to witness a miraculous moment. The audience in the live stream stared in wide-eyed disbelief. After all, a mere island was daring to confront 11 warships head-on. What an astonishing occurrence. Prepare yourselves. The close-in weapon system is unlikely to be of much use. The captain shouted, his eyes fixed on the incoming warheads, many of which had been shot down. Yet a considerable number still surged forward. Boom. In the next moment, 5 or 6 warheads struck the warship from various angles, resulting in a violent explosion. The entire vessel shook violently, with some warships even detonating their ammunition compartments, splitting apart and slowly sinking into the sea. Initially believing it to be a mere explosion, the captain realized how gravely mistaken he was when the warheads impacted the hull. The magnitude of the explosion was simply unimaginable. Such warheads were far beyond the technological capabilities of Blue Star's military. "Captain, our weapon systems have failed." The launching team shouted urgently. "Captain, our radar systems have malfunctioned." "Captain, our communication systems are down." Reports of failures flooded in from all directions, further darkening the captain's countenance. Curse it, how could this happen? Of the 11 warships, 3 had already been sunk, 5 sustained varying degrees of severe damage, and only 3 remained lightly harmed. In a state of desperation, they all unleashed their weapons toward Turtle Island. "My goodness, brother, this is simply exhilarating. Your weapon systems are extraordinary." Xiao Feilong was left utterly astonished. He had witnessed missiles capable of being divided into multiple warheads, yet this was the first time he encountered one that retained such formidable power post-separation. The sheer destructive potential of a single missile could effortlessly reduce a warship to mere scrap metal. What a terrifying weapon it must be. "Shall we do it again?" Zhao Feiyu shouted with a grin. "No need." Yichuan waved his hand. "Xiao Feilong, fire. Fire." Xiao Feilong laughed heartily, once again maneuvering the heavy artillery to unleash a fresh barrage upon the warships. The explosions and flames produced by these cannons were immense, forming a vast fire net that enveloped nearly all the vessels. Temperatures soared above 200 degrees on the decks, and many island masters who failed to return to their ships were, without a doubt, reduced to charred remains. It was truly unbelievable. Their first battle upon returning to the island had resulted in the annihilation of an entire fleet. Lu Shuai, watching the fierce combat unfold, couldn't help but express his sentiments. In the future, such battles will likely seem trivial. Liang Hongying remarked coolly, "Young man, mark my words, there will be no shortage of fights to come." Indeed, Lu Shuai nodded repeatedly. "I'll request to board a submarine shortly. We shall eliminate those 13 large submarines lurking beneath the waves." Liang Hongying smiled subtly, giving Lu Shuai a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "Could it be that I am not mistaken? The power of these warheads is astonishing. Does our Blue Star possess such terrifying ordnance, or is this unique to the oceanic realm? I'm not entirely sure. But watching this is exhilarating, far more thrilling than those blockbuster films. This is genuine warfare, a conflict among island masters, having never witnessed combat in the oceanic world before." The goddess was essentially the pioneer of live broadcasts for the island masters. In the live stream, viewers flooded the chat with gifts, nearly causing the room to lag, and the audience count astonishingly surpassed 100 million. Even the officials created a green channel for Blueberry Jam, striving to prevent any lagging issues. Especially during Xiao Feilong's artillery display, it resembled a cinematic effect. One enthusiastic viewer excitedly sent thousands of carnival gifts, overwhelming the system. Ultimately, after merely 2 rounds of bombardment, 11 warships were rendered incapacitated, stripped of their combat capabilities. With Yichuan's authorization, Liang Hongying and Lu Shuai had now boarded the submarine, intending to launch an offensive against the adversaries lurking in the depths. "System, the submarine was launched from the island. It should be protected by the shield, right?" Yichuan inquired. "Theoretically, yes," the system replied directly, "but it is not guaranteed." "Well, I certainly hope so. Otherwise, I might be finished," Yichuan said, waving at Blueberry Jam. At this moment, Blueberry Jam had descended from the back of the albatross, smiling as she proclaimed, "Family, the 11 warships pose virtually no threat now. Let us board the submarine and witness the battles beneath the surface." With that, she strode swiftly into the submarine. Under Lu Shuai's deft maneuvers, the vessel began its gradual descent into the depths of the water. However, despite being merely 1 nautical mile away from the enemy submarine, it was utterly invisible, detectable only through radar, which displayed 13 small red dots accompanied by the blaring of alarms as the enemy submarine initiated its attack. "Do you see it, everyone? The radar indicates that we are under attack." Blueberry Jam maintained her composure. "Yet I believed our submarine was shielded, thus would not suffer severe damage. Nonetheless, to guard against the possibility of my assumption being incorrect, we must now adopt a defensive stance." As Blueberry Jam uttered these words, Liang Hongying pressed the button for the countermeasures, and a flurry of decoy flares surged forward. Moments later, after traversing 100 meters, They collided with the incoming missiles and torpedoes. An explosion erupted, sending a terrifying shockwave radiating in all directions, causing the large submarine to sway violently. This left Blueberry Jam momentarily stunned, exclaiming in disbelief, "Could it be that our submarine is not under protection? Perhaps we've strayed too far from the island and exited the safeguarded zone." Lu Shuai, equally alarmed, broke into a cold sweat and immediately began to ascend. After all, this time had been a stroke of luck. If several torpedoes had struck, it would have been the end. Chapter 319. The submarine establishes its might, a successful live broadcast. It was simply incredible that the submarine had confronted 13 large enemy vessels without any protection. The peril we had just experienced was unimaginable. The goddess had danced on the brink of death to provide us a clearer view of the battle. My goodness, we nearly lost Jam. Goddess, please do not overexert yourself. If it becomes too perilous, retreat. We have already witnessed an exhilarating fight. The live stream erupted in a flurry of activity, with viewers expressing deep concern for Blueberry Jam. As the submarine ascended, when it was merely 10 meters from the surface, the three of them distinctly perceived a flash of light. And the submarine was instantly enveloped in its protective shield. Boom. At that moment, the enemy submarine unleashed a barrage of torpedoes, but the Sea Turtle executed a countercurrent maneuver, creating a violent flow of water that surged downwards. Upon collision with the torpedoes, they were detonated in an instant, the powerful shockwave striking the submarine without inflicting any harm. Indeed, we were now cloaked in the protective barrier. Lu Shuai's expression shifted as he prepared to launch a torpedo, only to see a dolphin swim in a circle before darting swiftly ahead. "Fire the torpedoes in 1 minute," Liang Hongying said, her voice low and urgent. Lu Shuai was momentarily taken aback, yet he refrained from uttering a word, quietly awaiting for a minute. After Liang Hongying gestured, he pressed the launch button. The commander of the leading submarine wore a grave expression as he observed Liang Hongying initiating the assault. He immediately whispered, "Prepare to launch the countermeasures." However, in the next instant, an indescribable sound permeated the air, piercing through their ears and directly invading their minds, akin to 1,000 insects gnawing at their brains. The agony was utterly unbearable, causing many to collapse to the ground, screaming in torment. "Damn it!" The commander gritted his teeth, enduring the excruciating pain as he slowly rose, intending to fire the countermeasures. Yet, through the glass, he beheld a torpedo hurtling toward them, ultimately crashing against the glass and shattering it, allowing torrents of seawater to surge into the submarine, rendering everyone in the command room unconscious. Out of 13 submarines, 5 had already been rendered unusable by this barrage of torpedoes. As a new wave of attacks approached, just as the island commanders were about to retaliate, that same indescribable sound reverberated again, leaving them with no chance to defend themselves. Consequently, 5 more submarines were declared out of service. The remaining 3 submarines launched all their missiles and torpedoes towards Liang Hongying's direction before swiftly turning away, increasing their power to flee into the distance. They had no intention of retaliating or seeking revenge. Survival was their priority. They've escaped? Lu Shuai furrowed his brow. Of course, they fled. With only a few submarines remaining from the initial 13, if they didn't run, they would surely meet their demise. Blueberry Jam gleefully exclaimed, "Chuan Gu, Hongying Jia. We succeeded. We actually managed to defeat an entire fleet with just 1 submarine. It's a miracle. Goddess, you're amazing. I adore you." Regardless of the circumstances, the goddess could embody both sweetness and strength, and Blueberry Jam found herself increasingly enamored. Having just garnered 100 million views, she suddenly felt insatiable. "No, I must aim for 200,000. In the live stream, the audience had surpassed 130 million, with nearly half of them generously donating at least 100 yuan. Many prominent streamers who were live at the same time had paused their broadcasts to watch Blueberry Jam stream, utterly astonished that such a captivating live stream could unfold in the oceanic realm. While many streamers could enter the ocean world to broadcast, they faced constant threats from sea beasts or those island commanders, which deterred most from choosing to stream there. Thus, very few in the streaming community documented life in the ocean world. Blueberry Jam not only showcased the battles of the ocean world, but also directly streamed a war between island commanders, providing the viewers with an exhilarating experience. Before long, the submarines resurfaced, and Blueberry Jam returned to the island. At this moment, Yichuan and his companions had already rushed onto the warships to reap lives and resources. Blueberry Jam couldn't help but smile as she said, "Dear family, our live stream is drawing to a close. Thank you for spending over an hour with me. I am truly grateful. Jam, could you broadcast a little longer? Let us behold this magnificent island. Who is the master of this island?" Is he more powerful than the top contributor this time? Have you been taken under his wing? I only know that the veteran island masters in the oceanic world are exceedingly formidable. Today's encounter is even more terrifying than I had imagined. Jam, could you reveal your brother's name? In an instant, the viewers began to flood the screen with messages. Alright, Jam is signing off now. When we battle the sea beasts next time, I will stream for you all again. Love you guys. After saying these words, Blueberry Jam abruptly ended the live stream. And her smile finally faded. It's not easy. My face feels like it's stuck in a smile. Though Blueberry Jam had concluded her broadcast, her live stream video began to be rebroadcast across multiple platforms. Even some island masters in the oceanic world gasped in astonishment upon viewing these videos. After all, one island had single-handedly confronted 11 warships and 13 large submarines, nearly annihilating the fleet. Moreover, an exceedingly crucial detail emerged. This island master had not dispatched a single warship. He had merely employed the island's weapons. Just how powerful could this island master be? If one were to encounter him, would it not spell certain doom? Xiao Wanqing's expression was more grim than anyone else's at that moment. Her father had issued a stern order that she must, by all means, win back Blueberry Jam. Initially, she did not take it too seriously, but after witnessing this live stream, she realized where her misstep lay. This live stream had not featured any advertisements. Solely relying on generous donations, Blueberry Jam had earned a staggering 8 billion. Even splitting it with the platform would still yield 4 billion. It was noteworthy that this young lady had previously only netted 50 to 60 million in donations per live stream, but after transitioning to the oceanic world, her earnings had multiplied by 70 to 80 times. Her momentary misjudgment had caused her to let slip a veritable treasure. Chapter 320. Is it possible to stack upgrades? Barely after Blueberry Jam had signed off, Xiao Wanqing immediately sent a message. Jam, it's your sister Qing. Congratulations on the tremendous success of your live stream. After some thought, I feel compelled to apologize. Our contract may contain some unreasonable clauses, so I intend to amend it. In addition to paying you an annual fixed salary of 100 billion, I can also share 10% of the earnings from each live stream with you. If this seems agreeable to you, shall we discuss it? At this moment, Blueberry Jam was utterly oblivious to Xiao Wanqing's message among the multitude of private chats. At this moment, she gazed at her earnings, overwhelmed by excitement. 80 billion, which translates to 56 billion. Previously, even if she had toiled tirelessly for a year of live streaming, she would hardly have earned 10 billion. Indeed, coming to the ocean world had completely transformed her destiny. What a thrill! However, upon receiving this fortune, she did not retain it for herself, but promptly transferred it to Yi Chuan's account. After all, since their first encounter, Yi Chuan had not only saved her life, but had also cared for her immensely. Now that she had the money, it seemed more fitting to present it to Yi Chuan. After approximately half an hour, Yi Chuan and Xiao Feilong returned. This time, they had made considerable gains, forcibly trading for many valuable items from the island lord. Although much of it was unnecessary, it could be exchanged for money to manufacture ammunition. Brother, Blueberry Jam exclaimed as she ran up to him, her face flushed with excitement. My live stream has concluded, and it was incredibly successful. The view count surpassed 100 million, and I earned 56 billion. Such incredible profits? Yi Chuan asked, astounded. Of course, the recent battle was exceptionally intense. Blueberry Jam replied with a beaming smile. I've already transferred the money to you. Yi Chuan was taken aback. With so much money, you should keep some for yourself. Brother, I currently reside on the island and have little need for expenses. Besides, you not only saved my life, but have also taken care of me for so long. It is only right that I give this money to you. Blueberry Jam responded cheerfully. Rest assured, I still have 1 or 2 billion left. I won't run out. Very well then. Since Blueberry Jam insisted, Yi Chuan chose not to argue further. Brother, apart from 3 submarines, we have destroyed 10 others. Lu Shuai reported at that moment. We did not pursue the 3 submarines. Chasing a desperate enemy is unwise. That is indeed the principle. Yi Chuan nodded with a smile. Good, this matter is settled. We can now focus on seeking treasures without worry. However, Hong Ying, during this period, we have accumulated quite a bit. You, along with Jam and Lu Shuai, should assess the items and sell off anything unnecessary, retaining only what is useful. Understood. Liang Hongying immediately nodded. As Yi Chuan stated, the 2 large warehouses were already overflowing with various items, some even piled outside the warehouses. While they may not require these items particularly, other island lords or individuals on Blue Star had substantial demand for them. At this moment, Lu Yue approached Yi Chuan. Brother, regarding the issue of water, do you believe we can take action now? Certainly. Yi Chuan replied with a smile, yet his tone remained serious. However, S-grade freshwater may not be feasible. We will have to settle for A-grade freshwater. The production of A-grade is abundant, and its effects should be comparable. Our primary focus now is to enhance our strength as swiftly as possible, so it is best to consume S-grade freshwater in the future. That is certainly agreeable. The effect of A-grade freshwater is merely slightly inferior to that of S-grade. The blueberry jam suddenly exclaimed with delight. In fact, there is only one question. Yichuan said solemnly, how do you plan to trade this spring water with your family? It's not feasible to collect several tons daily and then transport it all back, is it? Brother, haven't you studied the theory of teleportation during your studies? Lu Yue teased with a smirk. That was an elective course. I felt it wouldn't be practical to rely on teleportation constantly, so I didn't pay much attention. Yichuan shrugged. As it turns out, what I learned has proven to be rather useless. Then let me handle it. Lu Yue immediately chimed in. It's a straightforward theory. Establish a miniature teleportation device beneath the spring water and create a corresponding output device at my family's factory, with the two devices coexisting. The spring water can be directly transported to my family's factory. The miniature teleportation device could likely transfer 7 to 8 tons of spring water daily. You can take care of that. After all, I don't have much going on during this period. Yichuan replied directly. As for the financial aspect, you can pay me once a year. Honestly, I'm not that interested in money, and I trust you. Whatever you decide to give me, I won't bother verifying. Rest assured, brother, with my oversight, our annual profits will only increase. Lu Yue said, beaming with joy. Ha ha ha, a delightful partnership. Yichuan laughed heartily as he shook hands with Lu Yue. Shortly after their conversation, Zhang Haixia sent a message, stating plainly, Yichuan, I found a seller. The explosives you mentioned are priced at approximately 1,000 yuan per kilogram, and the funds you provided can purchase 10 tons. That is acceptable. Yichuan nodded without concern for the price. If that is the case, I'll have them transact directly with you. Zhang Haixia promptly responded. I've already paid them. You just need to receive the goods. Yichuan nodded. Soon after, someone searched for Yichuan's ID and added him as a friend, immediately listing 10 tons of explosives for transaction. Wow, that was quick. Yichuan was taken aback, but swiftly completed the transaction, then inquired, System, based on the number of battleships I currently possess, how many various types of missiles and bullets can I manufacture on average? Would the host not consider upgrading the battleships through synthesis? The system inquired immediately. What does upgrading entail? Yichuan asked, puzzled. At that moment, a system page appeared before Yichuan, revealing that battleships could be combined to create more powerful vessels. Yichuan's expression shifted. In that case, although the cost of producing a shell or bullet increases and the quantity decreases, the power escalates significantly. Moreover, the vessels displayed on the page exhibit a terrifying combination of offense and defense. Chapter 321. Onward to the ultimate battleship. Yichuan immediately researched the matter. 10 battleships could be combined to upgrade to a colossal battleship, 20 battleships could become a super battleship, and 30 battleships could evolve into an invincible battleship. The invincible battleship, vastly superior to an aircraft carrier, boasts a displacement exceeding 200,000 tons. Its arsenal, comprising missiles, torpedoes, and close-in weapon systems, possesses tenfold the firepower of a large aircraft carrier. Furthermore, it can accommodate 100 fighter jets and an equal number of bombers. However, at the level of the invincible battleship, the necessity for various combat aircraft diminishes. Its array of weaponry can strike enemies from thousands of miles away. With long-range air defense systems capable of engaging targets up to 5,000 kilometers distant, an unparalleled capability among maritime weaponry. Without hesitation, Yichuan upgraded 20 ships from the system's inventory into super battleships. Suddenly, a colossal super battleship manifested before the onlookers, measuring over 600 meters in length. It dwarfed even the island of Haigui, exuding a commanding presence that was at once formidable and exquisitely beautiful, a true masterpiece of the sea. Goodness, where did such a massive aircraft carrier come from? Several individuals, captivated by the sudden appearance of this behemoth, could not contain their excitement and shouted in awe. This is a synthesis of the 20 ships I previously captured, Yichuan replied with a smile. It far surpasses any aircraft carrier. 20 ships? Xiao Feilong inquired, astonished. Yichuan shrugged. Indeed, can we continue to enhance it further, making this battleship even more powerful? Lu Shuai queried from the side. Absolutely, Yichuan affirmed, nodding. The more ships are integrated, the greater its might. That's fantastic. Once my fleet arrives, those personnel can return and perfectly augment this battleship. Lu Shuai exclaimed, emphasizing that it is not the number of ships, but their quality that matters. My fleet shall be integrated as well. Liang Hongying declared without hesitation. In an instant, all 5 were clamoring to add their ships to the battleship, with an estimated additional 20 vessels. This caused Yichuan to pause momentarily. System, if these are also combined, can it be done? Indeed. The system replied promptly. 50 ships can amalgamate into an ultimate battleship, capable of withstanding attacks from conventional warship missiles and torpedoes. Even without a defensive system, is it truly that formidable? Yichuan exclaimed with excitement. The prospect of 50 ships merging into a single entity was beyond his imagination. The resulting battleship would be terrifying. Since the arrival of the 5 fleets would take 2 to 3 days, Yichuan opted not to utilize the explosives just yet, storing them alongside the super battleship in his inventory. As everyone busied themselves with their respective tasks, Yichuan found rare moments of leisure, reclining in a lounge chair while sipping coconut juice in blissful tranquility. That evening, he called upon Saturday to prepare 12 exquisite dishes, and he unveiled a 10-liter bottle of Baiwa liquor, allowing the 7 of them to revel in a joyous feast. Until late at night, Yichuan hurriedly washed up and returned to his bed. Before succumbing